take control of a game and put a team on his back. This is one of the greatest individual performances I've ever seen in my damn life. When you talk about how it was done, my grandpa always used to say, it's not what you do, it's how you do it. And how he did it tonight against the Knicks, coming back and putting that team on his back, was one of the greatest performances I ever seen.
Luka with a 60-point triple-double last night. For Boston, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown combined for 77 as they beat Houston, but it took two of them to get to 77. Lakers beat the Magic to snap a four-game losing streak. They do it without AD. Anthony Davis out indefinitely with a stress injury in his right foot. Warriors top the Hornets. Golden State now 14-2 at home. They held the Hornets to 4 points over the final 4 minutes of the game after it was tied at 101. It's Wednesday, December 28th, birthday of Ray Bork, the Bruins Hall of Famer, 62 today. Bruins a rare loss last night. Who's got the win this weekend in the college football playoff? Who will head to the playoffs in the NFL? It's all this morning on KJM. Jason Fitz, Harry Douglas sitting in. I'm Jay Reynolds, back tomorrow with SportsCenter all night. It's ESPN Radio.
Coming up next, Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max on ESPN Radio and ESPN2.
I'm sorry I'm late. The traffic is crazy.
Yeah, it is. And it doesn't help that gas prices have skyrocketed. I can't believe how much it costs for gas now.
Everyone's talking about how much gas is, but I never pay full price for gas anymore. I just use the free Upside app, and I get cash back for every gallon of gas I buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get paid real cash when you buy gas with the Upside app?
Yeah, real cash every time I buy gas.
What? That sounds like it could really add up.
I've made around $200 already.
Wow, that's serious extra money. I'm downloading the free Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code TANK99 for an extra 25 cents per gallon cash back in your first fill-up. You can cash out anytime right to your bank account, to PayPal, or an e-gift card. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code TANK99 for a 25 cents per gallon bonus in your first tank. That's code TANK99 for 25 cents per gallon cash back in your first fill-up. Cashback's not available in gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Prices plus tax tags and $3.89 dock fee. For Barbera's Big Finish event, 0 down or $1.99 a month on approved credit. Call or click 1-800-Barbera.com for details.
Don't stand around. The curtain's coming down. A real 0 down, a real $1.99 a month. It's Gary Barbera's annual Dynamic December discounts. You heard right. 0 money down, $1.99 a month. I am not kidding. When I say 0, I mean 0 down. Not a penny out of pocket. Then $1.99 a month, that's all you pay. The Gary Barbera Dynamic December discount way. Gary Barbera's Jeep, cheap Cherokees, or America's favorite best-built minivan. Your choice. 0 down, $1.99 a month. Hello, 0 down, $1.99 a month. Langhorne, are you listening? South Jersey, I'm talking to you at Gary Barbera's #1 Chrysler Land. At Gary Barbera's #1 Jeep Cheap Land. Real 0 down, real $1.99 a month. Is Barbera the money-saving best? Boy, I guess.
It's Jen Scordo for CNC Heating and Air Conditioning. When the weather outside is frightful and your PJs are warm and delightful, then who needs a good heater, right? Wrong. Our utility bills continue to rise. Don't get stuck with an old HVAC system. One call to my friends at CNC Heating will ensure that your home will be warm and toasty even without those fuzzy PJs. Look, if you live in Buxton, Montgomery County, you can trust your home to CNC Heating and Air Conditioning. Family owned and proven for 50 years. You'll see why homeowners rely on CNC for their family's comfort. And as a gift to you this holiday season, CNC is offering $500 off all new systems when you mention this ad through the end of the year. Search CNC Heating to schedule your system service analysis today. That's CNC Heating and Air Conditioning. Their family is here to keep your family comfortable all year long.
It's Rich Gannon for the Bet Parks Casino and Sportsbook app. As a former MVP quarterback, I love a solid game plan. The new Bet Parks app is everything you want in a mobile sportsbook right from your phone. Check out pro football same-game parlays or bet live once the game starts. And right now, all new Bet Parks users get up to $750 in sportsbook bonuses back if your first bet isn't a winner. Download the new Bet Parks app at betparks.com. Win sports, Bet Parks.
See website for terms and conditions. Bonus funds must be wagered once, must be 21 and over, and in Pennsylvania or New Jersey. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
This is Parks. This is how you roll. This is how it goes.
This is how you pop, this is how you rock. Take a chance, do a dance, little romance. This is how you. This is how you excite, this is how you all night. 360 hit me, now we're going all in. I can feel it calling, the crowd, the light, the night, the sights, the vibe is right.
Parks, Pennsylvania's #1 casino experience. This is how you win.
Must be 21. Gambling problem. 1-800-GAMBLER.
WPEN Burlington, Philadelphia, a Beasley Media Group station, home of the most entertaining sports talk in Philadelphia. 97.5 The Fanatic, Philadelphia.
Good morning. Thought I'd help you wake up.
It's 6 a.m. and you're listening to The John Kincaid Show on 97.5 The Fanatic, Philadelphia.
Let the party begin!
The show starts now.
Yes, the show does start now. Connor Thomas in for John Kincaid and the John Kincaid Show. It is Wednesday, December 28th, and Tom is absolutely falling apart already. Tom Alvord with me as well.
Hello. No,
can't get the computer to work. Can't get the headphones on. Think you hit yourself in the head with your headphones trying to put them on there?
Nope, we're good.
Okay.
We're ready to go.
You sure?
Yep.
Listen, waking up this early takes a toll on people who are not used to it. I understand. I appreciate you continuing to make it in here. Matt Menark on the board for us today. So another early morning for you guys. This is business as usual for me, but not as an ensemble cast. The John Kincaid Show, the rest of the guys are off enjoying their holiday break.
Good for you.
Listen, man, no, I don't know why that deserved that reaction. I was just saying.
Good for you.
I'm used to this. You guys gotta crush a little coffee or something, be ready to go. But John Kincaid, Pat Egan, Bob Cooney, and Eric Camille all off for the week, enjoying their holiday break. So you have me hosting in place of John Kincaid. Tom with me today and tomorrow, and then on Friday I'll be joined by Ray Dunn. Matt on the board today. So we've got a little bit of a topsy-turvy crew around the Fanatic this week. Some fun shows to tune into as well, and we've got one for you today. Before we get going, I always want to let you know our 6 a.m. hour is brought to you by Bradford White Water Heaters. Bradford White is here for the pro. Again, the time of year where you want to make sure your water is heated, because if not, man, it is not a good time to just not have hot water, not have heat, not have any of that stuff. So you got to make sure your water heater is in good condition. It's actually not terrible today. Going to get up to close to 50 today. I think the high is like 47. So that's nice. I will take that.
Weather just makes no sense to me. How it can be 9 degrees 4 days ago, and now it's in the 50s.
Well, there are different fronts moving.
Yeah, I understand.
There's high pressure and there's low pressure.
To an extent.
And sometimes when the high pressure goes over the low pressure, then the temperature shifts, I think is how it works.
I don't believe that.
You don't believe in weather?
Nah, doesn't make sense.
You're a weather truther?
Yes, exactly.
All right, well, we'll have to correct that at some point. Weather 100% exists, and today it's a little bit better than what we've had over the past couple days. But this is not weather. This is sports talk. So let's get into it. Last night, the Philadelphia 76ers, well, their winning streak ended at 8 games. They lost to the Washington Wizards, 121-111, the final score down there in Washington. That's the incorrect score because I have the wrong box score.
116-111 in Washington.
Yeah, 116-111. ESPN gave me the wrong box score. They gave me the November 2nd, 2022 box score. Sorry about that. 116-111, and now we're back on track. Embiid had a good game, 48-10 from him.
Good game?
It felt like a quiet 48-10. Correct me if I'm wrong.
It did.
It felt as quiet as 48-10 can be.
I think that's just because we're just used to Joel Embiid at this point, and that's just another ho-hum performance. But I understand what you're saying a little bit, especially in a loss.
26-13 from Harden, and not much of anything from anybody else. I mean, Tobias gave you 15, but 2 assists, 4 rebounds. That doesn't really move the needle for me.
That one felt like a quiet 15 to me, Tobias's.
Yes, but and Joel Embiid getting 48, it's fine. It's fun. It's awesome. He's a great player. There's nothing new there. He's leading the NBA in points per game for a reason. That wasn't so much meant to be a knock on Joel Embiid, and just what you said. Yeah, that's normal now. That's expected. Not 48, but you're expecting him to be above 30 every game because that's what he averages. He averages over 33 points per game. The reason I say it was an annoying loss is because of the way that things were handled down the stretch by the players on the court. We're going to get into that in a second. And because of the shooting, the 3-point percentage for the Philadelphia 76ers was just not good. They shot like in the teens percentage from deep, which with this team, or not even with this team, in the modern NBA, you're not going to win games when you shoot that percentage from deep. You just, frankly, it's not going to happen. And that's
19% from three, 6 for 31.
That's not going to get the job done. Now, what do you attribute that to? To me, I look at that and I say, well, they've won 8 straight. They've been playing really well. They've had some big comebacks. They would have had to make a 16-point comeback in this one, and it just wasn't in the cards for them to continue to win games in a row. Eventually, you're going to have a cold night. That happens. It's whatever. It's the NBA. Teams lose to lesser teams because they don't shoot as well. That's perfectly fine. What's not fine is down the stretch, those offensive possessions that the Sixers were getting, the last 3 or 4 were god-awful. Just absolutely terrible by just about everybody on the floor. They turned into stagnant, stand and watch the ball. One guy dribbles too much, immediate turnover without getting a chance at actually an opportunity to score the basketball. The defense left a lot to be desired. I don't think that Wizards team is one that should be putting up 116 on you, and that's considering the Wizards had a rough end of the third and pretty much entirety of the fourth quarter scoring-wise compared to what they did in the first half. But again, 8 of the last 9 games are wins. It's hard to nitpick. Here's what bothered me the most, I think. And I'm going to preface this by saying I'm not a Doc Rivers guy. I don't really see all that much from Doc Rivers that I say, okay, that's a guy that's making a huge difference as a head coach. That's a guy who's clearly doing this or doing that to make the team better. When I look at the success of the Philadelphia 76ers, it's very easy to attribute it to Doc Rivers. No, I don't say those things. But when I go on social media last night, and I understand it's just social media, and social media is somewhat representative of the population view, but it's not perfect. It's not everybody. It's not every single person. It transfers perfectly to social media. If you get 70% of whatever on a Twitter poll, that means 70% of the actual fans of the Sixers believe this. No, that's not a perfect comparison. But I go on and I see these tweets. Oh, got to get rid of the coach. Oh, Doc Rivers can't draw anything up. Oh, Doc Rivers' end-of-game possessions are on him. They never get better. This, that, and the other thing. Guys, they won 8 of their last 9. They shot 19% from 3. I don't remember Doc Rivers taking a three-pointer last night. Do you?
I didn't see one. No.
Maybe I missed something in a TV timeout. Maybe, I don't know, he was getting shots up at halftime. Doc Rivers doesn't shoot from three-point. Like, they were getting open looks. They weren't making them. Those turnovers late, that's on the players. I understand, yeah, can you coach it better? Sure, but in the midst of the game, what do you want him to do? They're out of timeouts with the last 2-3 possessions to go. He couldn't bring them over to the side and talk to him on anything, and they're NBA caliber players. Shake Milton needs to know, you get a steal, either press the ball to the point where you don't have someone coming behind you, or hold the ball and get it to James Harden or somebody you trust to handle the ball more in the open floor. Not that Shake can't handle the ball, but gives the ball up. DeAnthony Melton gets a big steal in the fourth quarter, immediately gives the ball back. Possess the basketball. Joel Embiid goes to the hoop, looks for a foul rather than going up strong. I mean, these are things that, and I'm not trying to be overly critical of a team that's won 8 of their last 9. I'm just saying, when I watched last night's game, the coach does not pop into my mind as the reason why they lost that game. This is what invalidates arguments when it comes to, hey, this guy needs to not play anymore. This guy needs to be fired. This coach stinks. You can't just blindly say it every single game, because then it invalidates the argument. Then you become the crazy, fanatical fan who just wants somebody gone for the sake of them being gone. When Doc Rivers gives up huge leads by not putting out the right rotations or not calling timeouts in the flow of the game or not having the right guys out there, and there were some questionable lineups at points last night, but I don't think that's the reason why they lost to the Washington Wizards. But when he does things like what we saw in the Hawks series a couple years back, or what we see when they're giving up big leads, like the issue with the Lakers down the stretch, we were just talking about it, and we'll talk about something that went on in the Dallas Mavericks game, and Luka Doncic, who had an amazing game last night. Not Sixers-related, just sports-related, but the Sixers almost blew as big of a lead to the Los Angeles Lakers earlier this year in a game that ended up going into overtime. When you see that and you don't have timeouts getting called or things being corrected, you can point to the coach. But when you just blindly say that everything is Doc Rivers' fault, one, you're letting players off the hook, who we need to hold to a high standard because this is a team that can compete for a championship. And two, you're invalidating the anti-Doc Rivers argument because you're making it seem like we're just yelling at him for the sake of yelling at him. Doc Rivers will make mistakes. You can wait for those times to be mad at him. But last night was not one of the games that I point to the head coach as a reason why the Philadelphia 76ers lost. Tom, your thoughts on last night's contest?
So we talked about it yesterday on the show, and we mentioned obviously that the Sixers will be playing the Washington Wizards, going for their 9th straight win, and both of us were kind of just like, yeah, you got to get this win. It's against the Wizards. They're a lesser team. You have off till Friday afterwards. You had a day off beforehand, so it's not like you're playing a back-to-back or anything like that. This is a game that should be won. And then I sat down and I engineered the game last night, and I just had a feeling. I'm like, man, this game just doesn't feel right. This feels like a Tuesday game in December, and that's what it looked like last night. And you saw it right off the bat when they had 5 turnovers. The Wizards had 5 turnovers, I believe, in like the first 3 minutes of the game, and it was still a 2-possession game at that point.
They were leading after the first quarter with 9 turnovers.
Like that game you have to be up by double digits at that point.
Yes.
And they just didn't have it last night, and it's frustrating. And it's the biggest frustration I have from last night is you waste the performance from Joel Embiid like that. Like, I know we've become used to it with Joel Embiid at this point. He leads the league in scoring and 48 points, ho-hum, just another day. But you look at just how good he was last night. 48 points, 10 rebounds, only an assist, but no one was hitting shots last night. 3 steals, 3 blocks, only 3 turnovers, good efficiency, 17 for 32. And, of course, as always, 13 for 14 from the line, which we are just have grown accustomed to here in Philadelphia. That's what bothers me the most is you waste that kind of performance against a lesser team and you can't find a way to pull a victory out. I know the NBA is weird, and I know there's ebbs and flows, and guys can – Luka had, we said we were going to mention it, Luka had a 60-point triple-double last night, and they took overtime to win last night. So I understand just an individual performance doesn't always mean you are going to win a game. They had very little help around him. We mentioned how poor the shooting was, 19% from 3. I look at it, and he just had no help from anyone last night. Only 4 players score more than, 6 points in the game last night?
Not great.
That can't happen. That can't. James Harden had good stats, but he had 5 turnovers. Tobias Harris felt like a quiet 15. D'Anthony Melton, who I think has been a great addition to this team, shows you why he was, he's probably best suited as a 6-man type role because he can have.
Well, right now he's still young.
Right now, yeah. Oh no, definitely. But like for this season, he's more of a 6-man type role because he can have less than stellar offensive nights and not as consistent offensive nights. But when you ask me about the head coach and Doc Rivers, that's what drives me crazy. And I'm like you. I'm not a Doc Rivers guy. I did not want him back this season after that Game 6 loss against the Miami Heat last year. They end up bringing it back, and I was fine with it. Okay, you have to give them time, especially since they've been winning. Yesterday, they were just 3 games out of the number 1 seed. I'll double-check to see what they are right this second. But that does drive me crazy at times where when the 8-game win streak's going on, you don't hear anything about Doc Rivers. The guy gets no credit whatsoever. And then as soon as they lose a Tuesday night in December, it's fire Doc Rivers, fire Doc Rivers.
Right.
When your team shot 19% from 3 and 4 people had more than 6 points on your roster. So, again, I don't believe that Doc Rivers is maybe the best candidate for this team and maybe not the best option for this team when it comes to the head coaching. But we don't really have a choice at this point because they're not going to make a move, especially after 8 straight wins. It would have to be an absolutely disastrous next month for them. And by the way, they did this all, or a lot of the reason they're 20-13 right now. This was done without James Harden for a long period of time, Tyrese Maxey, and even Joel Embiid missed some games in there. So yeah, I think sometimes it's just the low hanging fruit, and we look for play. A lot of times the head coach gets a lot of the blame when. Sometimes it's, hey, you just didn't have it that night and the players didn't step up.
Yeah, 4 games back, by the way, in the Eastern Conference. It was too early to be worrying about, really, games back and where they stand in the conference. They're still in 5th place. They're still right in order with the way they were. You're right, man. It's not the spot to be going after Doc Rivers for that loss. And he's still doing it without his full complement of players. Your 3rd best player is not available. And hopefully will be back Friday in Tyrese Maxey, but you've been playing without him since November 18th. So you're over a month now without Tyrese Maxey. That guy, there's an argument to be made that he's the most important player on this team. I know Joel Embiid is a monster, and you can't do it without Joel, so I guess that would lend to him being the guy, but maybe I should say the most unique player on this team is Tyrese Maxey. Again, everything I'm going to say is going to feel like a slight to Joel Embiid because he's the best player on the planet right now for my money. But when you look at what Tyrese Maxey can bring to this team that nobody else does, the pace he plays with is up there in the elite level in the NBA. They don't have another guy like that. He's an elite three-point shooter, the best on this team. I know what other guys bring. Tyrese Maxey is the best three-point shooter on this team. If you believe what he did last year was not an anomaly, I believe he won't be that high.
Even if he takes a slight step back, he's still, what was he, top 5 in percentage last year?
Yes.
So even if he takes a slight step back, which is probably going to happen, that's still a really good three-point shooter, probably top 10, top 15 shooter in the league.
He is the best finisher at the rim of your guards on this team. And that includes James Harden, mainly because James Harden is where he is in his career right now. But he's a huge part of this. Maybe over the past month or so, we've forgotten exactly what he brings to this team and how talented he is, but that's a huge piece you're still missing. And I know the argument is, well, you have Joel Embiid and James Harden. You should be able to win anyway. And to that I say, they have been winning anyway. They just went on an 8-for-9 stretch. 8 out of 9 games. That's pretty darn good. There's only one other team in basketball doing that right now, and it's the Brooklyn Nets. Like, that's not easy to do, to go on win streaks of that magnitude, and to do it without one of your best players is a credit to, frankly, you got to point to the coaching in some capacity. Even if it isn't the biggest thing, well, Doc Rivers deserves some credit for what they've been doing as they work through their injuries, and hopefully, starting Friday, we won't have to worry about that conversation about injuries anymore because you should have the whole team back healthy. So the bottom line is last night, ugly loss. One down the stretch that I think the players could have handled better on the floor with a little bit more careful basketball, a little more savvy handling the ball offensively, better offensive possessions. Part of that is the coaching. More I point towards the players. And the biggest thing, 19% from three. This team just doesn't win when you shoot like that, and not a lot of teams.
No teams do. Yeah, very few teams.
Very few win when you shoot 19% from deep. So that's all it is.
It just can't become a pattern. And last night felt like the classic sandwich game. You come off a Christmas Day game, noon in New York, big moment, Madison Square Garden. You end up winning that game. You have a day off. And then you're looking forward to Friday night where you're playing the New Orleans Pelicans. And I'm not sure if that game is on national TV. I believe it is. But right now the Pelicans are one of the top seeds in the Western Conference. So this is the classic sandwich game where you're going off a big emotional
Is this
win.
a new term? Is that an existing term,
sandwich
game?
So. Yeah, you've never heard that before?
No.
Yeah.
Oh, your trap game. I've never heard
sandwiched in between, like the ugly game sandwiched in between the two good slices of bread.
The inside of the sandwich is the best part of the sandwich.
I don't make the terms. I just say cliches. That's what I do.
Okay, I've never heard that one before.
No, you haven't?
They got to correct it.
Well, for the first time ever, this is the classic sandwich game that I just invented right here. You have a big game against New Orleans coming up at right at the start of the weekend, coming off a Christmas Day game. A Tuesday night in December against the Washington Wizards. Yeah, I'm not going to overreact to this. If it becomes a pattern and you end up dropping 2 straight and the efficiency's not great, the turnovers are happening, you're not getting production from your bench. I mean, George Niang went 1 for 7 from 3. That doesn't happen very often. I know George Niang isn't.
Right. Melton wasn't good from deep. Harden wasn't good from deep. Like, this does not happen.
If it becomes a pattern, then we have an issue. Right now, I'm not worried about it whatsoever.
Yeah, you don't want to drop multiple games in a row, but maybe you want to drop 20 to 40 plus pounds in as little as 40 days. Well, check out NJ Diet. You can lose a contractually guaranteed 20 to 40 plus pounds in as little as 40 days. Start by calling today, 855-5NJ-DIET, or visit njdiet.com. You like that one, Tommy? That
wasn't bad.
In there. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm working on fitting them in more seamlessly while we have the little update reads to do and everything of that.
I'll give that 8 out of 10. That wasn't bad.
8 out of 10? I'll take that.
Not bad.
I didn't think you would score it that high. The East German judge went ahead and gave me a 2, but we'll work on it. We'll try and get that back and squared away. Now, we know a little bit about Tyrese Maxey's potential for return on Friday, but there's some bigger injuries here in Philadelphia that we've got our eyes on, and all of them are in midnight green, or we hope they're in midnight green and available to play. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson eligible to come off injured reserve. Lane Johnson, we know he's done. Avonte Maddox, we know he's done. No worries.
For the regular season.
Yeah, for the regular season, yes. So we're not looking at those guys for Sunday. But Jalen Hurts' status still up in the air. Well, we heard Nick Sirianni on Monday. We heard the coordinators talk yesterday. And if you're thinking that we're going to get like big injury news today on either of those guys, I wouldn't hold your breath. We're not going to find out until Friday at the earliest. Probably Saturday or Sunday.
They'll release a practice report today, and it'll be good to see if Hurts is a limited participant, if anything. But, yeah, you're most likely right. Well, we're not finding out truly until probably Friday.
I'd imagine this is going to be Chauncey Gardner-Johnson will hear before Hurts. because that's not really saying.
And the way they've talked about him recently, where Sirianni says the other day, is it's a lacerated kidney. We have to be careful. I'd be surprised if he played this week personally.
I would as well.
I think they want to be cautious.
Even though his practice window could be open, he could be taken off of injured reserve. I would be surprised. Hurts, I think, is going to be one of those legitimately game time decisions. I think he will be on the field at the link with pads on, and I think he's going to try it and see what happens. This is just me guessing. I don't have any information on that. I don't have any sources. Nobody talks to me. Nobody texts me.
That's true.
Unless my mom has got inside information on the Eagles. I'm not getting any texts about what's going on with the Jalen Hurts situation. I'm just guessing. I think he's going to be close enough to try it, but I don't think we're getting any definitive news on the injury front for the Philadelphia Eagles early in the week. Early in the week being today, Wednesday, Thursday, or maybe even Friday. And I know we'll have to have like the injury reports for practice and everything. Tom, you're right. We will get some type of a clue depending on if he's like a limited participant in practice at any point this week. But yeah, we're not going to know until last minute. I think that's the right way to handle it if you're the Eagles, even if you know now if Hurts can go, because you are doing a little bit of the smoke screen again. But don't expect us to know how the Eagles are suiting up for Sunday before like last minute.
I think regardless if Hurts plays or not, I think we're going to see something from the coaches and from the practice reports similar to last week, or at least the reports coming out of practice, where there's going to be a little bit of gamesmanship, and Nick Sirianni is going to try and keep the New Orleans Saints on their toes as much as possible, where he's not going to name a starter or say anything about Hurts until he absolutely has to this week. And I think you're absolutely right because of this, when this injury first happened, the report initially being 2 weeks he was going to miss. We're at 2 weeks. We're coming off of a loss against Dallas. We still need a win to clinch up the number 1 seed or a loss from Minnesota Vikings, obviously. So I wouldn't be shocked if you're probably right where it's going to be a game time decision type move, and we won't find out until maybe Sunday morning at this point, honestly.
I love Sunday Morning. You ever watch that? That's a wonderful program. You never seen Sunday Morning?
I don't think so.
It's like I don't know if it's like a 60 Minutes-esque. No, it's not a good comparison. It's like a little news
sports or no?
No.
Oh.
It's a news show with interest piece. My mom watches it every morning.
Not interested.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's all right.
Okay.
I forget the name of the host of it.
I'll say I'll check it out, and then I just won't check it.
No, I know you won't check
Okay,
it. It's
cool.
not for our demographic.
That's
it's
fair.
for like people who are like 50, 60 who just like wake up on Sunday, have nothing to do, walk the dog, get a cup of coffee, watch Sunday Morning. But yes,
fair enough.
We will be watching something better on Sunday, hopefully, which would be ideally the Eagles taking down the New Orleans Saints. But yeah, I wouldn't be waiting for the injury news today or tomorrow if I was y'all out there. See, I dropped another y'all. That was an intentional y'all. I might try and fit one in every day from here until the rest of the week, just because I know it bothered you a little bit when I said it yesterday.
Didn't bother me. I just caught me by surprise. I didn't know we were doing sports talk radio in the
Broke
South.
your brain
I had no
a little.
idea. A little bit.
Listen, man, I can rip a y'all. Some people say y'all.
That's all right. Nothing wrong with that at all.
Anyway,
y'all.
Well, coming up, we're going to get into an interesting Eagles conversation. This one's a little bit scary. Scarier, I think, even than the injury situation the Eagles are currently facing. Man, there are a lot, and I know we've talked about it in the past, the guys that you're going to have to replace or find a way to re-sign after the 2022-2023 season. But there are a lot more than I even thought. So we've got the list. We're going to go through it. And Howie Roseman, who had a great offseason this past offseason, well, regardless of how this season ends, even if it ends with a Lombardi, he's got his work cut out for him for the summer of 2023. Connor Thomas, Tom Alvord. By the way, 610-632-0975 is how you jump into the program today. Phone lines are open. You can get in. We're live on 97.5 The Fanatic's YouTube page. Check us out however you consume your content. We're everywhere. You can't get enough of us, right? Of course. We'll be back with you after this here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
The John Kincaid Show.
God, I am so sick of this crap.
Is this the show?
On 97.5 The Fanatic. Philadelphia.
Prices plus tags and $389 for Barbera's Big Finish event. 0 down or $199 a month on approved credit. Call or click 1-800-Barbera.com for details.
Don't stand around. The curtain's coming down. A real 0 down, a real $199 a month. It's Gary Barbera's annual dynamic December discounts. You heard right. Zero money down, $1.99 a month. I am not kidding. When I say zero, I mean zero down. Not a penny out of pocket. Then $1.99 a month, that's all you pay. The Gary Barbera dynamic December discount way. Gary Barbera's Jeep Cheap Cherokees or America's favorite best-built minivan. Your choice. Zero down, $1.99 a month. Hello, zero down, $1.99 a month. Langhorne, are you listening? South Jersey, I'm talking to you at Gary Barbera's #1 Chrysler Land. At Gary Barbera's #1 Jeep Cheap Land. Real zero down, real $1.99 a month. Is Barbera the money-saving best? Boy, I guess.
Now's the perfect time to download FanDuel in partnership with Valley Forge, America's #1 sportsbook. New customers get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. That's free bets back if your first bet doesn't win. Just sign up with promo code FANATIC. I love that FanDuel has my favorite bets. From the money line to point spreads and player props, I can combine bets for a chance at a bigger payout with that same game parlay. And with live betting, I get updated odds on games that have already started. Most importantly, you get paid very fast. It's all in an app that's safe, secure, and super easy to use. Sign up with promo code FANATIC for your no-sweat first bet. That's promo code FANATIC. And make every moment more this season with FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NFL.
21 plus in present PA. First online real money wager only. Refund issued as non-withdrawable free bets that expire in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Hi guys, it's Mark. Are you struggling with ED? Did you know that a major medical breakthrough is now available and it isn't a pill? Today, Wednesday, December 28th, we're running a one-day special you won't want to miss out on. Oak Hills Medical Clinic uses the most powerful form of wave therapy. This is a technology clinically shown to repair blood vessels and improve blood flow. It's backed by 60 clinical studies, including from Cambridge. If you're ready to regain that spark in the bedroom, today is your day. Call us now and you'll qualify for the assessment and ultrasound totally free. You'll also get a gift that can produce rapid and powerful results in the bedroom in minutes. You're going to love that one, guys. Trust me. And today only, we're offering 5 tune-up treatments to our patients free. This is an unprecedented offer worth hundreds of dollars, but call today and qualify totally free. Call 215-302-9999. That's 215-302-9999. Guys, put a stop to your ED and get your life back. Call Oak Hills Medical Clinic now to qualify. This offer ends today, Wednesday, 215-302-9999.
My milkshake brings all the boys to the yard, and they're like, it's better than yours.
Spilled your milkshake? Quick, the quicker picker-upper. Bounty picks up spills quicker. And each sheet is 2 times more absorbent, so you can use less than the leading Ordinary brand. So you can get back to your milkshake.
My milkshake brings all the boys to the yard, and they're like, it's better than yours.
Bounty, the quicker picker-upper.
For everything your business needs to make this year your year, Staples has you covered.
I need to organize all my papers and files from last year and the year before that.
Staples has you covered.
I need a new desk calendar so that I don't miss a meeting with my boss or a soccer game with my daughter.
Staples has you covered with everything you need to get organized this year. Right now, a 2023 lined desk calendar is $3.99 and an unlined calendar is just $4.99. Make this year your year at Staples. Offer ends 12/31. In-store only.
During the holiday season, the New Jersey Transit Police Department reminds you that we must all work together to keep our transit system safe. Your attention is our most valuable asset. If you ride the train or bus, live or work near a station, be alert and aware of your surroundings. If something doesn't feel right, it probably isn't. Report suspicious activity to 1-888-TIPS-NJT or text your report to NJTPD. New Jersey Transit urges you to help us keep our transit system safe. Report suspicious activity to 1-888-TIPS-NJT or text your report to NJTPD.
Finding new patients for your dental practice can be like pulling teeth.
If you are a dental professional in the Philadelphia area, we dare you to Google, who's the best dentist near me? If your practice does not show up on the first page of the search results, then you may be committing marketing malpractice.
For as little as $499 per month, BuildMeABetterSite.com will create and manage a website to ensure your practice shows up for new patients who are ready to rinse and spit. Visit BuildMeABetterSite.com for your free demo.
BuildMeABetterSite.com is a small business resource of 97.5 The Fanatic.
Hey, it's Cuz for Golden Nugget Jewelry
Jewelers. You think about getting an engagement ring? Well, if you're ready to pop the question, you got to go see your own at Golden Nugget Jewelers now. Largest selection of certified diamonds and engagement rings. Your perfect ring at Golden Nugget Jewelers. Major financing options, unbeatable prices for name brands like Verraggio and Tacori for the settings. Right at the corner of 8th and Chestnut. It's engagement season. Now's the time to get the big ring and get all of your holiday shopping done. Get the present of a lifetime at Golden Nugget Jewelers, where Philly gets engaged.
Listen to 97.5 The Fanatic everywhere. On Alexa at 975thefanatic.com, the Fanatic app, and now on Odyssey.
This is Nakobe Dean from the Philadelphia Eagles, and you're listening to the John Kincaid Show on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Now, back to the John Kincaid Show on 97.5 The Fanatic, Philadelphia.
6:30 a.m. Shout out to Nakobe Dean, giving us a little bit of love there with the bounce back. He was here for our AACR Giving Tuesday. That day we did the live show for the John Kincaid Show. Very nice guy. Quiet, kind of low-key, good dude. Likes his sneakers. Was partnered with our sneaker foundation that we did some work with for that. So shout out Nakobe Dean. Maybe some big plays coming from him Sunday against the New Orleans Saints. He's going to be one of the guys that benefits from when the Eagles decide to sit down the starters. He's going to be one of those guys that gets out there and gets to show off a little bit. And when you look at 2023 and that season, it could be a big year for Nakobe Dean, considering some of the guys that we're looking at that are on expiring contracts. Now, Tom, this is a bit of a in-depth conversation, so I gave you a little handout there. You called it homework.
Thank you.
Really what it was, I did your homework for you, so if you want
very nice of you.
Want to hand me that sheet and you can look it up yourself, that's fine, but man, God forbid I help my co-host out a little bit and print some stuff out before the show.
I'm not used to being handed a giant stack of papers before the show, so I was just
It's
confused.
two pieces of paper.
I appreciate it. I
Stapled together.
That means a lot.
And the second page has like 4 lines on it. All right. So the Philadelphia Eagles, and again, 610-632-0975 is how you can jump in on the conversation. This is an interesting one and a bit of a scary one to me. I looked up on, it's Spotrac. Is that how you pronounce that? I don't think anyone really knows how to pronounce it. Spotrac?
Yeah.
The one that, the website that you look up
website.
for all the contracts. Yes. The combination of sports and contract, something. I don't know. The name's not important. I looked up the Philadelphia Eagles contract situation just to see, because we talked a lot over the course of this season about, this team's really good. How do you resign this guy? Who do you resign? What positions are the most important? Do you pay Jalen Hurts? If you do pay Jalen Hurts, how does it affect signing up all these other guys? A lot of stuff going on. And I feel like it hasn't gotten its due time on these airwaves yet because of how good the Eagles have been. They're a 13-win football team. We're focused on the here and now. Tom, we had the conversation on Monday, I believe it was, about the Saints draft pick, and I'm like, I don't care.
Yes.
Like, I'm not focused on that remotely. I'm focused on Lombardi. How can we get to the Super Bowl this year? How can the Philadelphia Eagles hoist that trophy for the second time in their franchise history? And while I think that's fair, I also think that this looming is something that we need to take a look at. I put in Philadelphia Eagles with contracts expiring after this season. So their contract will be done following the 2022 season. Whenever this Eagles season ends, they are no longer tenured a contract with the Philadelphia Eagles, as I have like a stroke on air. 19 players currently are on expiring contracts. 19. The NFL roster size is 53. So I did the math because I can't do math in my head. I typed it in. I'm definitely not good with percentages whatsoever. And that is 36% of your active roster going to be unavailable. Well, available, but free agents, no longer under contract. That's a lot that you have to deal with. And we were trying to look up, because, Tom, you said that might be normal across the NFL. It still feels like a high number.
Feels like a high number, and obviously we're going to explain it a little bit more because of how significant some of these players are. But I think if you look around the league, it wouldn't shock me if majority of the league, it's around 30% of the deals are one-year deals or contracts. Excuse me, now I'm having a stroke.
Yeah, sorry.
Contracts that are expiring the next year after, or 1-year deals, whatever it may be. That wouldn't shock me, but it's the significance of these players, which you're about to mention.
Here's the list. There are not many small names on here. Robert Quinn. Yeah, you traded for him, whatever.
That's a small name.
That is, well, it is a small name.
For the Philadelphia Eagles in an Eagles uniform, that's a small
name. He
name.
hasn't done much. Brandon Graham, not a small name. Javon Hargrave, having a great year. One of the more underrated players on the
Should be a Pro Bowler.
Isaac Seumalo, Pro Bowl alternate. Really good player. Holds down that guard spot for you. Fletcher Cox, great year. Expiring contract. Andre Dillard, your depth. A guy that you can dangle out there as a trade piece. Not after this year. Jason Kelsey, expiring deal. Now, you could get him at a hometown discount. There's no doubt in my mind. I don't think he's going to go anywhere and play anywhere else, but retirement is a factor. Re-signing him, well, that's more money you got to commit that's not currently on the books for next year. James Bradbury, a huge one. Miles Sanders, a really big one. Do you pay a running back? A lot of winning NFL teams do not. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson leads the league in interceptions. Kaiser White hasn't done all that much notably this year, but is a nice piece in that linebacker core. Gardner Minshew, this exceptional backup that's helping you out right now, that's giving you opportunities to beat good teams when Jalen Hurts goes down. He's not here anymore. Marcus Epps, your safety, one of your starting safeties. So both your starting safeties, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson and Marcus Epps, both expiring contracts. TJ Edwards, one of your best players defensively, your best linebacker on this team, expiring contract. Ndamukong Suh, okay, you bring him in as kind of a defensive line assassin. Still, you're only bringing him in for that 1 year. Linval Joseph as well, the other guy, the counterpoint to Ndamukong Suh, signed days apart, no longer here after this year unless you re-sign him. Boston Scott, your backup running back. Nope, expiring contract. I know Kenneth Gainwell's technically your backup, but Boston
and a big
Scott,
special teams guy as well, Scott.
Exactly. Then you've got Sua Opeta and Zach Pascal rounding it out. Those are smaller names, but those are depth pieces. 19 guys. A lot of very important players. So when you look at that list, there's a lot of things to break down. I guess we'll start with the conversation that Willie Z is having in the YouTube right now, which is somewhere I wanted to go, where he's talking about the priority players. So, Tom, give me your top 3 priority players on this list of the 19 guys that the Philadelphia Eagles have on expiring contracts to round out this year.
Okay. Top priority players. To me, I think Chauncey Gardner-Johnson has to be their number one, or at least up there high enough, their number one priority this offseason.
Okay.
For him to be 25 years old and be able to play not just safety, but nickel cornerback as well, which we might see sometime for the rest of the season, whether it's this week, whether it's a couple weeks from now, or in the playoffs, whatever it may be. I just think he has star potential in the secondary, and if you find a way to lock him up, I think that's extremely important. I want to say Jason Kelsey, but you have his backup waiting, but he's such a huge leader for this team. So I'll say Jason Kelsey, and I'll say Javon Hargrave as well.
Okay.
So those are my 3.
So you're going Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, Jason Kelsey, Javon Hargrave.
Yes. Top of my head, I think that's what I'd go with right now.
Okay. For me, I'm going Bradbury, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, TJ Edwards.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's great options as well.
That's the issue. I didn't even consider Jason Kelsey. Partially because I think there's no way.
I don't mean to disrespect him, but
I just don't think there's any way he goes anywhere. If he plays football again, it will be for the Philadelphia Eagles.
Of course.
And that contract will be whatever the Eagles need it to be.
Yep.
So that's why I'm not so much worried about Jason Kelsey. Would I love him back? Absolutely. I don't want to ever see him wear another team's jersey unless he goes to Chief games after he retires and he's wearing Travis Kelce's jersey.
That's fair.
But if he plays football next year, I firmly believe it will be for the Eagles. And I believe it will be for a contract that is manageable. Fletcher Cox, I would love to have him back. He's another thing. I don't think he will be. Brandon Graham, would love to have him back. He's going to have to take a significant pay cut to stay here. Javon Hargrave is a great player. And at 29 years old as a D tackle, if you're going to lose Fletcher Cox, Javon Hargrave should be a priority. But I don't know. I look at the safety position, and if you sign Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, Marcus Epps might go get a starting deal for another team. I look at the cornerback position. James Bradbury, you kind of got to sign because
I don't think they do it all. I'd be shocked if he's back here next year, honestly.
Bradbury?
Because you're locking up huge money into 2 cornerback positions and 2 guys who are Slay's in his 30s and Bradbury's going to be 30 next year. potentially an issue.
No, but still.
I think with Slay and him being locked up, I think he just signed an extension, Slay, I believe. I know he's at least here for next year. I think a year after that as well. I think what I would do personally, and I think that Howie Roseman is probably considering, is you're going to have at least 2 first-round picks this year. We'll see what happens if they end up trading back, trading up. Who knows what's going to happen. I think ideally they'd love to draft a corner in the first 2 rounds, have him be just a cornerback 2 to start, which that doesn't happen for a lot of first or second round corners. They're automatically slotted into the number 1 cornerback position for the teams that they go to. I think that's an ideal scenario where you have a prime Darius Slay for the next 2 years. You have a young first or second round pick corner that you can kind of groom. And then once Slay kind of ages a bit more, becomes a cornerback 2, then maybe that first round corner this year is ready to step up and become a cornerback 1 in 2 years from now. So I just don't think they put that kind of money because he's going to get a big contract and he wants a big contract. That's a large reason why he's here this year.
And he deserves one.
And he does. He's been great this year. He has. So I'd be shocked if he's back personally.
Okay, so let's do this. I'm going to ask you to do something that's difficult mentally to do, but I believe in your mental abilities over there, Mr. Alvord.
That means a lot. Thank you.
Please don't prove me wrong.
Okay.
Take money out of it, okay? So we're not thinking money. We're just thinking gut feeling, do you want this guy back? Like, will you find a way to get this guy on your team? We're going to go down the list.
It has to be realistic, though, relatively.
Yeah,
Like, take out
relatively,
money,
but you're not, like, take out money.
I'd love to have all these guys back, but that's
take
not
out money in that Brandon Graham will put me $0.75 million
sure,
over.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah, generally, do you want these guys back? Robert Quinn.
No, I'm good.
Brandon Graham.
Yes, of course.
Javon Hargrave.
Of course.
Isaac Seumalo.
Yes, because they don't have another guard waiting, I believe, that they're ready to be a starter.
Fletcher Cox.
No, I'm good on Cox.
Andre Dillard.
No, because I mean, yeah, I'd want him back. Yes, so I'll say yes.
Okay.
As a depth piece.
Jason Kelsey.
Which isn't going to happen. Yes, absolutely.
James Bradbury.
Yes.
Miles Sanders.
Would like to have him back. Yes. I don't need him back.
Okay, I'm going to leave that as a no then. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson.
Absolutely.
Kaiser White.
Yes, I'd like to have him back.
Gardner Minshew.
Yes.
Marcus Epps.
Absolutely. He's had a great year.
TJ Edwards.
Yes.
Ndamukong Suh.
Sure. I'll say no. I don't need to have him back.
Linval Joseph.
No, I don't need to have him back.
Boston Scott.
No, I don't need to have him back.
Sua Opeta.
No to Opeta.
Zach Pascal.
No to Pascal.
So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 guys that the Philadelphia Eagles are going to have to sign, in addition to their draft picks, in addition to potentially paying Hurts, in addition to potential extensions for younger players on the team.
Who are all coming off of a historic type regular season and hopefully a historic playoff run where, if teams win the Super Bowl or make the Super Bowl, they usually get paid more than their value possibly the next year, whether it's in free agency or by their own team. So, yeah, a little bit of an issue there potentially.
Javon Hargrave is set to get a big payday.
Definitely.
Isaac Seumalo is going to get paid. Some team's going to give him that big V contract, the Alvord Vitae contract.
We take him for granted a little bit because of how good this offensive line is.
Yes.
Where, he'd probably be one of the better offensive linemen on a majority of teams around the league.
Right. Yes. Andre Dillard is a guy that I don't know.
He'll get starting left tackle money. He will. Someone will bring him in. I
don't know that he will.
He will. He's a former first-round pick. He's still young.
I think he'll get more than what the Eagles are willing to give him. I don't know if he'll get, bona fide starter money.
He won't get top tier left tackle money, but he'll definitely be a starter next year. I'd be shocked if he's not.
I'm not as confident on that as you are.
Man, the Rams would kill for a guy like Andre Dillard right now because of how bad their O-line is. The Buccaneers would. There's bad O-lines around the league.
He's already 27. He's not. It's not like he's a 25.
But that's he'll sign a 4-year deal or whatever.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah, lineman can play for a while. Jason Kelsey is a guy that he will give you the hometown discount. No worry about that whatsoever. Yep. He doesn't need any more money. He deserves it, absolutely. Can't fault him if he wants it, but I don't think he will. I think he wants to play his career as an Eagle or he will retire. James Bradbury is going to get paid somewhere. It might be here. That might be a guy you're willing to commit big money to against the salary cap, but he's going to get paid. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson is going to get paid.
Yes, he will.
That dude's going to get the bag.
Yep.
Miles Sanders is a guy that's going to get paid.
Paid when it comes to running backs, yeah.
Gardner Minshew will be a starter in this league next year somewhere.
I agree.
I firmly believe that. Marcus Epps going to get paid. He is 26 years old. He has played himself into a contract. Will it be here? Maybe. Will he want to play alongside Chauncey Gardner-Johnson if the Eagles are able to lock him up? Maybe. That could be a situation where Epps is like, I was a backup coming into this year before we figured out everything. I backed up Rodney McLeod and Malcolm Jenkins. Like, this is nice to be a starter on this team. I want to stay with this organization. Maybe. Or he could go somewhere else and get money to be
get the most money.
Like, get true starter money.
Yeah.
TJ Edwards, 26 years old. That dude's going to make bank this
offseason. You say that.
I know linebackers don't really get paid like that.
Like Kaiser White had a great year last year, and he's making $3 million on 1 year. Like, I think he'll get a multi-year deal. I don't think it'll be crazy money because I just don't think linebackers get that much money, personally.
Yeah, but if there's one that's going to get paid, it's TJ
Sure.
Edwards. He's a guy that does everything pretty well. He's 26 years of age. Right now, he's on a 1 year, $2.2 million deal. Like, that dude is going to try and take as much money as he can because, especially with linebackers, the amount of contact you go through, not the longest shelf life of defensive players. You get basically one big contract as a linebacker. This is the year that he's set up for it. Guys on the back page, as I flip over, because we have 4 more names. The Linval Joseph, Boston Scott, Sua Opeta, Zach Pascal, whatever. Those are depth pieces.
They're NFL guys. They'll get a contract. They're probably 1 year deals or whatever.
Yeah, somewhere they'll get something. But, I mean, when I look at that kind of scares me, man. That does scare me. I see 19 guys, and take off the last 4 even, 15 guys that you're having the conversation about, hey, we need to commit some money to these guys.
That are having a huge impact this season.
Yes.
Or at least a positive impact this season for your football team.
And who do you have to replace these guys? Like Fletcher Cox, you can say, oh, well, we've got Javon Hargrave. His contract's up too. Brandon Graham. Okay, Josh Sweat's here, but you might need another edge rusher. Robert Quinn, the guy you brought in to be a depth piece there, hasn't done anything. I mean, Derek Barnett, he got brought back on a multi-year deal.
Yeah,
so Derek Barnett will still be here, but he's coming off of a major injury. So the defensive end depth is Josh Sweat and who else? I don't know. I mean, if you lose Jason Kelsey, you've already got Cam Jurgens ready and waiting. But James Bradbury, let's say he's gone. Who do you have as a backup corner? I don't trust anybody. Avonte Maddox is not moving out of the slot even if he's healthy because he's so good in that spot.
Josiah Scott, Zach McPherson don't do much for me as a starting corner in this league.
Miles Sanders. Is Kenneth Gainwell a 3-down back in the NFL?
No, I don't believe so.
And Boston Scott isn't there. You can't do it by committee.
Sure.
What are you going to run out Kenneth Gainwell and Trey Sermon next year? I don't buy that. So you're going to have to address the running back position. Safety. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson and Marcus Epps could both be gone. You're looking at a situation where your starters could be Kayvon Wallace and who knows who else. That's not one that I want to go into a season with high expectations with. You're going to have to address that. Your linebackers, Kaiser White and TJ Edwards. Kobe Dean can only fill one of those spots.
I mean, it is. You're losing 2 D tackles. You're losing 2 linebackers. You're losing both safeties. You're losing your number 2 corner. You're losing a defensive end. Like that's all that are starters this year.
Team.
Legit. It is crazy once you put it in perspective like that. It is.
And now you look at the conversation of, do you pay Hurts in a different light? How do you handle it? The franchise tag could mean that you lose that relationship. It could change the dynamic between Hurts and this front office. If you say, hey, man, you've earned everything. We're franchise tagging you for a year, and you got to go ahead and do this again. We'll pay you what you're worth after that.
Or there's a potential that price tag goes up higher because you use a franchise tag on Hurts. He has another MVP-type season. Quarterback money goes up every single year, so there's an issue with that potentially as well.
So it's a really – man, listen. We better see a great – this cannot be – Howie Roseman cannot be Lou Bega, okay? He cannot be just Mambo number 5 and then move on. This cannot be a one-hit wonder past offseason from Howie Roseman. I get he put together the Super Bowl team, so he's already had multiple hits. Who's an artist that's had like 2 good hits and nothing else? I can't really think of one off the top of my head, but you get the comparison.
Yes.
He needs to have a great repeat performance this offseason if this team is going to stay as competitive as they are. The issue with 2017 is that, and it largely hinged on the quarterback and his health and that falling apart and him not being a locker room guy. Maybe the fail-safe to this conversation is, hey, Jalen Hurts is just going to win. He's just one of those quarterbacks that you put general pieces around him, and you got A.J. Brown locked up for a while. You got Devontae Smith locked up for a while. You got Dallas Goedert locked up. You got a lot of the offensive line locked up. Maybe Jalen Hurts is enough to just carry this team because he's been the MVP this year. But man, Howie Roseman is going to have to put some pieces together, especially on this defensive side of the ball. That, by the way, you could be losing your defensive coordinator. For all the people have issues with Jonathan Gannon, he's not the worst defensive coordinator available. He certainly is not. He's been pretty good at points this year. He's
been more good than bad this year. He has.
For
by
sure.
far, honestly.
For sure. It's going to be a tough offseason for the Philadelphia Eagles. And if they don't come back with a ring, this is going to be trouble.
Well, and that's the biggest thing is it makes this year feel that much more important, which if I said that or before the season started, early in the season, that, hey, this is like kind of this is the year to win the Super Bowl, you would call me crazy.
Right.
Based on last season where they get blown out by the Tampa Bay Bucs and back their way into the playoffs.
I still might call you crazy.
That's fine. But it really is. And good teams, you have to draft well. Obviously, you have to make smart signings, all of that. And Howie Roseman, he's proved it the last 2 seasons, at least, with some of the draft picks he's made and with some of the trades he's made. They're going to have that top 10 pick from the Saints, which you can trade back, accumulate more picks where you're adding just, a D end and a corner and a safety in the first round rather than just a D end or a corner in the first round. And if anyone's good at finding cap space and wiggling, and having wiggle room and moving things around, restructuring contracts, we have the best maybe in the world at that at Howie Roseman. So I do have confidence that they are going to at least be able to do it somewhat. But yeah, it puts it in perspective just how important this year is and how this might be their best opportunity to win a Super Bowl in Philadelphia with this core, which is just crazy to say. And I couldn't even imagine myself saying that coming into the season.
It's a 53-man roster in a salary cap league. The windows are very, very small. And the Philadelphia Eagles, when you look at the contract situation that they're currently dealing with and will be dealing with this offseason, that window feels tighter by the day. That's why these injuries are huge. That's why Jalen Hurts' shoulder being healthy is huge. That's why this opportunity that they have to get the 1 seed, to win the NFC East, to make teams have to come through Philadelphia, it's huge. This is not a guarantee they're going back next year. It's fine. This is the start of something. It could be. And Howie Roseman could make all of this work, and we could be sitting here with a bunch of 1-year deals for other veterans that aren't on the team this year that look great next year, because that's what Howie Roseman did coming into this season. We didn't see this caliber of a season coming, and we certainly didn't see it prior to the offseason he had, bringing in A.J. Brown and Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, Kaiser White, Nakobe Dean, Jordan Davis via the draft. Like, they did really well this offseason. So it's not impossible for Howie Roseman to put this team in a spot to continue to contend. But when you look at it in this light, it looks awfully difficult heading into the summer of 2023. While we're at the beach, Philadelphia, Howie Roseman's going to be in the boardroom, and he's going to have to be crunching some numbers to either hopefully repeat. That'd be fun, right, Tommy?
Yes, it would.
Or to keep this team in contention, because it's not easy year to year in the NFL. By the way, got to tell you about the Bet Parks Casino and Sportsbook app, where odds, slots, bets, and games all come together in perfect harmony right in your pocket. Download now at betparks.com. Now, coming up, Tom.
Yes.
We're starting to get to the point of the NBA season where strengths and weaknesses are becoming clear. And I got to ask you the question, because we had the conversation about Doc Rivers in the opening segment. We talked about the three-point shooting. We know some of the strengths and deficiencies of this Sixers team now, right? It's not a mystery team anymore, even though we haven't seen them fully healthy for a while. The smoke's starting to clear. We're starting to see, not totally the picture, but we're starting to see the silhouette of what this team is and what they are not. So on today, December 28th, the official start of the NBA season was months ago, but you called the unofficial start, like many others do as well, to the NBA season Christmas. A couple days in, seeing a big streak by the Philadelphia 76ers, seeing some rough losses as well. We're going to try and pinpoint what this team's biggest weakness is at this point. And I might, just giving you a little bit of a preview, I might go back on a point that I made in the opening segment. 610-632-0975 is how you jump in. Connor Thomas, Tom Alvord, in for John Kincaid and the John Kincaid Show, who are off on vacation this week, enjoying some time with their family around the holidays, I should say. And we're back after this quick break here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
The John Kincaid Show.
Oh, geez, look at the butt on that. Yeah, he must work out.
On 97.5 The Fanatic, Philadelphia.
Attention. This is a special alert for all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an overpriced auto warranty or no warranty coverage at all. Due to the increase of new and used car prices, repair costs, and the price of gas, People are keeping their cars longer than ever, which is why CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on covered auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can save thousands for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. You could save thousands on future auto repairs. Our specialists are standing by for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-615-7814. Vehicle protection plan pricing is at an all-time low. Plus, drivers who purchase this coverage today will receive rental car options, free roadside assistance, and free towing. Call 800-615-7814 now for your free quick quote. That's 800-615-7814. What do you have to lose? Call 800-615-7814 now. Again, 800-615-7814.
Time flies when you're having fun, as the first Rocket League Championship Series major has already come and gone. The top 16 teams across the United States, Europe, and the Middle East competed for their chunk of $300,000. The team to win it all was Gen G Esports, one of the newest kids on the block. The organization and their recently purchased roster overcame the sweethearts of the whole league, Moist Gaming, in convincing fashion. Who do you hope to see win a major next?
The latest esports and gaming news. Find it online at checkpointxp.com.
O'Reilly. Protect your engine against sludge and wear with a synthetic oil change. O'Reilly Auto Parts has 5 quarts of Mobil 1 full synthetic motor oil for $35.95. Plus, get 2 times O Rewards points. Our professional parts people can recommend the supplies you need, including a filter, funnel, shop towels, drain pans, and more. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts or visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control of your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank accounts, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problem now by calling the experts at U.S. Tax Shield and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. U.S. Tax Shield offers a price protection guaranteed quote to get you protected today. U.S. Tax Shield is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, so call now. 800-785-9132. That's 800-785-9132. U.S. Tax Shield. 800-785-9132.
My friend and I are taking a trip to Mexico this year, but neither of us speak Spanish. So we downloaded Babbel and started learning Spanish fast.
Want to start getting conversational in another language? In as little as 3 weeks? Babbel's quick 10-minute lessons were designed by language experts to be the most efficient and effective way to learn a new language.
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿Cómo te llamas?
Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. That's BABBEL.com.
Let's be real. Mopping is a hassle. You have to fill the bucket, pushing a wet, heavy mop around, then cleaning the mop when you're done so it doesn't grow bacteria. A hassle on top of a hassle. Try Swiffer WetJet. With Swiffer WetJet, you start with a fresh pad and cleaning solution every time. And when you're done, you just toss the pad. Swiffer WetJet, the faster, easier, cleaner way to clean your floors.
This is Staples.
So rumor has it that Staples has everything I need to ship.
Mm-hmm. We have all the shipping supplies and services you need.
Boxes?
Yep.
Mailers?
Yeah, and we have UPS here in store.
Huh. What will Staples think of next?
Right?
No, seriously, I'm asking, what will they think of next?
Staples is your one-stop shipping destination. Now get 50% off shipping boxes, mailers, or tubes when you buy 5 of the same item in-store or online with 1-hour pickup. Staples, the best-kept secret in shipping. Ends 12/31. Exclusions apply. Visit staplesconnect.com/shipping for details.
Cleaning and repairing a building's wastewater pump system is a job, but someone has to do it, and in Philadelphia, that someone is Pumpman Philly. In fact, Pumpman Philly is #1 in everything related to your building's wastewater system, including #2s, troubleshooting, emergency repairs, maintenance, and system replacement. Trust Pumpman Philly to keep the go in your building's flow. 24/7, 365. Call 833-559-PUMP. That's 833-559-PUMP. PumpmanPhilly.com.
Guys, do you wish you could perform like the birds? You know, always rising to the occasion and scoring at will? If you're tired of watching the action from the sidelines, it's time to schedule a free consultation at Iron Mountain Men's Health. Hi, this is Dr. Avi Donapel. My team will create a custom program to treat your ED and low T that's safe, affordable, and effective. Fly like an eagle and schedule your free consultation at ironmountainmenshealth.com. Iron Mountain Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health.
WPEN Burlington, Philadelphia, a Beasley Media Group station, home of the most entertaining sports talk in Philadelphia. 97.5 The Fanatic, Philadelphia. Now, back to the John Kincaid Show on 97.5 The Fanatic, Philadelphia.
.97.5 The Fanatic. Welcome back. You are listening to the John Kincaid Show. We are not the John Kincaid Show. My name is Tom Alvord. I'm filling in for, I guess, Bob Cooney is who I'd be filling in for. My co-host, Connor Thomas, who is frantically running into the studio. He's filling in for John Kincaid. We got you for the rest of the week.
Hello.
Oh, hey. How
short
are you?
was that break?
How's it going? Good
How's
to
it
see you.
going?
How
Good.
long was that poop?
All right, yeah, easy. You don't need to do all that. Come on.
No need to get
We all
personal
do
here.
it. Everybody does it.
No need to get personal.
That was unnecessary, Matt. Yes, it is the John Kincaid Show. Correct, Tom. We are back here. It is 7 o'clock. You know what? Maybe people out there thought I was grabbing another stale donut. Because as I promised on Monday.
Oh, it's right on time. That's right.
7 o'clock is donut time. But we're short on donuts now. We're out of donuts, actually, I should say. I had the last donut yesterday, so unfortunately, stale donut, 7 o'clock hours are done.
It's unfortunate.
Listen, I would have eaten another stale donut today, though. And I'm sad I did not get the opportunity. I apologize to all of my friends, family, and fans out there that expected me to eat a donut today at 7 a.m. Unfortunately, just not enough donuts in the cards. But that's a conversation for another show at another time. Let's get into actual sports talk rather than donut talk as I try and settle myself from rushing in here. Really, how short was that break, man? It felt like it was shorter than what it was supposed to be anyway.
It was like a minute short. I don't know. I guess. I don't know.
But you are in, Tom, for Bob Cooney. I am in for John Kincaid. I guess Matt back there is in for Pat Egan. Haley's running the YouTube. I guess in for Heavy Chevy. We got a lot of changes and rotating parts and pieces around the Fanatic this week, so appreciate y'all bearing with us as we do that and joining us for what should be some fun, interesting shows that you don't normally hear. I'm getting some tweets that say, man, it's awesome to hear Connor Thomas and Tom Alvord in the morning. I enjoy hearing those two together. I'm getting some tweets that say this is terrible radio. Take them off the air forever. So it's nice to know that there's a
nice to have balance in life.
That's the important part. That's what life is all about. It is indeed about balance. The 7 o'clock hour of the John Kincaid Show is brought to you by the all-new BetParks app, sportsbook and casino in one sleek, easy-to-use app in PA and New Jersey. Now, let's jump into this NBA topic that I brought up before we went into the break. I ran out of the studio for undisclosed reasons that will remain undisclosed. Matthew. All right. Fair enough. We all on the same page? Okay.
Sounds good to me.
We're starting to get to the point of the NBA season where strengths and weaknesses are becoming clear. Not totally clear, but we're starting to get the picture, right? You think about not transparent, not like you're looking through a window, but translucent. Like you're looking through one of those shower doors that have like kind of the snowed over like type of glass. You know what I'm talking about. You can kind of see it. You can see the silhouette. You can generally tell what's back there. Well, my question with that in mind is, what to this point is the Sixers' biggest weakness? They've been playing pretty good basketball over the past 2 weeks. And that may even be an understatement. They've won 8 of their last 9. They're in 5th place in the East, so not exactly where we want them to be when everything's all said and done, but they're by no means out of it. They're only 4 games back of the Boston Celtics for the top seed in the Eastern Conference. Thank you, Willie Z on the YouTube. Frosted glass was what I was looking for. Got distracted again. But they're in a situation where they're within striking distance of that top seed. And for me, Tom, I don't know if you agree with this. Basically, you have to be in the top 3. If you're in seed 1, 2, or 3, I feel good about your opportunity to still win a championship. Anything 4 or below, you're already fighting a tough battle just going into the playoffs.
I'd say 4 or higher, just because you do have home court, and there are some good teams in this league, especially the Eastern Conference, with how good it's been this year. But we're on the same page, 3rd or 4th, regardless. Pretty much the same thing.
Yeah, and the Sixers are in that conversation. Like I said, I think the Cavaliers, who are just one spot above them, currently at the 4 seed, they're going to fall off at some point because they are a younger team that's still trying to figure out how to compete over the course of an NBA season. They're dangerous, but not quite all that dangerous, and I don't see anyone below the Sixers catching them. The Hawks are a team with experience, but I don't think they're all that good. So, yeah, should be doable.
And there's drama there with Trae Young and him wanting out and the coach and them not getting along. Yeah, so I doubt that lasts.
I bet Dallas is pretty happy with their draft night Trae Young, Luka Doncic swap, aren't they?
Yeah, can we, remember when that trade happened? The most even trade in NBA history. No, Luka's a top 5 player in basketball. Trae Young's nice. He's fine, but he's not Luka Doncic.
Trey is a top 20 player.
Yeah, that's fair, and that's nice.
Luka is a top 5.
Yeah, that trade was not even.
No, it absolutely was not. We'll have more on what Luka Doncic did last night a little bit later in the program. But, Tom, the biggest weakness right now that you see for this Philadelphia 76ers team is what?
So I dove in a little bit during the break at some numbers, looked at some numbers, and I was trying to think what, because my mind tells me one thing, but I want to make sure that I'm seeing what I am seeing correctly.
Your mind's telling you no, but your eyes are telling you yes. No, that's not the exact line, but
the biggest weakness when it comes to the Philadelphia 76ers, there was 2 that numbers-wise stuck out to me the most. When it comes to bench points per game, the Sixers are 27th in the league. That is not good. That is bottom, a third, one of the worst in the league, actually. But to me, the bench really doesn't worry me. And I don't know if just because how bad last year was, where the bench was horrible and you could rely on 6 guys total for your team. I know we've had kind of disappointing years, I guess you could say, when it comes to a Daniel House or a Montrezl Harrell, whatever it may be. But I still have confidence in this bench, and I still have confidence that Daryl Morey will be able to add to this bench if necessary. And, oh, by the way, one of your better starters this year, DeAnthony Melton, will be getting kicked to the bench in the next couple weeks. Obviously, Maxey's back Friday, but Maxey's gonna start on the bench when he gets back because he's been out for 6 weeks. But so you're already adding a very good starter for your team is going to be going to the bench, in DeAnthony Melton. So my answer is not going to be the bench. The answer to me is much like last season. This team cannot rebound, and this team cannot offensive rebound. They are 28th in total rebounds per game and 28th in offensive rebounds per game. Now, they do a lot of things well. The Philadelphia 76ers, they're top 5 in three-point shooting. They're actually the 2nd in the NBA in points allowed per game, so the defense has been good. I think the defense has improved this year. So until playoff time, when we can really start to nitpick and just see what this team can really do in the postseason, right now I'd say one big weakness to me that sticks out is the lack of rebounding this team has.
I don't disagree with you. And I point a little bit even further. So I point to something more specific than just the rebounding.
Okay.
Because I look at rebounding as a lot of effort. And I don't know that this team has an effort issue. I'm just saying there's more factors that go into rebounding. And that's a team stat, right? It falls largely on the big men, but there could be guys like James Harden can have a double-digit rebound game, no problem. Tobias Harris can have a lot of rebounds in a game. Tyrese Maxey's not crazy good at rebounding, but that's not really his job. That's the thing. You crash the boards, though, you can get some rebounds. I look more at a position. And there's 2 specific players even, but I'll start with the position that I see as the weaknesses of the Sixers team right now. The first is the backup center position. And this just continues to be a thing. I mean, Dwight Howard was a nice piece for the year that he was here, but
Andre Drummond was good for 2 months.
Andre Drummond traded. Was probably the best one that you had.
Yep.
Unfortunately, you had to include him in that Ben Simmons deal to get James Harden here, which I would do again. No problem to get rid of Ben Simmons and not have that clown show in town anymore. But it's been a reoccurring problem over the course of Joel Embiid's time here in Philadelphia. You haven't had a good backup center. You haven't had a good backup 5 that you consistently can go to that's been here multiple years that you can just every single time Joel Embiid steps off the floor, you're like, okay, we're not going to get smoked on the boards or inside because we can go to so-and-so. I had a thought last year and coming into this year that Paul Reed could be that guy. I don't know. I really don't know. I haven't seen all that much from Paul Reed. He doesn't get the opportunities that I would give him if I was in charge of the Sixers rotations. But when he does get those opportunities, the minimal ones that Doc affords him, he hasn't looked like a guy that I'm comfortable with getting the majority of the backup center minutes. So maybe that's your trade deadline move. Maybe it's a backup center. Then I point to, when I look at the position, that's the biggest one. That feeds into your rebounding thing, Tom, too. Because I think they get crushed on the boards when Joel Embiid is not in there. And sometimes, not to just point to the backup center, they get crushed on the boards with Joel Embiid in there, which I think is a product of the way he plays the game, and that's a whole nother conversation. But I agree with your rebounding point. The two players I point to, there's just two guys that I look at. It's just they don't fit into my mind of what a championship caliber team looks like, at least with what their roles are. Montrezl Harrell and PJ Tucker just don't have it anymore, man. They just don't. They do some things that are nice at points. Montrezl Harrell more so than PJ Tucker to me.
I disagree. Montrezl Harrell I agree with. I don't agree with PJ Tucker personally.
What you're paying him and what you're asking him to do. If PJ Tucker was the 10th guy on this team, awesome. Love it. And I don't really care what he's getting paid. People are going to make their money in the NBA. Who cares? But, man, dude, having him as one of your starters, he doesn't give you enough.
I mean, he started for Miami last year, I believe. If he didn't start, he was their sixth man last year. I don't think what PJ Tucker brings to the table will be noticed on the stat sheet and will be noticed until playoff time.
Where is it noticed? Do you think all of a sudden
dude, he's really good defensively. He gives guys like Giannis problems. He gives guys like Kevin Durant problems, which is something that not a lot of teams have in the league. He brings toughness. He brings effort. He's got to start hitting his shots. He does. He has to start hitting his threes more often. He's got to start maybe getting more looks from three. I don't know what it is, but that's really something that I don't think we're going to notice a huge impact until come playoff time, honestly. But I do believe that PJ Tucker absolutely has a role in this team. I think he does do stuff well. But Montrezl Harrell, I'm with you on that one. Like Montrezl Harrell, I think, was getting 6 Man of the Year votes last year or 2 years ago, and he's just, we thought it was going to be a huge addition. He just has not been nearly as good as he should be this year.
Now, this goes back to the coaching point. Maybe this is Doc Rivers not putting those guys in the best possible situation for them. I don't know. I don't see the game enough as like a level of an NBA coach to know what's going on. That's a question for Devon Givens, Bob Cooney, Tyrone Johnson, those guys who know ball to another extent above me. But when I look at, so that certainly is a possibility. I mean, when I look at how Al Horford was handled in this town, I'm not a fan of Al Horford after his stint in Philadelphia, and certainly not a fan of Al Horford's
the fountain
sister,
of youth as soon as he leaves Philly.
And it's not the fountain of youth. He wasn't being employed the right way here.
Sure.
He wasn't being used the correct way. So when I look at that, I say, now I'm cautious to blame a player over a coach when I don't see the game to that level and I don't trust my eyes to understand it to the level that obviously a Doc Rivers does, but even folks that have covered the NBA or covered the Sixers do. So it's possible that I'm pointing at a problem and diagnosing the wrong reason for the problem. But I just look at those two guys and I say, I don't see a championship caliber team giving Montrezl Harrell and PJ Tucker the run that they're currently getting. And I know there's this whole, PJ Tucker is a Durant stopper. Oh, he's a guy that can guard the other team's best star in playoff time. I don't know. Maybe it's me being greedy. I'd like that guy to be able to do something besides just play defense on one or two specific stars in the league. Like, you have Joel Embiid to protect the rim. You have Tobias Harris, who plays pretty solid perimeter defense. Doesn't get enough credit at points, I think, for that. You have a Matisse Thybulle, who's a defensive specialist who gives you nothing offensively, who's younger and more athletic, who at least can rim run on transition when he gets that steal. Like, I don't know, man.
I think you're falling a bit into a little bit where, and I know you just said that you don't care about the money, but I think a lot of people's expectations of PJ Tucker were way too high when he got here. I know that 3-year deal looks bad when I believe he's 37 right now. Actually, I have the roster right up in front of me, so I don't know why I should be guessing it. Yeah, he's 37 right now, but I just believe that because of the number and the years, more importantly, that are accumulated or connected with him, people are automatically going to look at the stat sheet and see 0 points, 0 points, 3 points, 2 points, 0 points, 0 points, and be like, that contract was awful. They shouldn't have done it.
No, but it's not even the money, dude.
I think he does other things that a lot of NBA teams don't have players like that, where it's just gritty, defensive type players. I do. He adds toughness to this team. I don't hate the PJ Tucker move nearly as much as other people out there do, because I really think come playoff time, in a 7-game series with Giannis, in a 7-game series with Brooklyn, not many not many teams have multiple players that are going to be able to guard them, and I think the Sixers actually do to an extent. They're still going to get theirs because they're top 5 players in the league. But I think a player like P.J. Tucker, at least this season, we'll see next year when he can completely fall off a cliff. And again, he has to start hitting his shots. He has to give you something offensively. But I do think that is a very, very valuable asset to have come playoff time, personally.
I hope I'm wrong. But the conversation, the way you just described P.J. Tucker sounds like the old heads who talk about the Broad Street Bullies. The old heads that talk about the Buddy Ryan.
I'm not saying he's
hip-checking
Kevin Durant.
That's what you're saying. He has toughness. It's like, what do you see that he brings to this team?
He's a good defensive player, dude. He is. He is a good defensive player.
Does he rebound well?
No,
right
he's
now?
6'5". No.
Okay.
But does
he get a lot of steals?
If he can slow down Kevin Durant and Giannis Antetokounmpo, slow down because no one can stop them in a playoff series and take some of the pressure off Joel Embiid and Tobias Harris having to do that. Then that's all I can really ask for from a guy that's making, what, $7 million this year? I forget how much it is exactly.
Yeah, I don't care about the money.
$10 million, excuse me.
My eyes tell me he doesn't bring anything right now.
Well, then what are you doing instead of him, though? Like, are you bringing in some, I don't know, some guy that nobody wants that's not going to do a Gordon Hayward to fill his role or something, or moving a guy like Thibault to the starting rotation?
I'm not starting Thibault because he's also just a net negative offensively. But there's got to be a better option on this team that gives you something, or someone at the trade deadline that you can go and get a piece to just be a 5th starter that gives you more, that's somewhat athletic still, that can rebound the ball, that does more than just defend a handful of guys. I get the guys he defends are important to stop, but man, I can't go through another year of having a guy that can't score the basketball, Tom.
If you want to upgrade and not have him in the starting rotation anymore, that's content. But I don't want to just be giving away P.J. Tucker and not giving him minutes, because I don't believe that's the correct thing to do, because they've had a good record this season with P.J. Tucker on the floor, and he does some good things for you. So, yeah, if you want to upgrade there and maybe not have him in the starting lineup, I'm content with that. I'm fine with that. I can be talked into that. But I think P.J. Tucker will be a valuable asset come playoff time, and he cannot not be on this team.
You know what P.J. Tucker is right now to me? And I feel like the Emperor has no clothes. George Hill.
No.
George Hill.
George Hill was awful when he was here.
I heard when the Sixers got George Hill at the trade deadline 3 years ago was that, he's going to help. He's going to help. He's going to help. He's going to help. And I watch him every game, and I'm like, this guy gives me absolutely nothing. He's not a negative. He's not a positive. He's not good. He's not bad. He's just right there in the middle, zero impact player. And I kept hearing, wait till the playoffs. Wait till you get into a situation where his veteran knowledge is going to kick in. Wait till he spaces the floor. Wait till he gives you this. Wait till he gives you that. And I waited and waited and waited. And the next thing I know, their season is over, and George Hill gave you absolute squat. So forgive me if I'm tired of seeing players that over the course of a regular season look like they don't give you much of anything at all, and hoping come playoffs they just morph into this guy who all of a sudden is a lockdown defender on the biggest names in basketball. I'm not ready to wait for it.
I think the reason it seems like he's doing nothing is because defensive stats don't show up on the stat sheet. Like good defensive players don't show up on the stat sheet. But what I'm saying, like the Sixers defense has gotten better this year. That's obvious. They're second in points allowed per game. I think P.J. Tucker has a big part in why that is. That Anthony Melton does as well. He's a really good defender as well. And obviously Joel Embiid down low, and Tobias Harris is an okay defender as well. But I think it can't be minimized how much defense matters in the NBA come playoff time. And it's not a coincidence that this team has gotten better defensively, especially on the perimeter, and you just so happen to bring in the guy like P.J. Tucker, who's a good defensive player. George Hill, I hate. I can't believe you mentioned George Hill. I hate that guy. Sports hate. I'm sure he's a good dude. But, that was supposed to be the piece, the sixth man, the bench,
I know.
And he was
that's
just
what people sold him to me, and I watched him play, and my eyes told me George Hill doesn't add anything. Well, when I watch P.J. Tucker, my eyes are telling me. I know defensive stats, this, that, and the other thing. When I watch P.J. Tucker play basketball, I say this guy should not be a starter on a championship roster, and he won't be. That's what my eyes tell me. I don't care what the numbers say. I don't care how much he's getting paid. This is not a conversation about the amount of money that he's making. This is just, I don't know. That's what my eyes tell me.
I can't change what your eyes tell you. I'm incapable of doing that.
That's true. That's correct. You are not an optometrist.
I can't wait for game 1 in the playoffs in the Eastern Conference Finals when they're going up against Giannis. And Giannis has an okay game. Not a great game, an okay game. And P.J. Tucker has maybe 3 points. And we're like, wow, you look at the stat sheet. P.J. Tucker, he didn't have that great of a game. But he stopped Giannis. He slowed down Giannis. And that's what made us win, or was a big part in making us win game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals. I can't wait for that day.
I hope you're right. But you know what you're doing? You're this is a scenario.
Am I dreaming? Is that what I'm doing?
No, I don't think you're dreaming. Someone's giving you a month, and they're saying you got to make $1,000 in a month. And rather than going out and working on stuff and fixing it, you're saying, I'm going to go to the casino on the last day of the month, on the 31st.
Okay.
And I'm going to bet, and I'm going to hope I hit one time on 1,000 or I'm going to lose it all. Like, I'd rather see a consistent, repeatable approach that I trust than just waiting for this guy that looks like he's washed to all of a sudden pay dividends in the biggest spots. If that makes me nervous, risking everything on a guy that's showing me nothing
so
right
you're
now.
saying I should take my money that
Get
I'm
a
getting
job,
paid with
coward.
this Friday I'm getting paid. I should just go right to the casino. Is what you're saying. Okay.
Absolutely.
Smart.
Bet it all. Bet 0 or 00. Bet them both. They always hit. 610-632-0975 is how you jump in. That segment sponsored by NJ Transit. The New Jersey Transit Police Department reminds you that we all need to work together to keep our transit system safe. Report suspicious activity to 1-888-TIPS-NJT or text your report to NJTPD. Let's go to the phones and talk to Jim in North Wales who wants to jump in on the PJ Tucker conversation. Jim, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Hi, guys. Great show.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, man.
I think a lot of it has to do with some of the coaching, the rebounding issues. If you notice on the defensive end, Joel is always having to help defensively, which leaves his man wide open to rebound. I don't know if that's personnel per se or if it's a coaching thing where they're telling them, let their guy beat him so Joel can be there.
That did happen a lot last night, Jim. What I attribute that to, I'll give you your full time, but I do have a thought on that, is that this is still a team that's getting used to playing with each other. Even though they've been healthy for a couple weeks now with Harden and Embiid, everybody back, they're still getting settled in. And the last thing that comes is that team defense, knowing when rotations are happening. Offense, everything's in front of you. Defense, you have to trust that guys are supposed to be where they're going to be more. And that takes longer when you add new pieces. So I think it's just guys are not hitting their rotations right, and there's somebody left open to backside rebound. So I think that will get better in time.
I hope you're right. Also, effort, too, I believe, because I don't know if you noticed that little stretch last night where Joel went and just grabbed 2 offensive rebounds. One of them he dunked to follow. That was pretty impressive. I think guys just need to provide more effort on the rebounding end.
Yeah, Jim, I get what you're saying. I appreciate the call, man. You enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. It is Wednesday, right? Yeah.
Yes. Hump day.
I always find it difficult to question effort because it's intangible and these guys are playing at the highest level. Like the NBA, they have all this load management, sitting out games and everything like that, and the regular season doesn't matter. But I do believe when they're on the floor, they're trying. Even if there's times where it shows up and it looks more like, wow, Embiid just went on this monster stretch. That's also part of basketball. Like, basketball is like boxing. You don't see people just step out and throw. When you watch amateur boxing, when you watch a street fight, you see guys step out and just immediately throw haymakers. Like, the whole time, they're just hooking off trying to knock somebody out. When you watch boxers, half of the fight is footwork, dodging, ducking, stepping away, going back to the ropes, going to your corner, doing what you can do to avoid expounding effort so that when you get an opportunity, you can go ahead and catch somebody. You can throw a combo in. You can throw a jab hook, something like that. So that's what basketball is. It's a game of runs, and you're not going to see guys out there putting in 100% effort all the time because, frankly, it's so momentum-based that there are times where you just have to save a little bit of energy. I know these guys get rest. I know they sit them down, but Joel Embiid plays a lot of minutes every night. And they're in a stretch where they've been playing a lot of tough games on an 8-game win streak, expounding a lot of effort. Expounding. Yes. That's the right word I'm looking for, right?
Yes.
You get the point, though.
I do.
I don't think it's a lack of effort just for not caring. I think there are times where they play a little bit slower pace or a little bit more conservatively or what may appear to be less effort because, frankly, you can't go a million miles an hour, especially at his size, especially at his position, for the entirety of an NBA game if you expect him to remain healthy and continue to play throughout the regular season. That fair to say, Tom?
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
Okay. Glad that sounds good to you.
Sorry,
Just
I'm
wanna
digging
make sure I'm
deeper
not
into
crazy.
these numbers. Now I'm just looking at
Oh, yeah, you're on a deep stats
I'm a
dive.
stat guy. Yeah.
Deep into basketball reference, trying to figure
Yes.
out what's going on with the Philadelphia 76ers.
Yes.
Well, we got a break coming up. You can do that during the break. 610-632-0975 is how you jump in. Maybe you think I'm crazy because I had a couple people tweeting me when I tweet out the PJ Tucker, what do you do here type stuff. I do have some people who respond and are like, yo, you're crazy. Like, what are you seeing? You don't know ball, this, that, and the other thing. So I know those people are out there and exist. If you disagree on the PJ Tucker conversation, or maybe you're seeing what I'm seeing, and you want to tell Tom, dude, what are you looking at that you think he's going to be good in the playoffs all of a sudden? You could jump in, 610-632-0975 on the phone lines. Phone lines. Dude, I get down to wrap up each segment, and I just forget how to talk. Maybe it's 22-minute segments. I think I have 21 minutes of ability to talk
good content
in my head.
in you, and
I'm just running on empty. The gas light's coming on. Like, get to a gas station right now. You're out of ability to talk. No, I got it. I promise.
Okay, if you say so.
Expending. It's not even expounding. You gave me bad information. Expending's the right word.
Is it really?
Thank you to N-Dub on the YouTube.
I don't do words. Words, it's not my cup of tea.
We definitely need a break. Coming back on the other side, well, we're losing something, Tom. We're losing something that's hugely important to a lot of people.
Our sanity?
Age. No, not our sanity. I think that's still somewhat intact. But there's a very important part of nostalgic childhood sports and sports equipment that's going away. And we also have a couple Phillies conversations that we want to have with the weather not getting warmer, but we're in the stretch of the year where days are starting to get longer again, which is wonderful. We're starting to inch towards February. And February 14th this year, well, it's not just Valentine's Day. No, it's Pitchers and Catchers Report. So we'll have a little bit of fun baseball talk on the other side and a little bit of nostalgic sports and sports equipment conversation with something going away. We'll discuss it next. Again, 610-632-0975 is how you get in. It is Connor Thomas. It is Tom Alvord. We are in for the John Kincaid Show, and we're back after this here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
The John Kincaid Show.
Say it. I'll say it. Loser, putz, dork, doof, dink, schmo, dingus, goober.
On 97.5 The Fanatic, Philadelphia.
Hey, it's Coach, and we are down to the final two games of the regular season for the Birds, and a new year is upon us. So why don't we say let's start making some cash on some of the games, and we can do that by using my favorite app, the Caesars Sportsbook app. If you're a new user to the app, just download the Caesars Sportsbook app right on your phone there. Use the promo code RADIOFULL. Then go ahead and make that first bet. The Birds are still sitting at plus 500 to win the Super Bowl. They're tied with Kansas City now. Plus, there are super odds boosts for all the games. They got parlays, even live casino games, and a ton more on the app. And here's the great thing. If you make that first bet and you don't win, you're going to get your money back as a free bet up to $1,250. Plus, betting with Caesar is going to earn you towards some awesome rewards like dinners and tickets, shows, and a lot more. But you have to remember, use the promo code RADIOFULL. Caesars Sportsbook open to new users in New Jersey who are 21 and over. If qualifying bet loses, bet amount returned as a credit. Must use within 14 days. See Caesars.com/promo for full terms. If you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Prices plus tax, tags, and $389 fee. For Barbera's Big Finish event, $0 down or $199 a month on approved credit. Call or click 1-800-Barbera.com for details.
Don't stand around. The curtain's coming down. A real $0 down, a real $199 a month. It's Gary Barbera's annual Dynamic December discounts. You heard right. 0 money down, $199 a month. I am not kidding. When I say 0, I mean 0 down. Not a penny out of pocket. Then $199 a month, that's all you pay. The Gary Barbera Dynamic December discount way. Gary Barbera's Jeep Cheap Cherokees or America's favorite best-built minivan. Your choice. 0 down, $199 a month. Hello, 0 down, $199 a month. Langhorne, are you listening? South Jersey, I'm talking to you at Gary Barbera's #1 Chrysler Land. At Gary Barbera's #1 Jeep Cheap Land. Real 0 down, real $199 a month. Is Barbera the money-saving best? Boy, I guess.
Hey, it's Cuz. Get a jump on the new year with your health with NJ Diet. NJ Diet uses a scientific approach where you lose fat quickly. NJ Diet uses your hair and saliva samples along with their bioenergetic scans to personalize natural solutions and supplements that balance your hormones, where the side effect is weight loss. You will shed a contractually guaranteed 20 to 40 plus pounds in only 40 days. Then NJ Diet uses DNA testing to help you keep the weight off. NJ Diet is all natural, no shots, no hormones, no surgery, no prepackaged foods. Ew. Full supervision provided every step of the way. You even get the doctor's personal email and phone number. Locations close by: King of Prussia, Cherry Hill, Newark, Delaware. Take advantage from your house. That's right, from your couch, with online video consultations. Call now, 855-5NJ-DIET, or you can schedule your consult at njdiet.com. That's njdiet.com, and lose the weight for good.
Attention. This is a special alert for all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an overpriced auto warranty or no warranty coverage at all. Due to the increase of new and used car prices, repair costs, and the price of gas, people are keeping their cars longer than ever, which is why CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on covered auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can save thousands for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. You could save thousands on future auto repairs. Our specialists are standing by for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-615-7814. Vehicle Protection Plan pricing is at an all-time low. Plus, drivers who purchase this coverage today will receive rental car options, free roadside assistance, and free towing. Call 800-615-7814 now for your free quick quote. That's 800-615-7814. What do you have to lose? Call 800-615-7814 now. Again, 800-615-7814.
My friend and I are taking a trip to Mexico this year, but neither of us speak Spanish. So we downloaded Babbel and started learning Spanish fast.
Want to start getting conversational in another language? In as little as 3 weeks, Babbel's quick 10-minute lessons were designed by language experts to be the most efficient and effective way to learn a new language.
¿Cómo te llamas? ¿Cómo te llamas?
Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. That's Babbel.com.
Smooth skin begins with hydrating ingredients. Olay Hyaluronic Body Lotion nourishes your skin with all-day hydration for deeply moisturized results that give you confidence like buttery soft shoulders like and visibly smooth skin like. Quench your skin with nourishing moisture from Olay Hyaluronic Body Lotion. Try Olay Hyaluronic Body Wash, too, and get skin your face will envy.
O'Reilly! Be ready for winter weather with Rain-X Advantage Wiper Blades at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Right now, purchase a pair of Rain-X Advantage Wiper Blades and save $10, plus get 2 times O Rewards points. Our professional parts people will even install your new wiper blades for free. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts today or visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
At Lowe's, every pro is an MVP to us. That's why MVP's Pro Rewards members can earn bonus points on select products and brands like Power Pro, Weehawk, and Valspar. Then redeem your bonus points for exciting rewards like tools, sports memorabilia, Lowe's e-gift cards, and more. Join Lowe's MVP's Pro Rewards today to start earning. Bonus points calculated before taxes and fees after applicable discounts, if any. Subject to program terms. While supplies last. Points expire at end of calendar year. Visit Lowes.com/L/Pro Loyalty terms for details. Now through 1/8/23.
Hey, it's Cuz for Golden Nugget Jewelers. You think about getting an engagement ring? Well, if you're ready to pop the question, you got to go see your own at Golden Nugget Jewelers now. Largest selection of certified diamonds and engagement rings. Your perfect ring at Golden Nugget Jewelers. Major financing options, unbeatable prices for name brands like Viraggio and Tacori for the settings. Right at the corner of 8th and Chestnut. It's engagement season. Now's the time to get the big ring and get all of your holiday shopping done. Get the present of a lifetime at Golden Nugget Jewelers, where Philly gets engaged.
Now, back to the John Kincaid Show on 97.5 The Fanatic, Philadelphia.
.731 here at 97.5 The Fanatic. Connor Thomas, Tom Alvord. We are in for the John Kincaid Show. The rest of the week, it will be me in the number one chair sitting in for John Kincaid. Tom is with me today and tomorrow. And then Friday, it'll be Ray Dunn who will be taking over for Tom, who can't make it the full 5 days for some reason. Man, it's okay.
You can blame the Sixers. That's what you can blame.
I mean, you did the Sixers last night.
I don't make the schedule. I don't make the schedule.
Wow. No, that's okay. If you don't want to do the shift, you could just say so. But that's all right, Tom. I appreciate you being here for 4 out of the 5 days for the week.
No problem.
That's
Anytime.
Very, very kind and thoughtful.
I will not work a full week anytime you need me to.
Appreciate that. That's we're talking about questioning the Sixers' effort. Well, nobody can question your effort, Tom Alvord. Now, all seriousness, putting in work for the station this week. Anyone you hear, if you're out there listening, anyone you hear that's in this week are stepping up. This is not about me. Like, this is whatever. This is about more so the other guys. I already do this shift. This is not anything special for me. But for people like Tom, for people like Ray Dunn and Kevin Cooney, for Haley and Matt, who's on the board, and Dan Fritz, they're stepping up, working more hours than what they would normally work because a lot of people who are regular full-time folks on the air are taking off to be with their families. Much deserved for them to have that break. So anyone you hear on the airwaves this week, just know that they're putting in a lot of extra effort to make sure we continue to keep great sports talk going for you. So I'm sure you all are, but I hope you're appreciative of the efforts that the people who are in here this week are putting in, especially our part-timers. So appreciate all that. Besides Tom, who is only working Monday through Thursday on the morning show because that can't get a full week out of Mr. Alvord over there.
Good. Glad you clarified. Appreciate it.
No problem at all, buddy. Now, I know we're talking holidays. I know it's not even 2023 yet. We're still in 2022 for the next 3 days. So this may seem a bit premature, but really it always sneaks up on you. We're under 50 days until pitchers and catchers report to spring training. Can you believe that?
Can't get here soon enough.
February 14th, Valentine's Day. And one of my true loves in life is, of course, the sport of baseball. When I played my whole life, played in college, played after college, love it. My life is baseball. Covering the Phillies this past year was one of the great joys of my life, and I hope they go on another run again. But their job is not done yet this offseason. We know that there are still signings to be made by a lot of Major League Baseball teams. There are a lot of interesting free agents out there that have not yet been signed. And while that's the case, the Phillies have also done a lot. They have brought in the best shortstop in baseball, all-pro, all-MLB player, Trey Turner. They have brought in 2 strong relievers, I would say, in Matt Strahm, who former starter at points during his time with the San Diego Padres, most recently with the Boston Red Sox, a lefty who's going to give you basically the Brad Hand innings that you got last year, and I think actually be a better option. And Craig Kimbrell, who we had a nice debate about yesterday, whether or not it's just he's a name or he can actually have a bounce-back year from what was a down season in Los Angeles as a member of the Dodgers in the 2022 season, but a guy that I like as long as he's not the guy in the bullpen, and he's not the guy in this bullpen. He is another one of the top guys. I think he fits in well. You went ahead and got Taijuan Walker, who's probably going to slot into your 4th starter position this year, who's pretty darn good for a 4th starter, who you're taking from a division rival, was with the Mets the past couple seasons. And when you saw him with the Mets, you see him as what he is. He's a quality middle-of-the-rotation starter in Major League Baseball. That's a guy that you can win a lot of games with. Maybe not because of, but with. He's a quality addition.
Pitched a ton of innings the last 2 seasons as well, so
yes.
Seems to be a workhorse at this point in his
Had a
career.
couple injury issues at the start of the 2022 season, but he is a guy that can eat up innings. You made some good additions already this offseason, but I don't think the Philadelphia Phillies are done. They have positions that still need to be addressed, some depth, some still in the bullpen. So, Tom, the question that I'm going to ask this segment, and you can jump in on the phones as well, 610-632-0975. The Phillies, I'm restricting you to only addressing one more thing the rest of the offseason. It can't be, I want to see them do the bullpen and a depth piece in the infield and a backup catcher or this, that, and the other thing. No. One thing. What would it be? Because for me, it is not the bullpen. I want to see the Phillies go out and get another corner outfield depth piece. A guy that you could play out there. Because when I look at the Philadelphia Phillies outfield, especially with no Bryce Harper, remember, Bryce Harper is going to be missing a significant portion of the season due to recovery from Tommy John surgery. And even when he comes back, the first probably month of him being available for the Philadelphia Phillies is going to be just as a designated hitter. Now you say, well, that should mean that you have plenty of options in the outfield. Well, right now, your options in the outfield are Kyle Schwarber, Nick Castellanos. Those are going to be the guys that are most likely starting in the corners most days until Bryce Harper is back. Maybe Kyle Schwarber will DH some games, But the only other two outfield options that you have are Matt Vierling and Brandon Marsh. Brandon Marsh is going to be your everyday starting center fielder. That's no doubt to me. Because I'd imagine Kyle Schwarber will have a good amount of time at DH, and you're not going to platoon, because this past year they were platooning Matt Vierling and Brandon Marsh in center field. If you had a lefty on the mound as an opposing pitcher, it'd be Matt Vierling's day. If you have a righty on the mound, it would be Brandon Marsh's day, because as a young lefty, Brandon Marsh has not hit lefties all that well. Matt Vierling, right-handed hitter, hits lefties better. Well, this year, that's not going to happen as much. Partially because I think Kevin Long is going to make a concerted effort to work with Brandon Marsh this offseason and get him to a point where he's not jumping in middle of the season. Work on his approach even further, and you're going to see a player who's a more consistently improved hitter than just the flashes that we saw down the stretch last year from Brandon Marsh. So I think he's going to develop into a guy you feel comfortable with every day in center field. And you're going to want Matt Vierling to be able to play in the corners when you DH either Kyle Schwarber or Nick Castellanos. But that doesn't leave much depth. Let's say your starting lineup on opening day is outfield Matt Vierling in left, Brandon Marsh in center, Nick Castellanos in right, Kyle Schwarber DHing. You don't have a backup outfielder right now to that. I want to see them go out and address that position and get somebody to go ahead and fill that position. I don't know who fits in there. I don't know who they're willing to pay. It will not be a big name because they've already committed so much money. But that would be my most valuable piece, considering I already trust what they have in the bullpen. I know numbers-wise you need to add guys, but I think they have enough guys to survive in the bullpen. The starting rotation is perfect for me. I got no problem with what they've got there. Either throw Bailey Falter as the fifth guy, call Andrew Painter up, do whatever you got to do there, Griff McGarry, however you want to figure that out. And I think the infield is pretty well shored up with stars everywhere. You got Edmundo Sosa as kind of a utility guy that can play anywhere. And Nick Maton is another guy that you have that you're looking at that's more of an infielder. I know he played outfield at points, but I want a better option backing up the outfield corners than what you currently have in just Matt Vierling. Tom, where are you going for the one spot you could still see the Philadelphia Phillies address before the season starts?
Yeah, that's a good one. I do believe Maton probably can play a little bit of corner outfield. I think he's better suited as an infielder, a depth piece in the infield, but I think he can play in the outfield if necessary. That's up there for me, corner outfield. Even I don't know what their plan is with DH, like with Derek Hall. I don't know if they plan on platooning that. Maybe bring in a right-handed bat that can play some corner outfield for you that you can maybe platoon at DH at times with the Derek Hall, lefties, righties, obviously. So, yeah, that's definitely up there for me. For me, though, it's the bullpen. I need another bullpen piece in here. I do. I love what I saw from Jose Alvarado last year. You can argue he was their most important relief pitcher down the stretch with how many innings he was pitching. The first half of the season, he was not good at all. He was sent down to AAA, and I know he worked on his cutter and added that to his repertoire, and that's what helped him, have such a good second half of the season. I'd like to see it replicated. I know that we're just kind of assuming that he's going to be as good as he was last year. I'll believe it when I see it kind of thing. I still trust him much more than I did at the start of the season last year for sure. Still some question marks there. Seranthony Dominguez, obviously tremendous last season. He pitched a ton of innings last season, coming off a big-time injury, missing 2 years of baseball. How is his arm going to react? We saw how Zach Wheeler down the stretch last year had to go on IL because he was having some arm fatigue from pitching the most innings of his career the year before and pitched a ton of innings last year. So maybe something like that with Dominguez potentially. Connor Brogdon, I like the potential. And at the start of the season, towards the mid-season, he was really good. Kind of teetered off a little bit towards the end and then got good again in the postseason. So a little bit of a question mark there. I like Andrew Bellotti as a more mid-inning guy, 6th, 7th kind of player, and I think you need guys like that on your team. Matt Strahm, I'll be honest, I don't know a ton about. I know he's a lefty specialist. I know he started.
He's got long hair, kind of looks like a weirdo. I love that out of the bullpen. I love weirdo bullpen pitchers.
Okay, sounds good. I know his ERA was like high 3s last year, but they obviously see something that they like, and I'm content with it. They obviously know more than me when it comes to what guys they want in this bullpen. Craig Kimbrell, you like more than myself. I would love to be proven wrong, and I'd love to have him go out there and pitch like he did in 2021, where he was unhittable, but last season, he was inconsistent and out of the closer role for the Dodgers towards the end of the season. So I need one more bullpen piece. preferably a high leverage, and I'm not talking closer type, but if you can give me a guy I can count on in the seventh inning, like I would just absolutely love that. Something like that where
I just don't think there's a guy out there like that.
Well, like Andrew Chafin is out there. He's a guy who pitched for the Cubs 2 years ago. I forget where he was last season. Another lefty specialist, has really low ERA, especially against lefties, but a bullpen piece more so than a guy like just spring training invite, which I think is probably more likely, unfortunately.
Okay.
But I need a little bit more depth in this bullpen. There's a bit too many question marks for my liking for a team that's looking to compete for the NL East, which is one of the best divisions in baseball.
Yeah, I think the strength of this team, though, pitching-wise, is obviously their starting rotation, and I think that saves a lot of trouble with the bullpen. The bullpen for contending teams, as long as you can get to a point where you're in the playoffs. We kind of saw it, right? The Philadelphia Phillies made their way through the playoffs with basically 3 or 4 guys in the bullpen. Take your pick of...
I think that's a bit of an anomaly, though, and I don't mean to interrupt, but like, man, look at the Astros, what they were doing, and I know the Astros are one of the best-run organizations in all of sports, even though they cheat and they're cheaters. But their bullpen was like historic last year. I think their bullpen ERA in the postseason was like under 2 or under 1 even, maybe. And yes, that's because they have top-tier guys at the top of the or at the back of the bullpen, but it's also because they had really good depth as well, where a guy like Hector Neris only pitched like 1 game or 1 inning, in the World Series. You need depth as well as the high leverage guys, and you can never have enough good bullpen arms, is what I'm saying.
No, it helps, but like think about the 08 team. Durbin, Madsen, Romero, Lich.
14 years ago. It's different. It's different baseball.
Really, it's not, dude. The bullpen is not. The bullpen doesn't really change. I understand that you're looking at a situation where, honestly,
they had Romero was 7th, Madsen was 8th, and Lidge was 9th.
Yes, and
every single game.
And then you had Durbin for like whatever else.
But
that's what you need.
Guys are going multiple innings. Guys are going less.
You can get more out of bullpen pitchers now because you have to. You can't do the 1 batter and change a guy. You have to throw them for 3 batters. So you almost get more out of bullpens now. No, you need Sir Anthony, Jose Alvarado, Craig Kimbrell, 1 other guy. And these other guys will help through the regular season, but you can exist in playoff baseball with 4 good relievers.
You can. It's a long season, 162-game season. Injuries are going to happen. I don't want to have to rely on whoever. I can't even think. Give me like some of the lower bullpen arms or something like that. Like
Connor Brogdon.
Yeah. Well, no, because Connor Brogdon, I think, is up there.
Bailey Falter.
More of the middle rotation, sure. Like, are you going to be asking Bailey Falter to be a 7th inning guy at some point next season because there's injuries?
I'd be fine with that.
I'm not, personally.
I don't think it'll take injuries. I think you're going to call up Painter later in the season.
Like, am I going to have to rely on a guy like Sam Coonrod type player to come in here and get 7th inning? But that's what we might have to.
Brogdon, Bilotti, Kimbrell, Alvarado, and Dominguez. That's 6 arms that I trust in spots in the playoffs because we've seen them do it before. What more do you really want?
I want a guy that, because I don't know if I can trust a guy like Brogdon. Brogdon was up and down a lot of last season. Bilotti was okay in his role. I don't know if I can count on him consistently if a guy goes down. Again, Kimbrell was very up and down and has been more down the past 4 seasons than up. So I don't. Alvarado, there's still question marks because he had a really good second half of the season, not so good first half. So I just think there's more question marks with this bullpen than maybe yourself thinks, and maybe even the Phillies think themselves. But I see like Andrew Chafin, a guy, as I mentioned, Michael Fulmer, a guy like Matt Moore, who he hated when he was a Philly because he wasn't good. He was really good out of the bullpen last year.
Yeah.
For the Tigers, I believe. I forget what team it was, but I remember looking at his stats and he was pretty good. But I don't know. A guy like Corey Knable's out there.
No.
1 year, $2 million deal. You can never have enough good bullpen arms, high leverage bullpen arms. So that is my number one.
They don't exist at the price range that the Phillies are going to spend on.
Well, these guys haven't been signed yet. I don't think they're going to be getting that much money if they haven't signed yet.
Because
I'm not asking for an Edwin Diaz or Kenley Jansen.
No one pays guys like that, though. That's only the Mets.
Okay, so
the
we're
Mets
good.
just pay guys like that. No, but they set the market like that, and then people are going to try and get that money. The Phillies are not committing to another big name bullpen arm. They're not.
Big. It doesn't have to be big name. Like, is Matt Moore a big name bullpen arm or Michael Fulmer? No, but they're good bullpen arms. They're good depth. If I have to rely on Nick Nelson at spots next year because Dominguez goes on the IL for 15 days and Alvarado goes on for 15 days because they pitched a ton of innings last season, I can't have that. I'll be pulling my hair out. This division's too tough. I can't rely on guys like Nick Nelson and like Sam Coonrod type players to be trying to go get me out.
Well, buddy, then you're not going to like how the bullpen looks on opening day because they're not going to do anything crazy with the bullpen, and they don't need to.
Asking for crazy. I don't think what I'm asking for is crazy.
They've already made 2 nice signings. That's about as good as a bullpen offseason gets for any team in baseball.
Not a team that just spent $1 billion in the last 2 off seasons that were 2 wins away from the World Series. No, I don't need. We should be okay. No, we're going to be okay, and we're going to have as good as talent as we can.
They can't address everything. No team can address everything.
They're already over the luxury tax. Or are they over the luxury tax? How can they not? Steve Cohen has spent $1 billion this offseason.
They're not Steve Cohen. They're not the New York Mets. They're not just going to throw money at bullpen arms they don't need. They don't need to make the bullpen any better than what it is.
To bring in a guy for 2 years and $10 million, 1 year for $4 million is not exactly doing Steve Cohen type thing. So forgive me if I just want another high leverage.
So let's say you go get a high leverage bullpen arm. What inning does he get now?
I don't care.
Where
it
does he
bumps
throw?
Everybody down. Now Connor Brogdon is your 6th inning guy instead of your 7th or 8th inning guy.
There are only 9 innings. 5 of them or 6 of them are getting eaten up by a starter. Kimbrel, Alvarado, Dominguez.
These guys aren't pitching
Brogdon,
3 days in a
Bellotti.
row. I'd rather have a guy I'd rather have Brogdon and Bellotti be my 6th inning guys and have a guy I can count on in the 7th to go along with the Matt Strom.
You already have that guy.
Who?
It's Kimbrel.
Okay, but you're set. These guys aren't going to pitch 3 days in a row. They're going to come in for some guy's going to be off. They're going to be careful with these guys throughout the season as well. I'm trying to upgrade the seventh inning. That's what I want an upgrade on. And another guy.
Who are you upgrading over?
I just said it. Connor Brogdon and Andrew Bellotti.
Connor Brogdon is not your 7th inning guy. That's Craig Kimbrel this year. I can't say his name. That's Craig
Kimbrel this year. Sure.
That's him this year.
There you go.
You're not upgrading over Craig Kimbrel with anybody left on the market.
In a perfect world, if these guys are all healthy for a majority of the season and they're all pitching up to our standards, which I don't know is going to happen, in a perfect world, it's Kimbrel, Alvarado, and Dominguez. That kind of order in the last 3. It's not a perfect world. Injuries happen. Regression happens. This stuff happens. You can never have enough good bullpen arms. I don't care where they're pitching it or what inning. I don't care if Andrew Bellotti is getting left innings in the bullpen if I can bring in an upgrade over Andrew Bellotti. I don't.
Yeah. Not only is it not how baseball
the Houston Astros were like 15 deep in their bullpen, dude.
Do you know why they're 15 deep in their bullpen? Because they're calling these guys up.
Okay,
because their farm system
don't have that.
I know they don't.
So they're going to have to go out there and sign guys.
No, they're not, because you don't do that for bullpen arms. They don't have the luxury.
When Kimbrel's got an ERA over 4, and when Alvarado's on the IL and Dominguez, and I don't mean to be negative because I'm extremely happy about the Phillies. I'm just, in a perfect world, yes, that's the best way to do it. But this bullpen has a lot of question marks still, dude. It does.
I totally disagree with you. I could not disagree with you more. I think the bullpen is in a really
Connor Brogdon was not good last year for a majority of the year, especially towards the end of the year. Yeah, he had a nice little postseason run, but he was not good all year.
There was like 2 months where they had the best bullpen in baseball.
They were, and a lot of that was because Dominguez and Alvarado were just going insane. Okay, are they going to do that an entire 162-game season? No, they're not going. No, they're not going to, dude. I would love for them to. That's not realistic to expect Jose Alvarado and Sir Anthony Dominguez to pitch in 90% of the games next season. It's not.
They don't need them.
We always have heated debates with baseball. I love it.
You are really underestimating this bullpen.
I think you're overestimating this bullpen.
Totally disagree.
Well, that's obvious, and I disagree.
Totally disagree.
Okay.
We're going to be sitting here in August saying there's no worry about the bullpen whatsoever.
I truly hope you are right. I don't think it's that simple.
I truly believe I'm right.
That's good. You should believe.
Regardless of what we have to argue about here, the other thing that's an important part of this equation is the Philadelphia Phillies have shown you over the past couple years with how they build their baseball teams, they don't give a you-know-what about the bullpen. They've already committed more this year than I'd ever imagined them to. I didn't think Kimbrel was even remotely a possibility.
They committed more last season than they did this season. They brought in Knable, Hand, and Familia last season for like $20 million. They brought in Strom and Kimbrel for what? $17 million?
Because
they committed last season.
Right, because they just went and committed $300 million to Trey Turner. They didn't do that last year.
And if you're going to do that, you better have as little weaknesses as possible. And I believe the bullpen's still a weakness. To an extent. It has not a weak. There's question marks with it. I'll say that.
Yeah, I don't have any. I don't have any question marks with the bullpen.
All right. In a perfect world, I think you're right.
I feel very good. If this team starts the season right now as is, without any other additions, obviously you have to fill roster spots, but you put whoever, spring training invite, whoever in the bullpen the rest of the way. And spring training invite whoever, call someone up from the minor leagues to be your outfield depth piece and roll this. This is a 95 to 100 win baseball team right now. And, I mean, I don't know. The arm is not making a difference between that and the other option.
A high-leverage bullpen arm isn't going to add wins to this team.
They're not getting a high-leverage bullpen arm. They've already gotten a high leverage bullpen arm in Craig Kimbrell. They're not going to get a second one.
They've got a guy who's had an ERA over 3 of the last 4 seasons. They had a guy in Jose Alvarado who was sent down to AAA, and they had a guy in Seranthony Dominguez who just took 2 years off of baseball and pitched the most innings of his career. So, yeah, they have names. They do, and they have a ton of potential. They do, but they also have question marks as well. The end.
The end. 610-632-0975 is how you jump in on the conversation. A little heated baseball talk there. That's fun. For middle or, I guess, late December, you don't hear that very often. But, yeah, a little bit of fun talk about the bullpen. For me, I'm looking more at the outfield. Looking at a couple names, just to throw some names out there. Tyler Naquin, Jackie Bradley Jr. are 2 guys that I would love the Phillies to look at as a depth outfield piece. Jackie Bradley Jr. is the holy grail of outfield depth for me for this team right now, considering he's a lefty, a strong defensive player, a guy that's gone deep into the postseason. I believe he was on the World Series team with the Red Sox had in 2018.
So. He was.
So that would be of much interest to me. But Tom obviously feels strongly about the bullpen still needing to be retooled or added to as far as that goes. By the way, NJ Diet, you can lose a contractually guaranteed 20 to 40-plus pounds in as little as 40 days. Start by calling today, 8555-NJ-DIET, or visit njdiet.com. Now, coming up next, we're going to get back into the football side of everything. And I've got a confession to make. I think I've been underestimating the New Orleans Saints defense.
Is that right?
And I know down here on our show sheet I wrote a little bit. I think I've been underestimating them a lot. I have a mea culpa to Tom and to the New Orleans Saints. And it tells you a little bit about where the game plan should go on Sunday for the Birds. Connor Thomas, Tom Alvord, we're in for the John Kincaid Show all week. Well, I am all week. Tom till Thursday, and then we'll have Ray done. But today, of course, it's us in for the John Kincaid Show. And we're back right after this here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
The John Kincaid Show.
This is not radio fantasy camp. We're on the air here.
On 97.5 The Fanatic. Philadelphia.
Hi guys, it's Mark. Are you struggling with ED? Did you know that a major medical breakthrough is now available and it isn't a pill? Today, Wednesday, December 28th, we're running a one-day special you won't want to miss out on. Oak Hill's Medical Clinic uses the most powerful form of wave therapy. This is a technology clinically shown to repair blood vessels and improve blood flow. It's backed by 60 clinical studies, including from Cambridge. If you're ready to regain that spark in the bedroom, today is your day. Call us now and you'll qualify for the assessment and ultrasound totally free. You'll also get a gift that can produce rapid and powerful results in the bedroom in minutes. You're going to love that one, guys. Trust me. And today only, we're offering 5 tune-up treatments to our patients free. This is an unprecedented offer worth hundreds of dollars, but call today and qualify totally free. Call 215-302-9999. That's 215-302-9999. Guys, put a stop to your ED and get your life back. Call Oak Hills Medical Clinic now to qualify. This offer ends today, Wednesday, 215-302-9999.
It's Jen Scordo for CNC Heating and Air Conditioning. When the weather outside is frightful and your PJs are warm and delightful, then who needs a good heater, right? Wrong. Our utility bills continue to rise. Don't get stuck with an old HVAC system. One call to my friends at CNC Heating will ensure that your home will be warm and toasty even without those fuzzy PJs. Look, if you live in Buxton, Montgomery County, you can trust your home to CNC Heating and Air Conditioning. Family owned and proven for 50 years. You'll see why homeowners rely on CNC for their family's comfort. And as a gift to you this holiday season, CNC is offering $500 off all new systems when you mention this ad through the end of the year. Search CNC Heating to schedule your system service analysis today. That's CNC Heating and Air Conditioning. Their family is here to keep your family comfortable all year long.
Hey, Sixer fans, it's Matt Cord for the Bet Parks app, the official winning partner of your Philadelphia 76ers. The Bet Parks app is fun to use. Build around on what you want right from your phone. It's easy to sign up, great customer service, and faster to win than ever before. Download the Bet Parks app today. The Bet Parks app, the official winning partner of your Philadelphia 76ers.
See website for terms and conditions. Must be 21 and in Pennsylvania or New Jersey. Gambler problem. 1-800-GAMBLER.
Parks Casino. This is how you win. Looking for a perfect night out? Look no further than Parks Casino. Enjoy live music and entertainment at 360 inside Parks Casino. Friday, December 30th, the exceptions keep you dancing all night long. Parks Casino is your place for live entertainment, award-winning restaurants, and never-ending action. Go to parkscasino.com or follow on social for a full list of world-class entertainment. Coming soon to the Excite Center at Parks Casino. Parks Casino, this is how you win. This is how you win. 21 or older, gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
milkshake brings all the boys to the yard, and they're like, it's better than yours.
Spilled your milkshake? Quick, the quicker picker upper. Bounty picks up spills quicker. And each sheet is 2 times more absorbent, so you can use less than the leading Ordinary brand. So you can get back to your milkshake.
My milkshake brings all the boys to the yard, and they're like, it's better than yours.
Bounty, the quicker picker upper.
Welcome to a late night edition of What If, the show where I, Jake from State Farm, answer your insurance what ifs. We've got Sean on the line. What's up?
Hey, Jake, what if I'm too stressed about my coverage to sleep? Like, what if I don't have enough? Or what if I need to change it?
Oh, if you can't sleep, just give us a ring. We're available 24/7. At State Farm, we're there for your what ifs.
Oh, great. What if I just take a little nap?
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Call or go to statefarm.com for a quote today.
So I switched to Boost Mobile and got this free Samsung Galaxy A23 5G phone.
Why do you think they call it the Galaxy?
Maybe because the Samsung Galaxy A23 has a huge screen, and galaxies are huge gravitationally bound systems of stars rotating around a supermassive black hole.
And the phone is free?
When you switch to Boost Mobile.
Cool. You lost me at gravitationally bound.
Switch to Boost and get a free Samsung Galaxy A23 5G phone. Boost Mobile. Unleash your power. Limited time offer while supplies last. New customers only. Excludes tax. 1 device offer per line. Only available on certain networks. 5G not available everywhere. Additional restrictions apply. See your local Boost Mobile store for details.
For everything your business needs to make this year your year, Staples has you covered.
I need to organize all my papers and files from last year and the year before that.
Staples has you covered.
I need a new desk calendar so that I don't miss a meeting with my boss or a soccer game with my daughter.
Staples has you covered with everything you need to get organized this year. Right now, a 2023 lined desk calendar is $3.99 and an unlined calendar is just $4.99. Make this year your year at Staples. Offer ends 12/31. In-store only.
Hi, I'm Adam Flager. At Flager & Associates, we've specialized in personal injury cases for more than 30 years. A car accident or a slip and fall in icy conditions can change your life. Our clients have peace of mind knowing they have a law firm that handles every aspect of their case so they can concentrate on getting well again. We won't rest until we get top dollar for your case. Call Flager & Associates at 215-953-5200 or visit flagerlaw.com. That's FLAGERLAW.com.
WPEN Burlington, Philadelphia, a Beasley Media Group station, home of the most entertaining sports talk in Philadelphia. 97.5 The Fanatic, Philadelphia. Now, back to the John Kincaid Show on 97.5 The Fanatic, Philadelphia.
8 o'clock here at 97.5 The Fanatic's beautiful studios in Ballackinwood, Pennsylvania, right off City Line Ave. Fiery segment, last one, as we got into a little bit of Phillies debate between myself and Tom Alvord, who was.
We had to be separated at the break.
We did. It nearly came to blows. No, I went out and got water. We just agreed we have different philosophies on how to build a baseball team, and we get ready for the next segment. It's not that
how it
deep
works.
here. It's just fun debate. And it's a good conversation. And the fact that it is this heated over a baseball team in December is a good sign for how interested the city's probably going to be in the Philadelphia Phillies this year. This is a team that is going to cause a lot of debate, a lot of interest, a lot of big news over the course of the summer, which is great because we're avoiding that summer dead zone that the 2017 and 2018 and 2019 versions of the Philadelphia Phillies gave us, where it's just like, let's get to the Eagles. It's nice to have a full sports calendar back, and that's credit to not only what the Philadelphia Phillies did this past year, but what they've done this offseason in adding Trey Turner and putting themselves in position to, again, compete in a stacked division, stacked league, and hopefully go on another World Series run. So, yeah, it's just all fun, but a good sign for what the Philadelphia Phillies should mean to this city come this summer. By the way, I'm Connor Thomas. I'm sitting in John Kincaid's seat here. This is the John Kincaid Show still, even though the majority of the John Kincaid Show is off. All of them enjoying their holiday break. 610-632-0975 is how you jump into the conversation on anything we've been getting into this morning. Feel free to chime in if you have any thoughts on what Tom and I have been going back and forth on today. Now, Tom, I owe you and I owe the New Orleans Saints an apology. Because we talked earlier this week about the Saints, and I don't think they're that good. I think they're a trash team. The Eagles shouldn't be worried about them, this, that, and the other thing. And you brought up their defense, and I immediately dismissed it. I was like, who cares? The Eagles are unbelievable. They're better at every position. I still think it's true that the Eagles are better at every position. I still think it's true that the Eagles should not be overly worried about the New Orleans Saints. But I did a little look into some statistics about the Saints. And their run defense it leaves a lot to be desired. They're bottom half of the league in run defense. But I look at the top passing defenses in the NFL. And the way I always do this is I go by yards allowed. Points are weird to me. You can give up 7 points, or I guess it would be 6 in the extra point, on just one blown coverage from one blown player. Normally, the amount of yards you allow is a good combined statistic to tell about the consistency and the quality of one's defense. And the top team passing yards allowed wise in the NFL. So the team with the least passing yards allowed on the 2022 season so far. Do you know who it is, Tom?
Who's that?
It is your Philadelphia Eagles.
Is that right?
The Philadelphia Eagles allowing 2,718 yards through the air so far this year. 21 touchdowns, 16 interceptions. Wow, that pass defense is really good. Do you know who's the second best team in the NFL? Passing yards allowed wise in the 2022 season, Tom?
The Saints?
It's the New Orleans Saints.
Wow, look at that. That's a good guess.
I didn't think they were that good defensively in the air. This is a team that, while they only have 4 interceptions on the year, the New Orleans Saints, they're not really going to create that many takeaways. And they only have 40 sacks. They don't get after the quarterback much more than your average NFL team. The Eagles, 61 sacks, by the way. Just incredible numbers there for your Philadelphia Eagles.
I think 1 away from the franchise record, I believe I saw earlier.
Yeah, I believe that is the case. I think it is 62. So they will tie it with 1 more, pass it with 2 more. I believe they do get there facing Andy Dalton and the New Orleans Saints on Sunday. But we're talking about the Saints defense. Man, they're pretty on par pass defense-wise with the Philadelphia Eagles. They've allowed less touchdowns. I get the division the Saints play in may play a factor in that. Like when you're facing that quarterback carousel in Carolina, when you're facing washed Tom Brady, when you're facing Marcus Mariota in Atlanta for most of the season, that sets you up in a position to have a pretty darn good pass defense. But still, they played some good teams this year. That pass defense from the New Orleans Saints is no joke. And you know what? Maybe that's a benefit for the Philadelphia Eagles. Maybe that's a good thing that the Saints do one thing so well and a lot of other things not as well, because that kind of forces you into the game plan that you have to take. Chicago, yes, their pass defense was better than their run defense. The weather said, hey, you probably shouldn't throw that much. And Nick Sirianni and Shane Steichen went out there and said, weather be damned, pass defense be damned. We're this good. We're going to do it anyway. Jalen Hurts is the MVP. You saw how that worked out. A tighter game than what was expected, an injury to your franchise quarterback, a game plan that ended up being rather costly in what was a situation where you didn't need to use it. Well, maybe with such stark contrast between the quality of the Saints pass defense and the Saints run defense this week, and not sure whether or not Jalen Hurts will actually be out there, this will absolutely force Nick Sirianni and Shane Steichen to say, man, we're not throwing the ball. Miles Sanders, you're getting 20, 25 carries. Gardner Minshew, RPOs. Maybe you're getting the opportunity to run some zone read runs yourself because we know you can move with the ball. Kenny Gainwell's getting 8 touches. Boston Scott's getting 6 touches. We're going to pound the ball behind the left side of this offensive line, and we're just going to run the New Orleans Saints to death and not let their pass defense affect us. We'll throw when we have to. We still have A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, the first 2,000-yard receivers in the same season in the history of the Philadelphia Eagles. But this is a run-dominant game plan on Sunday. It frankly has to be, or I am going to be absolutely livid when we come on post-game on New Year's Day and talk about the Philadelphia Eagles trying to air it out in the cold at Lincoln Financial Field in January, day 1 of January, but still in January, against a team that is only good defending the pass and not good at much else. So, Tom, I apologize for writing off the Saints defense, but the fact that they're only good at one thing points you in the exact direction the Eagles should take on Sunday.
Yeah, so you're expecting this to look a lot like the Green Bay game, where obviously Jalen Hurts isn't, or excuse me, that might not be factually correct. We might not see Jalen Hurts this Sunday
Right, we
against
don't
the
know.
Saints. Yeah, not sure, but if it has to be Minshew, even if it has to be Minshew, it's going to be run, and just, hey, stop us if you can, and most likely they're not going to be able to stop you. But yeah, the Saints defense, I do believe it is good, and I'm glad you've kind of come around to it a little bit. Tyrann Mathieu, a Pro Bowl alternate. He's got 2 picks this year. Doesn't sound like much when our guy, that Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, that they let go, who's been hurt for the last month, has 6. But Tyrann Mathieu is having a nice year. Demario Davis having a nice year as well. They have guys like Cam Jordan. But yeah, they should, despite the Saints defense being good, there's too many good players, and it's as simple as that, honestly. There's too many talented players on this Eagles offense for me to be worried. There is, and especially when it comes to the run game. You have the best offensive line in football. Obviously, no Lane Johnson. Driscoll's going to need to step up. The other guys on the line are going to need to step up. As you mentioned yesterday, Jordan Mailata is your key player when it comes to the Lane Johnson injury. You have Miles Sanders, who I know 2 fumbles in the last 2 games, not ideal. I hope he's not in the bad graces of the Philadelphia Eagles coaching staff, and I don't think he is. I think we see a bounce-back game from Miles Sanders. Kenny Gainwell, I think, had the best game of his season last week, so you know you can count on him a little bit. Boston Scott gets a little too many carries for my liking, but still a guy you can rely on, and that sets up the play action potentially as well, and I believe Gardner Minshew is a pretty good play action quarterback. So, yeah, it's the game plan. It just seems simple, right? And I hope they don't try to outsmart themselves too much where we have an advantage here. The defense is not good. The run defense is not good. The New Orleans Saints isn't. We have best offensive line in football. Even without Lane Johnson, you could argue they're the best offensive line in football. Top 10 running back. Utilize the run game. Sets up the play action. Pretty simple to me.
I hope it's as simple to us as it is to Nick Sirianni and Shane Steichen. I imagine it will be. I have something else. There's another step. There's a second level. So you know we're going to do a little bit of verbal meme here.
Okay.
A verbal meme. This is going to be great radio.
Okay.
You know those galaxy brain memes?
Yes.
Where it's like this thought is this smart and this thought may get progressively dumber, but the meme is that they actually get smarter. It's like it's ironic. There we go. That was perfect. I'm sure everybody out there understood what I'm saying perfectly. There's a second level galaxy brain take off of this one that I'm going to have for tomorrow's show. I don't want to get into it right now, but a thought I'm building out based on the Eagles game plan having to be, not should be, having to be run dominant Sunday at Lincoln Financial Field. So we will discuss that tomorrow. But yeah, basically it's a 3-foot putt. It's an easy one. You show up, you pound the football, possess the ball, should be able to win. No worries. I know Lane Johnson is great pass blocking. I know he's a guy that does not give up sacks ever. But when you ask offensive linemen what they'd rather do, majority of them are going to say get out and run block. Get to the second level. Clean a defensive back. Take a linebacker off his feet. Get me off of these defensive linemen who are just rushing me as I'm going backwards downhill and let me actually go out and attack. So you can still run the ball right side with Jack Driscoll because run blocking, I don't want to say it's easier, but that's the more preferable option for linemen, even though you're going with a backup guy there. So you feel more comfortable running to Jack Driscoll's side if he indeed is the guy starting at right tackle on Sunday like we believe him to be, than just having a pass that requires him to pass block often. So it all plays into the Eagles' favor to have a run-dominant game on Sunday.
Now, it also played in the Eagles' favor to have a run-dominant game against the Chicago Bears when they did not have a good run defense, and it was 4 degrees outside, and that didn't happen, or at least it didn't happen with the running backs because Jalen Hurts was running way too much for a lot of our likings. Do you think we see something more similar to the Chicago Bears game plan, or do you think they've learned their lesson from that Bears game plan, and it's going to be the Green Bay Packers game plan where it's run, 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 run?
The answer to that, Tom, is it depends. And that leads into the topic for tomorrow, so I'm not going to go too deep into it right now. But it will depend on contributing factors, how this game plan is put together. And I think there's an important extra element that we're going to find out about this week that will affect that. But what it should be, what I would do, regardless of this extra bit that we're going to talk about, I would just 100% look to run the football. Not like 100% of the time. I'm saying there's a concerted effort. Get the football to Miles Sanders. Get the football to Kenneth Gainwell. Get the football to Boston Scott. Pound the rock, pound the rock, pound the rock. It should be at least 60-40 in favor of the run on Sunday, if not 65-35. That's how that math works out to 100%, right? I'm not a big math guy.
Yes, you're good.
Perfect.
535.
Sounds good. 610-632-0975 is how you jump in. This past segment sponsored by Acme. Shop Acme for all your holiday essentials or order online for delivery or drive up and go and spend more time enjoying the occasion. Acme, your holiday headquarters. Let's pop to the phones. We were just having a spirited debate on the Phillies bullpen, and Bryce in Bryn Mawr wants to jump in on that. Bryce, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic.
How you guys doing?
We're doing
What's
wonderful.
going on, man?
How about yourself?
How are
you?
Good. Happy to hear people talking about baseball in December. It's a good feeling, like you guys said. So I just had a note kind of on both you guys. I think you're both a little right, a little wrong, right? Isn't that sports radio? So
there you go.
There's no such thing as a bullpen that could be too good. The Astros, the other elite bullpens in baseball, they don't look and say, oh, we got 3 guys, that's enough. Let's walk away, go to another part of the team. So I think there's never enough. You don't really stop looking for good bullpen pieces. But on the flip side, baseball free agency, it's supply and demand, right? So we're demanding another reliever, but the supply is gone when it comes to free agency. So you don't throw money at somebody just to get an arm. You get to the trade deadline. That's a big thing here, right? So at that point, not only will better talent be available, but another thing to remember is the hypotheticals you go into. Does Dominguez recline? Does Alvarado get hurt? The realities then. And so then you can act not based on hypothetical, but based on reality.
Yeah, Bryce, I have no issue with that. The trade deadline is a totally different conversation because you're right. We're going to get a bunch of more points of data between now and then, and you can address everything at that point, and there's going to be better options available. I mean, just look at Craig Kimbrel. He's a perfect example. In 2021, great with the Cubs. Partway through the season at the trade deadline, he goes to the South Side and goes to the White Sox and has an opportunity to push for the playoffs there. So, yeah, I don't have an issue with that. My main issue with what Tom was saying is that I don't think there's anyone available that for the price you're going to have to pay for them at this point is worth it and that you need to overpay for because I do trust the bullpen with what you currently have right now.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. And I know everything that comes into that is playoff experience, not only for the team to get to the playoffs and kind of get to dip their toes in and what that does for them when they get there next year, but specifically Dominguez and Alvarez, the amount of high-stakes innings those guys racked up, what they'll be able to do next year in the playoffs, having that under their belt only makes them so much more set up for success.
Totally agree with you, Bryce. And, man, appreciate the call.
Appreciate it, man.
You have a good rest of your Wednesday. Some fun baseball talk with Bryce from Bryn Mawr. Yeah, that's the thing. These guys got – as much as we're like, I don't trust Connor Brogdon. I don't trust Bellotti. I don't want these guys in big-time innings. I mean, they got big-time playoff experience last year. The regular season, when you're playing in June against the Diamondbacks, it's going to feel totally different this time around.
Especially in that stadium where it's empty and it feels like you're in AC. It's weird,
Knowing that, well, hey, I've got World Series innings under my belt. I've got NLCS innings under my belt. I've had these opportunities and succeeded at that level because the bullpen was pretty damn good in the playoffs. Like the Houston series, they struggled a little bit at points.
I think they just ran out of gas at that point, honestly.
Yes, and that's also an incredible team. The NLCS, they were really good. They were great against the Braves in the NLDS, and they were great in the Cardinals series, even though they weren't employed all that much because your starters were so good. The bullpen was not a weakness of last year's team in the playoffs. And even the biggest moment that your bullpen failed you with Alvarado giving up the home run to Yordan Alvarez in the final game of the World Series, I put that more on Thompson than I put that on Alvarado. He got put in an impossible spot, relieving a guy who's never should have been out of the game.
And the other game where Dominguez is throwing in a monsoon that they didn't call.
Just wipe that entirely.
Exactly. But those were the only 2 bad outings, honestly, or one of the very few from those 2 guys. Yeah, absolutely. So you hope they can replicate it. I will see if they'll be able to in a 162-game season with a lot of innings. And I'll be honest, you and Bryce are probably right. I think they are content with this bullpen, and I think it is much more likely that they just wait, see what these guys have, see what they can do, see if it's enough for their bullpen, and then they make a move at the trade deadline. I think that's much more realistic. Just to me, I have a lot of question marks. That's obvious, and I say high leverage, and I think when people I just have World Series in my mind where every inning is high leverage baseball, so I think that's why I say it. When I say high leverage, I mean a guy you can count on more in the 7th inning, not necessarily a closer or 8th inning type guy, but I think the Phillies probably have the mindset of you guys excuse me, and they're content with this bullpen and wait and see till the trade deadline.
Yes, and we will see whether or not that is the right approach because they will play the games. We will get the data points. It'll just be when it's much warmer outside in a couple months at Citizens Bank Park with a brand new
Jumbotron?
Yeah, that's the word I'm
Jumbotron,
looking
right?
for. Yeah, scoreboard, Jumbotron, all of that good stuff out there in left field. I'm excited to see that. The 8 o'clock hour, the John Kincaid Show, is brought to you by Martin Law, the law firm for injured workers. Visit paworkinjury.com. Little programming note, Adam Schefter normally joins the John Kincaid Show 8:10 Wednesday mornings. He will not this week. With the show on vacation, we're giving Adam a week off as well. So you'll be able to hear Adam Schefter back at his normal time next week, but this week, no Adam Schefter check-in. That's okay. You got us. We're basically, they call us the Adam Schefters of Philly Sports Talk Radio because we got sources, right, Tom?
Sure. You can say that.
Not really. But
zero people.
You'll be able to hear from Adam again next week, and we will do our best in his stead to keep you updated on everything going on there.
I have an update for you.
What do you have?
Non-Eagles related.
Uh-oh.
Well, kind of Eagles related, but non-Eagles.
Kind of Eagles, but non-Eagles. What do you got?
The Washington Commanders have made a change at quarterback. It's our old buddy.
Yes.
Carson Wentz.
Let's go.
No longer Taylor Heineke. Carson Wentz is the starting quarterback for the Commanders, obviously fighting for a playoff spot. And I believe do they play the Cowboys coming up? I forget. But regardless.
They do. The final week of the season is Washington at home against the Dallas Cowboys.
So, Carson Wentz. How about that? Glad it's not our problem.
Yeah, I kind of wish they were still starting Heineke because they have a better chance to beat Dallas in Week 18.
Probably, I think you're right.
Good for Carson. Did you see his Christmas gift that he got for his family?
Yeah.
By the way, while we're on the Carson Wentz
shoes or whatever.
So stupid. His shoes, and on the tongues of the shoes, they have like his family Christmas card picture, and it's got the AO1 logo all over it, and like whatever.
We went from
that's just so corny.
Like a corny, nerdy, uncool starting quarterback to like the coolest starting quarterback in all of football in Jalen Hurts. Like it's crazy the transformation we have made.
The cool level at quarterback, there's never been a bigger jump.
Never been higher.
From Carson Wentz to Jalen Hurts.
Especially now that Hurts is good and looks like a franchise quarterback going forward and an MVP candidate going forward. Not bad.
Absolutely not. Now, Tom, we want to get a little nostalgic. I'm not sure if everyone out there saw this. This was news to Matt Menard, who's on the board for us today. He wasn't aware that this was a thing. But the old sports catalog, the old sports equipment catalog, East Bay, they're calling it quits. They're hanging it up. East Bay is closing down. They are going out of business, so you will no longer see those East Bay catalogs. And frankly, if you're 90s kids like Tom and I, you haven't really been in the East Bay market for a while. Like, we don't play sports anymore. I play softball, but I'm not going to open the East Bay catalog to get new softball stuff. Like,
you're not looking for a brand new baseball bat or new basketball shoes or anything like that every week?
28. I don't do this. Like, East Bay was like, but as a kid, how awesome was it to just go ahead and get the East Bay catalog in the mail, and your parents will be like, okay, you got this much to spend. We're cool. Like, go ahead and pick something out that's under this budget. You got to go through and you're circling stuff.
Yeah, you got the pen, circling, looking at the prices.
You got it before Christmas, and you're like, okay, I need this, and I need that. I need this glove. I need these new cleats. And they had all the sneakers and cleats and all the sports equipment, a new baseball bat in there. Man, absolutely awesome. When you think about the East Bay catalog, what color do you think of?
Bright.
So
yellow,
right?
Yes,
yellow. Because I saw a couple pictures. I saw one that was red. I was like, I don't really remember the red
I always
ones.
remember the yellow.
Yeah, I remember just the yellow, like magazine type catalog, and it was great. They had they had a website once the actual internet got big, but like even back in the day, the early 2000s, back before it was like anything more than dial-up internet, you'd get that catalog in the mail, and it was like Christmas when that came through. What was your, do you remember anything specific you got from East Bay that you loved that you still have?
Every year, every couple years, I feel like, because I played baseball as a kid, that was my number one sport. Every year I got to pick out like a baseball item, whether it was a pair of cleats, baseball bat, if I was lucky, like a pair of gloves, something like that. So every year you just remember getting it. And look, I remember just looking at all the bats that they would have or all the cleats, and I'm like, wow, these are really cool. I want these. And then you look at the price tag on some of them, and your mom's like, maybe this one instead. But yeah, just all the baseball stuff. Love looking at all those. But yeah, no one sticks out, but just every single year being excited to get that magazine and be able to pick something out.
Tell you the one I got.
What's that?
That I love. I still have it to this day.
Really?
It's back home in Jersey. I got a basketball. So they had these basketballs that were available. That the actual design on the basketball, it was like that, kind of like the coat finish where it was like a bright plastic or whatever on the outside. So it wasn't like the actual basketball material.
Yeah.
It was underneath. But on the outside, it had like the shiny, like gloss finish. And it had, it looked like the jersey of a player. So on the basketball, in like the middle bit, it would say like the number
I do know what you're
and
talking
the name
about.
or whatever.
That, like, you're not supposed to play with it, right? It's more just for show, or were you allowed to?
I guess it was supposed to be more so for show. I certainly played with it.
Yeah.
It was, that's going to be a drop. It was a LeBron James 23 Cleveland Cavaliers basketball. I've always been a big LeBron guy. Back before he went to Miami, before I'm taking my talents to South Beach, before he went anywhere else, when he was the chosen one. And now the outside, the like glossy finish, it's all ripped off. It's just one of those, like, it's basically carpet now. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes,
like
yes.
The light, not white, but like gray carpet because it's all dirtied up from bouncing it. I ripped the cover off of that thing using it so much. We'd play with it in the driveway. We'd lower the rim. Throw me a lob with the LeBron ball. I'm going to dunk that. And just, man, I still have that. And you can kind of tell because there's like bits and pieces still hanging on of what ball it used to be. But yeah, I got some mileage out of that.
How about you remember the Stephon Marbury, the Starbury shoes that were like $15?
Love those.
Those were the absolute best. And you would see them in East Bay every single week, every month, whenever it came out.
Totally. East Bay always they had the pages of the good stuff. And then if you kept flipping to the back, they'd have the pages of like, this is $20, this is $25.
Yes.
And that's like, okay, this is the section where I live. I love it.
There we go.
Little nostalgia right there with the East Bay. Maybe you have a favorite East Bay item that you bought or something, a great memory from going through the catalog back in the day. If so, you can chime in 610-632-0975 and jump in on that. With East Bay going out of business, closing down, no more catalogs. Just a reminder of yesteryear and take a lot of us our age back to the childhood times. Connor Thomas, Tom Alvord, in for the John Kincaid Show. And coming up next, we're going to talk about a little something that happened in the NBA last night. Well, not a little something. It was a big night for our man down in Dallas. And we're also going to have a conversation about Miles Sanders. What would be the number, if there is one, that you would want Miles Sanders back at? Because when we looked at the contracts earlier in the show, there were a lot of names that we had listed that were interest of them to bring back. And we kept glossing over Miles Sanders because of the whole you don't pay a running back thing. But with Boston Scott potentially on the way out and no clear guy to re-sign or to sign or to bring in, I'm sure there'll be options, but we don't have like a bona fide, hey, this is the guy to take over that spot. Is there a situation where Miles Sanders comes back as a Philadelphia Eagle in 2023? 610-632-0975 is how you jump in. Again, Connor Thomas, Tom Alvord, in for the John Kincaid Show. We're back after this here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
The John Kincaid Show.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? And I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
On 97.5 The Fanatic. Philadelphia.
Prices plus tax tags and $3.89 doc fee. For Barbera's Big Finish event, 0 down or $199 a month on approved credit. Call or click 1-800-Barbera.com for details.
Don't stand around. The curtain's coming down. A real 0 down, a real $199 a month. It's Gary Barbera's annual dynamic December discounts. You heard right. 0 money down, $199 a month. I am not kidding. When I say 0, I mean 0 down. Not a penny out of pocket. Then $199 a month, that's all you pay. The Gary Barbera dynamic December discount way. Gary Barbera's Jeep Cheap Cherokees or America's favorite best built minivan. Your choice. 0 down, $199 a month. Hello, 0 down, $199 a month. Langhorne, are you listening? South Jersey, I'm talking to you at Gary Barbera's #1 Chrysler Land. At Gary Barbera's #1 Jeep Cheap Land. Real 0 down, real $199 a month. Is Barbera the money-saving best? Boy, I guess.
Hey, Sixer fans, it's Matt Cord for the Bet Parks app, the official winning partner of your Philadelphia 76ers. The Bet Parks app is fun to use, built around on what you want right from your phone. It's easy to sign up, great customer service, and faster to win than ever before. Download the Bet Parks app today. The Bet Parks app, the official winning partner of your Philadelphia 76ers.
See website for terms and conditions. Must be 21 and in Pennsylvania or New Jersey. Jersey gambling problem. 1-800-GAMBLER.
Parks Casino, this is how you win. Looking for a perfect night out? Look no further than Parks Casino. Enjoy live music and entertainment at 360 inside Parks Casino. Friday, December 30th, the exceptions keep you dancing all night long. Parks Casino is your place for live entertainment, award-winning restaurants, and never-ending action. Go to parkscasino.com or follow on social for a full list of world-class entertainment. Coming soon to the Excite Center at Parks Casino. Parks Casino, this is how you win. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Hey, it's Cuz. Get a jump on the new year with your health with NJ Diet. NJ Diet uses a scientific approach where you lose fat quickly. NJ Diet uses your hair and saliva samples along with their bioenergetic scans to personalize natural solutions and supplements that balance your hormones, where the side effect is weight loss. You will shed a contractually guaranteed 20 to 40 plus pounds in only 40 days. Then NJ Diet uses DNA testing to help you keep the weight off. NJ Diet is all natural, no shots, no hormones, no surgery, no prepackaged foods. Ew. Full supervision provided every step of the way. You even get the doctor's personal email and phone number. Locations close by: King of Prussia, Cherry Hill, Newark, Delaware. Take advantage from your house. That's right, from your couch, with online video consultations. Call now, 855-5NJ-DIET, or you can schedule your consult at njdiet.com. That's njdiet.com, and lose the weight for good.
Smooth skin begins with hydrating ingredients. Olay Hyaluronic Body Lotion nourishes your skin with all-day hydration for deeply moisturized results that give you confidence like buttery soft shoulders like, and visibly smooth skin like. Quench your skin with nourishing moisture from Olay Hyaluronic Body Lotion. Try Olay Hyaluronic Body Wash, too, and get skin your face will envy.
For everything your business needs to make this year your year, Staples has you covered.
I need to organize all my papers and files from last year and the year before that.
Staples has you covered.
I need a new desk calendar so that I don't miss a meeting with my boss or a soccer game with my daughter.
Staples has you covered with everything you need to get organized this year. Right now, a 2023 lined desk calendar is $3.99 and an unlined calendar is just $4.99. Make this year your year at Staples. Offer ends 12/31. In-store only.
So I switched to Boost Mobile and got this free Samsung Galaxy A23 5G phone.
Why do you think they call it the Galaxy?
Maybe because the Samsung Galaxy A23 has a huge screen, and galaxies are huge gravitationally bound systems of stars rotating around a supermassive black hole.
And the phone is free?
When you switch to Boost Mobile.
Cool. You lost me at gravitationally bound.
Switch to Boost and get a free Samsung Galaxy A23 5G phone. Boost Mobile. Unleash your power. Limited time offer while supplies last. New customers only. Excludes tax. One device offer per line. Only available on certain networks. 5G not available everywhere. Additional restrictions apply. See your local Boost Mobile store for details.
I didn't think it was possible to meet someone like Susan. We just clicked after realizing we each have a strong sense of self and share the same core values in life.
After taking our advanced personality test, Daniel and Susan matched on Silver Singles, the secure dating site for 50-plus singles who know what they want. Sign up today at silversingles.com/meet. That's silversingles.com/meet.
8 actors representing true customer testimonials. Names have been changed.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. For over 35 years, my mission has been to deliver more for our clients. Today, Morgan & Morgan has more offices, more staff, and more lawyers than any other injury firm in the world.
Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
It can happen easily. A few drinks become a few too many. It's time to go, and you think of calling for a ride home. Nah, what's the worst that can happen? You get pulled over, you lose your license, you total your car, you kill someone. Drive sober or get pulled over. Paid for by NHTSA.
Now, back to the John Kincaid Show on 97.5 The Fanatic, Philadelphia.
Go damn power!
8:30 here, 97.5 The Fanatic on a nice Wednesday. A lot of people getting back into the office. If yesterday was not your first day back, maybe today is the first day you're getting back to work. We feel you. We've been coming in since Monday. No days off in this whole radio business. But maybe you also have this week off. Maybe you're popping around doing some errands. I know John Kincaid just texted us. Said he's heading into stretch zone for his regular Wednesday stretch. So maybe you're out there just doing some errands in the car, taking some stuff back that you don't want for Christmas or you need different sizes in. Hey, listen, it happens. There's no shame in exchanging gifts for the size you want or the style you want or something like that. I don't like. Do you have shame if you had to do that? If you got a gift and you're like, yeah, I kind of like it, but it's not my size. Are you just eating that and just saying, hey, it's gonna sit in my closet forever? Or are you going out to the store and saying, hey, could I get this in like a medium instead of a large?
It depends how much I like it. Like if it's just something like really nice, a nice pair of pants or whatever it is, and I'm like, oh, I would absolutely wear these, then yes, I would go out of my way. If it's something where I'm like, I look at it, I'm like, I'm probably not going to wear it, then it might just sit in the closet for 2 years, then I give it away.
Have you ever just returned a gift without the person who gave it to you knowing that you were getting rid of it?
Yeah, definitely.
Really?
Yeah.
What was the gift?
Well, dude, it happens all. Like my mom always gives us a ton of stuff, and a lot of times she'll leave the receipt. And she's like, "I didn't know what to get you. Return it if you want to." And I just end up getting another size or getting money for it and stuff like that. It's tough when people get older. It's tough to buy for them. You don't know sizes and stuff. Like my mom knows what size clothes I wear, but you know what I mean. So yeah, I've done it before. I don't think it's that big of a deal. No. I guess you haven't done it?
I've never returned anything. Part of that is laziness.
Yes, that factors into it as well with me.
And I just I don't want to go through the effort. And I don't get rid of clothes as much as I should. Like I have a bunch of old T-shirts and stuff just in a drawer somewhere because I'm big, hey, maybe I'll need it one day or maybe I'll wear it one day.
And then you never do.
I'm not like a hoarder. Like my apartment is clean. It's not to an obsessive level or anything like that. Like not crazy, but if there's maybe I'll wear that again at some point, or maybe I'll cut off the sleeves and turn it into a workout shirt if it gets some holes in the sleeves or whatever, then I'll keep that. I should probably get rid of more. It's just frankly based on laziness.
It's easy to accumulate things. It's not so easy to get rid of things.
Correct.
I try and do twice a year. I try and force myself. All right, let's go through the drawers, get rid of stuff we haven't used. Because everyone has that drawer of just old shirts or something. Exactly how you said. We're like, yeah, I'll wear this at some point.
That are sleep shirts or whatever. But you don't need that many.
No.
I have
You need 4, honestly.
Listen to this item. So I have this is one of the worst T-shirts of all time. Shout out to the Sixers. This is not their fault. But back in the pandemic, in 2020, of course, the league shuts down, right? And everything gets pushed back. And the bubble, people remember the bubble and at Disney and everything. You may not remember. It was pushed back later than what you're normally looking at for the playoffs. So you missed part of the regular season. It was slightly delayed. So you were well into the summer. I know the NBA playoffs already goes into the start of the summer and everything, but you were well into the summer when it came to the bubble in the NBA playoffs. So when there started to be rumblings of, hey, the NBA's coming back, hey, we're heading right to the playoffs, hey, we're missing the end of the regular season, we're just going to have the play-in tournament or whatever and then get going, well, the team started putting out special merch. And the Philadelphia 76ers had a campaign that they ran called Summer 76. And I have it's actually a pretty cool color. It's like a light tan color, or almost like a goldish tan color.
It's a nice color
with blue hues behind the picture, and it's Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons. It just says Summer 76.
Wait, so you still have that?
Oh, I still have it.
You got to get rid of it. Dude.
I still have it. That team ended up getting swept out of the bubble by Boston in 4 games. Did absolutely nothing. Ben Simmons ended up getting hurt. We know how that story ends here in Philadelphia for him. Very forgettable season. And I believe Brett Brown's last, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Ends up getting fired after.
So.
Yeah, because 2021 was Doc Rivers and the Hawks series. So, yes.
Yeah.
Ended up being Brett Brown's last appearance as the Philadelphia 76ers head coach. That season went down in flames in the bubble.
So I have one as well from the bubble. Flyers, real quick. Flyers, obviously, in the bubble, they made it to the Final Four. I don't know what you would call it. Was it still because they messed up the divisions and stuff like that,
right,
for the bubble. So regardless, they were one of the last 4 teams.
No. They were one of the last 8 teams.
I thought it was 4.
They won their first series and lost the second one to the Islanders.
But wasn't that
No, because that would have been to go to the Stanley Cup. They were not in the conference finals, I don't believe.
I thought they were.
Let me double check on that.
Yeah,
Continue to make your point.
Not the way we wanted to end the series against the Islanders. Obviously did not go well. I have a T-shirt from the bubble. White T-shirt, Flyers T-shirt. It says bubble hockey.
Yeah, it was the semi, so it was not the conference finals. They were one of the last 8 teams.
Okay, that's my bad then. Regardless. Disappointing end because at one point that season, the Flyers were favored to win the Cup at one point because they had been playing so well before COVID struck, and then COVID struck, obviously, and screwed everything up. but it says bubble hockey, and it's like, the old school bubble hockey arcade game.
Yes.
And it was like that with a Flyers player.
That's pretty cool.
It is
like,
cool.
That's still cool.
I got it. Now, if it was a Flyers player with a guy that no longer played or something, then it would be potentially an issue. But, like, I don't know. I feel like that's like a good nostalgic one to kind of have. Like that, because we're never going to have that again, most likely.
That's a nice item. I'll tell you, speaking of Christmas presents, too, not to get too far down this track, and we'll get to the running back conversation with Miles Sanders in a second. I think that's going to be a real interesting exercise because I have the average yearly values of contracts for running backs currently in the NFL that we're going to run through. There's some pretty high average values, and Miles Sanders is going to command a good paycheck. But anyway, for Christmas 2 years ago, so 2 years ago would have been 2020, right?
Yeah.
Yes. I got a Sixers sweatshirt, a crew neck Sixers sweatshirt. And I like the crew neck sweatshirt because everything's a hoodie nowadays. The crew neck is feels like 90s to me. Feels like when I turn on like Friends, they're all wearing like crew neck sweatshirts.
Feels a bit nicer than a hoodie, too. Like you wear out a crew neck, it looks a little bit nicer than just like an old hoodie, I think.
Depending on what it is. Yeah,
sure,
but it feels like back in the day, no one wore hoodies, and now hoodies are like everything's got to have a hood attached to it. You can have a T-shirt with a damn hood on it. We're both wearing sweatshirts with hoods now. So I was like, yeah, Mom, let me get some more Sixers gear. So I got a Sixers sweatshirt with the starting five from the Jimmy Butler, J.J. Redick, Tobias Harris, Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid team.
Nice.
Jimmy Butler had already left. J.J. Redick was still here, but like wasn't what he was in that year.
You ordered it or she got it?
No, she got it for me. And I opened it and I was like, this is great. Because it'll be like a fun, like nostalgic thing to have. I still have that. And every once in a while I'll pop it on to remember those days. But yeah, it was
the timing wasn't great by your mother there.
No, the timing was not great. That's all right. Oh, she's doing her best. I always appreciate it. But yeah, so the running back conversation. And 610-632-0975 is how you hop in on this and the other conversations we've been having today. A heated one about the Philadelphia Phillies bullpen, the discussion about the Saints pass defense being something not to be trifled with. But I want to have this conversation about Miles Sanders because it builds on our conversation we had earlier about what players to re-sign. If you didn't hear that, there are 19 players that are on expiring deals for the Philadelphia Eagles after this season. You're looking at 36% of the active roster that needs to be either re-signed or will no longer be a member of the team. And Miles Sanders is one of those. I'm not a proponent of paying running backs. I think paying a running back a second contract, which is normally a big one, if they're good enough to deserve a second contract, is not a measure of successful teams in the NFL. Good teams, frankly, just don't do it. And the ones that do it don't win Super Bowls. You may have slight success in the playoffs, but you don't win Super Bowls. To that point, let me start, before we get into the numbers here, of reading you just the teams that have paid the top 10 running backs in football value-wise. So the top 10 most expensive running backs in football per average yearly salary. And you tell me what you think of these teams. The San Francisco 49ers, New Orleans Saints, Dallas Cowboys, Minnesota Vikings, Tennessee Titans, Cleveland Browns, Green Bay Packers, Cincinnati Bengals, New York Giants, Arizona Cardinals. There's some good teams in there.
Yeah, I would say probably more good teams than bad teams, potentially.
Super Bowl winning teams. Not a single one.
The Bengals, you said.
Super Bowl winning teams. Not a single one during those teams' contracts.
Okay, sure.
Now, I know there are teams that have gotten close. The 49ers and the running back they have is Christian McCaffrey. That's a new thing. But the 49ers have been to a Super Bowl relatively recently. The Vikings are always competitive. The Cowboys are always competitive. The Saints, prior to this year, were in the conversation. The Titans are a playoff team. The Browns are garbage. The Packers are always in the conversation. Like, sure, you can be a good team with that. But there's just something, and maybe it's causation and correlation not exactly being the same thing here, but something about having one of those top running backs paid makes you unable to win the Super Bowl. It's not a place where you should commit significant money, or at least that's what trends in the modern NFL tells you. So let's run through those numbers. Christian McCaffrey is making $16 million a year, most of any running back in the NFL, with his new deal with the 49ers. Kamara, $15 million. Ezekiel Elliott, $15 million. Dalvin Cook, $12.6. Derrick Henry, $12.5. Nick Chubb, $12.2. Aaron Jones, $12 even. Joe Mixon, $12 even. Saquon, set to get paid, already getting 7.7. James Conner out there in Arizona getting $7 million. An overpay there, in my opinion. Leonard Fournette with the Buccaneers, $7 million. Another overpay. Extreme overpay. Nyheim Hines is getting $6.2 a year with the Buffalo Bills. Not even their top guy. Austin Eckler deserves more, but getting $6.1 with the Chargers. The Broncos are paying Chase Edmonds, who had a couple good seasons with the Arizona Cardinals. Ridiculous that he's getting $6 million. Kareem Hunt, Rashad Penny, Cordero Patterson, Gus Edwards, J.D. McKissick, Najee Harris, Travis Etienne, Jamal Williams, Josh Jacobs. The list goes on and on. I don't even have time to read all the way down till I get to Miles Sanders, who's getting paid $1.34 a year right now. It's huge to get the type of production you're getting from a running back out of Miles Sanders. You could argue that for the money, outside of Jalen Hurts, Miles Sanders is the best bang for your buck of any player on this Philadelphia Eagles team with the production he's giving you. Compared to the top guys, he's a top producing running back this year, one of the top producing running backs this year, and you're getting him at like the 30th highest annual value. That's ridiculous. To see him get paid, though, my guess, and I'm not sure if you have these numbers up in front of you. I'm not sure if you pulled it up, Tom, so you have it over there on your computer. But my guess is you're going to be looking at about $10 to $12 million range for Miles Sanders. He's going to be in the Dalvin Cook, Derrick Henry, Nick Chubb, Aaron Jones, Joe Mixon, Saquon, James Conner, that type of range.
So right now, his calculated market value, according to SpotTrack, is 7.2, so a little bit lower. And that doesn't shock me because he's only done it for 1 year, really.
Yes.
And he's not a pass-catching back. He can't, or at least he's not with the Eagles. And if you're going to pay a running back that kind of money, you want to make sure they can do everything on the field, unless they're Derrick Henry, which is just he's an anomaly. He's a freak. But
right.
But yeah, 7.2, still a huge upgrade over 1.3.
It's just, I don't know that when I look at those teams paying those running backs, I don't see any of them as being perennial Super Bowl contenders by going through that strategy. I see good teams, like the 49ers are a good team. They're paying Christian McCaffrey more than anybody else, but that's a new setup. That is a trade in season this year from the Carolina Panthers. I look at the Cowboys. Paying Ezekiel Elliott that much is a broken strategy. I look at the Vikings. They're a team that doesn't know how to attack the quarterback position the right way, and that's why they fall short despite good seasons every year. I look at the Titans and John Robinson, who no longer has a job because he traded A.J. Brown to the Philadelphia Eagles, which is ridiculous. And I see an imperfect perception of how you win in the NFL when you pay Derrick Henry. And it's almost a curse to have a great running back in the modern NFL. Because you see a guy like Derrick Henry, and there's a portion of your fan base and part of you as an evaluator of football talent that says, how could you not pay that guy? He's superhuman. He's unbelievable at the position. He's an elite athlete. And it clouds your judgment of this is not how we win. It's tough. You almost have to take a step back to continue to take steps forward, in that you almost have to go backwards at the running back position to create an opportunity to pay a quarterback or commit money other places to be able to win. So I guess where this conversation is leading is you brought up the expected value for Miles Sanders' contract. Let's put it at $10 million. That would put him firmly between Joe Mixon and Saquon Barkley for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, the 9th highest annual value of any running back in football, which I think is fair. I think he is outside of the top 10 in his overall talent. I think Miles Sanders is probably a top 15 back in the NFL over the course of his career when you bring everything in. But this last year has bumped him into the top 10 for me at the given time. Are you paying Miles Sanders $10 million a year next year to be a member of the Philadelphia Eagles?
No shot.
There's no chance,
No
right?
chance, no.
That's the thing. People are like, oh, he could come back. There's no chance. I don't know that I'm paying him $7.
So the one thing I will say, because that is the trend of the NFL where less and less teams are paying running backs big-time money. There are a ton of really good running backs on the market this offseason. Josh Jacobs, Saquon Barkley, Sanders, Pollard. You look at guys like even a David Montgomery's a really good back in this league. Devin Singletary's having a good year. I'm curious how many spots there are and how many teams are going to be willing to pay running backs that kind of money. So when you look at like 6, 7 really good high-quality starting running backs on the market, I'm curious if that number comes down a little bit because they're not getting as much money as they're expecting because there's so many guys out there available and less teams are paying running backs money. we're good. So it might not be like maybe that's why I say that is because maybe there's a chance it's not like 10 or 11 million. Maybe it's, oh, wow, we don't have a deal here. We'll take a pay cut here. And it's probably closer to like 7 or 8 potentially. But
even that I'm not paying.
Agreed. Like 100% agree.
Here's the other thing with the running back market that's weird because great teams shouldn't value running backs, but bad teams certainly do. Running backs are billboards. That's what they are. If you're the Houston Texans, and I know they're going to have an opportunity to go draft a quarterback of the future, but you need to be able to put somebody on a billboard. If you're let's say the New York Jets, I know they've already got some good skill position guys up there, but in those types of organizations at that type of level of football where you're bottom half of the league and you don't have a clear path to a superstar and you see a guy like, I don't know, Derrick Henry available, teams will throw money at those guys to just say, we have Derrick Henry, to be able to tell their fan base, we got this guy. Christian McCaffrey was that guy in Carolina. Carolina was like, we will pay Christian McCaffrey because he is the face of our franchise, even though running backs do not win. And we do not have an easy path to a quarterback because we're going to trot out the Baker Mayfield, P.J. Walker, Sam Darnold, three-headed monster. And monster as in,
is that what it's
monstrous to expect your fans to be able to enjoy anything like that. And that's what running backs are. That's why I think the market won't be as low valued as you possibly think. I don't think top teams will pay running backs like that because there's so many available, but I do think that those mid to bottom tier teams, there's going to be a lot out there that say, hey, we don't have salary cap to pay anybody else. There's not a quarterback worth this money. Let's throw money at somebody we could stick on a billboard and put on an ad and sell jerseys and hold our fan base over to have some player that they can buy a jersey of or buy merch for until we get that quarterback. So, yeah, maybe it'll be $7 to $8 million for Miles Sanders and not pushing that $10 million number, which is the number that I think he's going to want to shoot for. Either way, not bringing him back because it's frankly, unfortunately, for running backs, just not how you win in the NFL.
Yeah, you also can kind of look at teams that are going to need running backs next season between guys that already have long-term backs like Joe Mixon, or teams that already have long-term backs like Joe Mixon, Derrick Henry, as we know, and then teams that have drafted, bad teams that have drafted good running backs lately, and Dameon Pierce with the Texans, Breece Hall with the Jets, those kinds of players. So we'll just have to wait and see. The big thing with me is, like, I would so much rather, and I hate to, it sucks that we're even having this conversation. That's just the way that the NFL is nowadays. These guys have given their lives for this sport, and unfortunately they just picked the wrong position to excel at because they're just not getting paid nowadays. I look at it, and it comes down to this. Would you rather pay $8 to $10 million a year on Miles Sanders, or would you rather be able to sign Jason Kelce for one more year, or TJ Edwards for one more year, or Kaiser White, something like that? Like, I'd rather use that money in different positions and then take my chances with a second or third round pick and maybe signing like a bounce back candidate like a James Robinson, who's like out of the lineup in with the New York Jets. James Robinson was a really good back the last 2 seasons, so like maybe a kind of deal like that. So, yeah, it sucks, and obviously he's having a tremendous season, and I hope he gets paid, and I hope he gets a long-term contract, but I can't do it myself. I can't see any way that he's back here the season that he's had this year.
It's another big college football weekend, and we've got the college football playoff. New Year's Eve, rather. The college football playoff will go on. We're going to talk about it a little bit later on in the program, but listen, not everyone's got a football scholarship. So for the rest of us, there's College Ave student loans. Go to collegeave.com for a better student loan experience and take the stress out of paying for college. Yeah, we are going to mention that a little bit because I have a dilemma with the college football playoff and a little bit of an issue with the scheduling. I know it's been set for a long time now, but this is a personal thing, and I'll have to see if anyone else actually cares about it. But the other thing I always like to say when we have this Miles Sanders conversation at running back, I'm saying this again and again and again, and the YouTube chat is having a little bit of a conversation about this as well, about how some people love the running back position. And it sucks to see that you can't pay a running back or that teams don't pay a running back anymore. Miles Sanders, none of this is a knock on Miles Sanders. In fact, it's actually a tribute to Miles Sanders and what he's done this season. This is not Miles Sanders thinks get him out of town. This is not Miles Sanders has fumbled twice in the last 2 games, get him out of town. This is not we don't want Miles Sanders back with the Eagles because you can win without him, this, that, and the other thing. The running back position does not get paid in the NFL by winning franchises anymore. If you pay a running back, you do not win Super Bowls. It frankly does not happen. It's how the league goes. It's an unfortunate nature of the position, but it is not a knock on the individual player. Miles Sanders is having a great year. Very happy to have him as a member of the Philadelphia Eagles. If the Eagles pay him, I will not be upset at the fact that Miles Sanders will be in midnight green again. I might be upset at the price tag you do it. I might be upset at the thought process behind signing him, but this is not a get rid of Miles Sanders because he's Miles Sanders. This is simply, you can't employ that type of strategy when it comes to what players and what positions to pay and expect to compete at the highest level in the NFL.
And Andrew Holva on the YouTube chat.
What do you say, Andrew?
Too many other studs to pay. Can't afford to pay a running back. Agree with that. He also says draft a running back in the third or fourth round every other year and repeat. I kind of agree with that. I'd say maybe draft a running back in the second or third round every 3 years and repeat.
Right.
I feel like that's kind of how the NFL is nowadays, and you can succeed that way. I mean, look, dude, Jonathan Taylor, Kenneth Walker, Dalvin Cook, these guys, none of these guys are first round backs.
Nope.
And you just continue. Damian Pierce, I believe, was third round back. It's unfortunate for the human, but they're extremely replaceable at this point in the modern NFL.
And I don't even know that it's unfortunate for the human because, like I said, bad franchises will sign them. Bad franchises will throw money at good running backs. Miles Sanders could be, I don't know, the guy in Houston next year. He could be the guy in I don't think New York because they have options already, but he will be the guy for a bad franchise next year, and they will throw money at him, and he will get what he deserves. And it's just a shame it won't be here, but that's the nature of the NFL. And it's not a knock on Sanders. He's having a great year. 610-632-0975. We've teased this a couple times. We're going to get into it. A huge night in the NBA last night for a young star. One of the craziest stat lines in the history of the association was put together. Yeah, it took overtime. Doesn't matter. These are bonkers numbers. We're used to seeing stuff like this from Joel Embiid, but from a guy his age too. Wow, what Luka Doncic did last night for the Dallas Mavericks was incredible. We're going to have a little bit of a conversation. I hope John Kincaid isn't still listening because we're going to break one of his cardinal rules. It's Mount Rushmore time on the replacement for the John Kincaid Show, just for, obviously, this week. Connor Thomas sitting in John Kincaid's seat for him. Tom Alvord in as well. Matt Menark on the board. Haley running the YouTube. And we are back after this right here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
The John Kincaid Show.
If you don't like it, go on the internet and complain.
On 97.5 The Fanatic, Philadelphia.
It's Rich Gannon for the Bet Parks Casino and Sportsbook app. As a former MVP quarterback, I love a solid game plan. The new Bet Parks app is everything you want in a mobile sportsbook right from your phone. Check out pro football same-game parlays or bet live once the game starts. And right now, all new Bet Parks users get up to $750 in sportsbook bonuses back if your first bet isn't a winner. Download the new Bet Parks app at betparks.com. Win sports, Bet Parks.
See website for terms and conditions. Bonus funds must be wagered once, must be 21 and over, and in Pennsylvania or New Jersey. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
This is Parks.
This is how you roll. This is how it goes. This is how you pop. This is how you rock. Take a chance, do a dance, little romance. This is how you. This is how you excite. This is how you all night. 360 hit me. Now we're going all in. I can feel it calling. The crowd, the light, the night, the sights, the vibe is right.
Parks, Pennsylvania's #1 casino experience. This is how you win.
Must be 21. Gambling problem? 1-800-GAMBLER.
Hi, it's John Kincaid. I hope you're listening to the show every single morning. You know, I'm a 2-time cancer survivor. So I want to thank all of you who have joined us in supporting life-saving cancer research by donating at aacr.org/fanatic. And to our generous corporate partners, thank you for stepping up and supporting the AACR. It's the official charity of the John Kincaid Show.
Davis CPA Group. For personalized caring accountants, bookkeeping, payroll, and tax preparation services, visit daviscpagroup.com. With over 1,500 windows to choose from, Window Nation can outfit any home. Call 866-90Nation or visit windownation.com. You can always count on H&H Heating and Air Conditioning for total home comfort and fast, friendly, and local HVAC service. Visit delcohvac.com.
You know, donations to the American Association for Cancer Research from our listeners and corporate partners add up to big breakthroughs that benefit cancer patients worldwide. Join me. Make a life-saving donation today at aacr.org/fanatic.
Paid for by Christian Care Ministry.
So right now may be the perfect time for you to rethink how you pay for healthcare. And here's why. Not only is it open enrollment for a lot of people, it's also a time you can join MediShare and save even more than usual. And it's true, the typical family switching to MediShare saves $500 or more a month, which is obviously huge for a lot of people. But what's more, they like it. MediShare has double the customer satisfaction rate compared to health insurance. There are 400,000 members. They've shared over $4 billion in medical bills, and it really is a great community, too. People encourage and pray for each other. And here's the thing. If you join MediShare Complete right now, they'll waive your new member fees, and you'll save an additional 10% off all of 2023. That's right. No fee to join, 10% off every month of next year, but it's a very limited time offer. You have to sign up before December 31st. Great savings, great health care. Find out more. Call now. 855-51-BIBLE. That's 855-51-BIBLE. 855-51-BIBLE.
My ride smells just right, just right, just right, just right. Y'all gotta try that Febreze car. Just right, just right, just right. La 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 la. With up for 40 days of consistency. On low Febreze car clips right on your vent. You know my car's my happy place. Keep that smile on my face. When it smells just right, just right, just right. Yeah, breathe happy Febreze. La 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 la.
This holiday, give the gift of beauty and well-being with BAM Aesthetics. Located in Bluebell, BAM offers cutting-edge procedures and custom treatments that are clinically proven. Treatments for your specific needs, like Botox, fillers, hydrofacials, laser hair removal, and much more. BAM even specializes in aesthetic care for men who are interested in looking their best. Get 15% off any gift card you purchase through January 2nd using promo code FANATIC. Go to BAMaesthetics.com and give the gift of beauty and well-being today.
The Philly sports scene is exploding with excitement right now, and the Busch Auto Group is using a winning formula of their own to crush the competition. Not only does the Busch Auto Group's market-based pricing ensure you'll never pay too much for your next pre-owned vehicle, but right now, every pre-owned vehicle purchased at the Busch Auto Group comes with a 1-year maintenance plan. How about that for a Philly special? For full details, visit BuschAutoGroup.com. That's BUSH Autogroup.com today.
Hey, it's Cuz for Golden Nugget Jewelers. You think about getting an engagement ring? Well, if you're ready to pop the question, you got to go see your own at Golden Nugget Jewelers now. Largest selection of certified diamonds and engagement rings. Your perfect ring at Golden Nugget Jewelers. Major financing options, unbeatable prices for name brands like Verraggio and Chicori for the settings. Right at the corner of 8th and Chestnut. It's engagement season. Now's the time to get the big ring and get all of your holiday shopping done. Get the present of a lifetime at Golden Nugget Jewelers, where Philly gets engaged.
We all know Philly sports is big business, and we've got you covered every weekday with the Fanatic's Business of Sports reports that are powered by Pico for Business. For information on how your company can save with Pico's incentives, go to pico.com/business.
It can happen easily. A few drinks become a few too many. It's time to go, and you think of calling for a ride home. Now, what's the worst that can happen? You get pulled over, you lose your license, you total your car, you kill someone, drive sober, or get pulled over. Paid for by NHTSA.
WPEN Burlington, Philadelphia, a Beasley Media Group station, home of the most entertaining sports talk in Philadelphia. 97.5 The Fanatic, Philadelphia. Now, back to the John Kincaid Show on 97.5 The Fanatic, Philadelphia.
O'clock here, exactly. 97.5 The Fanatic, hitting the post, as they call it in the biz. Connor Thomas, Tom Alvord, we are in for the John Kincaid Show all week. Well, I'm all week. Tom is Monday through Thursday, and then Friday I will be joined by Ray Dunn, who you'll hear coming up in an hour, filling in for middays. The Cuz and the Tunis still on their break, so Ray Dunn will be hosting middays. Kevin Cooney in the afternoons. D-Lineham later on tonight. But you've got another hour of us here as we fill in for the John Kincaid Show. 610-632-0975 is how you jump in. We're just out there talking to Ray a little bit about the Miles Sanders conversation that we were having. Now, he was saying, Tom, I went down the line. So I said, would you pay Miles Sanders $10 million next year? He said, absolutely not. I said, $9. No. 8, no. 7, no. 6, no. 5. And he said no, and I fought him a little bit on that. I was like, if you get him at 5, that's almost too good a value. I know you shouldn't pay running backs hugely. That's almost too good a value compared to the production he's put up this year. And Ray said 4, final offer. So I was like,
it's funny because I was going to say
man.
4.
You're going to say 4 as well?
Say 4, yeah.
Yeah, 2 things. First off, Miles Sanders is not taking $4 million next year. I don't think he should. I think he's earned more than that. As Ray comes to the glass and points to Tom. Yeah, you guys can agree all you want. Do you want Ray to do the rest of the show with you? So I stop proving.
I'll go home and go to sleep. That's cool.
Proving your points wrong.
How is that proven? What are you talking about? How did you prove it wrong?
I was talking back to the bullpen conversation,
okay.
but no,
you were wrong on. But.
Nah, we will see. We will talk in August, Thomas. We will talk in August.
What size jersey are you, by the way? I got a Craig Kimbrell jersey that I'm getting you for Christmas.
I'm a large
because you are his number 1 fan.
I'm a large.
Okay, cool. Good to know. Anyway, you were saying about
I could also fit into a medium. And maybe even a small, depending on how much I've been lifting that week.
I'll get you a large.
I appreciate it. But, again, it just breaks down to the conversation. The Eagles are not going to pay Miles Sanders $4 million. He will not accept $4 million as an offer like that. There's not a common point where Miles Sanders is back here as an Eagle next year. There's not.
It depends on what the market around them is like. Again, it's a pretty good running back draft. Apparently, there's talks of Bijan Robinson being one of those Saquon Barkley type guys. Bad teams already have good running backs. Good teams don't want to pay good running backs. So I'll just say it wouldn't shock me. Not that if he's back or not that he would take $4 million, $5 million. It wouldn't shock me if he's not getting nearly what he expects to get this offseason.
Okay, let me tell you this.
What's that?
This will bring you back down to earth here. If he gets $4 million even, that would put him in between J.D. McKissick and Gus Edwards as far as what he's getting paid annually. He's not taking it.
No, I don't. I wouldn't take it either. But if no one else is offering you a contract,
there is no if. He will get that money somewhere.
Yeah,
there's not a scenario that exists.
I hope so.
Miles Sanders is at somewhere, anywhere for $4 million next year. Just
I think it's closer to $4 million than closer to $12 million. I'll say that.
Man, dude, listen to some of these other names. Rashad Penny is getting 5.7. Cordero Patterson is getting 5.2. He's going to out-earn both of those guys. Chase Edmonds is getting 6. That'd be the guy I'd be looking at if I was Miles Sanders.
I look at the teams.
Way better than that, dude.
I look at the teams, man. Like the Cardinals they don't need a running back. They have James Conner, who's a good running back. The Seahawks, Kenneth Walker. The 49ers just paid for somebody. The Rams, maybe, probably. That's one. Falcons, potentially, yes. Saints, they have Alvin Kamara. Panthers, potentially, yes. Buccaneers have Leonard Fournette and Rachaad White. Like some of these.
I'll call my shot now. I'll tell you what jersey Miles Sanders is wearing next
What's
year.
that?
Miles Sanders is making $8.5 million to play for the Las Vegas Raiders next year.
When they lose Josh Jacobs?
Yeah,
potentially. I don't think there's nearly as many teams that want to pay a running back as potentially some might think.
Yeah, you'd need a really dumb organization. Come on down, Las Vegas Raiders. But anyway, that's enough of the Miles Sanders conversation for the time being. We'll have plenty of time to talk about that in the offseason. But, Tom, I know you saw this, but I'm going to ask you anyway so we could play like it's a fun, natural conversation for the radio. Tom, did you see what Luka Doncic did last night?
No, what did he do? I was asleep.
Oh, my goodness. He had himself a game. Listen to this stat line. 60, 21, and 10. A 60-point triple-double with 21 rebounds. I think you said this morning, but if you take away 10 rebounds, it's still the first 60-10-10 game in NBA history?
Yes, I'm going to look for the exact tweet, but I remember seeing that last night, that it would be the first 60-10-10 game, and oh, by the way, he had 21 rebounds instead.
That is absolutely preposterous. Sorry, New York Knicks, because you've been getting it absolutely hung on you lately. You have a rough Christmas because the Sixers come back and George Niang hits like 5 important threes down the stretch in your face. And then you have Luka Doncic go ahead and smoke you. Now, it took to overtime, but a huge comeback. They came back from down 9 points with like 30 seconds left, the Dallas Mavericks did. Incredible comeback, an incredible performance by Luka Doncic, the first ever 60-20-10 triple-double in NBA history. The actual stat line, 60, 21, 10, 2 steals, 1 block, 21 for 31. Only 2 for 6 from three-point. It's not like this wasn't a Steph
insane.
Curry hit 7
Could you imagine betting the over on the 3-pointers if it was like 2.5 last night?
And not getting it in a 60
You check in the morning, he's got 60 points.
Like,
You're like,
no
easily.
problem.
Nope.
Cake.
When you do something that Wilt Chamberlain has not done, you know it's historic because that dude has every single record when it comes to everything in the NBA, it seems like. When you do something that he hasn't done, you know you're having a special night and you're a special player.
That was a great night by Luka Doncic. He's one of the bright young stars in the game. I said it to you, and maybe this sounds crazy. There's going to be a lot of people that are probably like, Connor's an idiot. I watched Luka Doncic play, and the eye test doesn't tell me he's as good as what I know him to be. Like,
because he's not flashy, because he's not having the power dunks like Anthony Edwards and John Morant, because he's not like one of the quickest in the league like Tyrese Maxey, because he does it in such a unique way, I think, is why you feel that way.
His game is weird, but like really effective weird. I don't know, because he shoots the deep ball well, but he's not an elite three-point shooter. I guess he's in that conversation a little bit. He just does a lot of really minute things incredibly well. He creates opportunities so well offensively. He finds spots on the floor so easily that maybe it's almost so easy for him, and he does it so under control that it makes my stupid brain think, wow, he's not really doing all that much. But man, is he special. A couple people in the YouTube chiming in. James Harden has the only other 60-10-10 game in NBA history. Had it back in 2018, according to Tyler Gibson.
And I got bad information on Twitter, which is shocking.
It may have been the second one ever, may have been the point. But still a bizarre stat line. I know Harden did not have 60, 21, and 10. That's
shot 63% from the field with 60 points.
31 field goal attempts. That's crazy.
With 2 three-pointers made.
That's just, and it's
ridiculous.
his second time clearing 50 or reaching 50 in the past 2 games. He hung 50 on the Rockets just 5 days ago on December 23rd. Nuts. He's one of the great young stars in the NBA. And you know what? Makes me want to do a little Mount Rushmore, Tom. You up for a little Mount Rushmore talk?
Love it. Let's do it.
Okay. Your Mount Rushmore of NBA players under the age of 25 right now. And I'm assuming, like me, you have the man we've just been talking about, Luka Doncic, on there. He is probably the George Washington. He's probably the prominent number one face that you're like, okay, that's the guy. That's the first guy that comes to mind when I think under the age of 25, Luka Doncic, who is 23 currently.
Which is crazy that he's 23 years old.
Nuts. We got another 10 years of Luka at least in the league.
No argument for me there. Luka, number one by far.
Okay. Who else you got?
For me, Jason Tatum.
Tatum's got to be on there.
Unfortunately, we are going to be seeing Jason Tatum for a long time. Unfortunately, there was an opportunity potentially that he could have been a Sixer, which I don't know how realistic it was because Danny Ainge wouldn't have made that trade at that point. So that hurts even that much more. But yeah, Tatum's just an absolute stud. He is obviously getting that team to the NBA Finals last year. 32 points per game, 8 rebounds per game, 4.5 assists. The dude just does absolutely everything. So I think Tatum has to be up there as well.
Okay, I got another one that I don't think you're going to disagree with. And the fourth one is where we're going to really get into an interesting argument here. But Ja Morant is 100% all.
Has to be, yep.
He's unbelievable. The way that he plays the game, he has my favorite style of any player in the NBA right now.
Because it's like video game-esque? Is that why?
He just dunks people through the Earth's crust. And like, he's awesome.
And he's
he
like,
attacks
6'4"? Like, he's not that big of a dude. And he's a slight frame as well. And the fact he has a highlight reel top 10, SportsCenter top 10 moment every single night.
Yes. He's like, I know it's not totally the same because Iverson was tiny. But he's like, if you put Vince Carter in Allen Iverson's body.
Kind of, yeah. No, honestly, that's a great way to describe him.
It's crazy, and he does all of it well.
And he has like such a cocky attitude too, which I love. Did you see the stuff the other day that he said when they asked who worries him about it's who worries him in the NBA? And he said the Celtics worry me. And he said no, and I'm kind of paraphrasing here. And the reporter said, nobody in the West? He's like, no, nobody in the West worries me. And this is coming from a guy who hasn't won anything yet, but I love that kind of cockiness.
You still got like a dynastic Warriors team out there who still has their core somewhat together, even though Curry's hurt and they're aging. But yeah, Ja's got to be on there. I can't wait to see where that guy's career goes. I'm interested to see how he progresses too, because he plays a very aggressive style of the game. Can he keep that up?
Yeah.
Till he's 30? Can he keep that up till he's 35 if he plays that long? What does the progression of Ja's career look like? Now, the fourth guy. This is where it gets interesting because there's a lot of candidates. Trae Young is certainly in the conversation. Tyrese Halliburton. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who's been having an amazing year for the Oklahoma City Thunder. He's a force to be reckoned with. There's a lot of guys there. Do you have a pick, Tom? Right off the top of your head.
Yes.
Who do you like?
It might not be the most popular. It might not be the correct pick for some people. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is a superstar. A superstar. It's unfortunate he just plays for probably the worst franchise in the NBA.
Yes.
And they're tanking, and we'll see what happens if they end up getting Wembanyama, and they have Chet Holmgren, who's set to return next season. So there is potential there, but this kid is doing it all by himself. He's 6th in scoring this year, 31.1 points per game, 6.1 assists, 2 steals. I think the dude is an absolute superstar, and it's a shame he's playing for the Oklahoma City Thunder because if he was playing for another team, I think he'd be in the conversation, like MVP type player. But yeah, that's mine. A little unpopular, I would guess, but
there's a guy I really want to put on here. And we talked about how does Ja's game progress as he gets older, as he loses a step, as he loses some bounce. And it'll be a while. We're talking under 25. So you're not going to see until about 29, 30. These guys have to develop a different part of their game that isn't just run and dunk over everybody that exists on planet Earth. Zion Williamson is another guy I considered putting on here, and I was really, really close to going with him. I was really, really close to going with SGA, who you just picked. But there's another guy I got to put on here that we don't see much of. My brother would absolutely kill me if this was not one of the top 4 players under the age of 25 right now, though.
And that is?
He plays for the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Interesting.
And his name is Anthony Edwards.
Love Anthony Edwards.
That dude is different. And maybe it's because he plays for Minnesota. And Minnesota is kind of the forgotten Western Conference playoff team. Like, they're always kind of a fun story. They played Memphis to a really exciting series this past year after Pat Bev cried after Minnesota won the play-in game.
Like they won the championship.
Ridiculous.
That made no sense to me.
Still one of my favorite videos that floats around the internet is Pat Bev taking off his jersey and throwing it into the crowd in Minnesota after they just make it into the playoffs. I mean, enjoy it, Minnesota. You don't get many of those. But Anthony Edwards is a guy that for some reason, and I think it could be the Minnesota thing, and it could be Western Conference, we don't really see him all that much. And Minnesota is not a team yet that's just part of the reason these guys are stars. When you look at Ja Morant, and when you look at Jason Tatum, and when you look at Luka Doncic, is their teams are pretty darn good. Now, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander would go into the camp of what we're talking about with Anthony Edwards. And Minnesota was a playoff team last year, but they weren't like a real playoff team. And I know they made some waves this offseason. They go ahead and they get Rudy Gobert to pair with Cat. I still look at that team and I say, they're a year or two away and they're going to need to become a destination. And because of the weather in Minnesota and everything, it's hard to be a premier team in a market like Minneapolis. That's just the nature of where they play. So maybe all of this factors into us not seeing Anthony Edwards for what I think he is. But when I watch that dude play, when I watch him in Hustle, Adam Sandler's film, those that I think everyone's seen if you're in the Philadelphia area, I see a guy that just has it. He is incredible. I don't have a comparison for him because he does everything well. He shoots it. He can score it. He plays solid defense. He attacks the rim sometimes like Ja. He can posterize somebody. He does a lot of stuff really, really, really well. And I think in a year or 2 or 3, we're going to be looking at Anthony Edwards saying, man, I can't believe this guy wasn't a lock to be on this Mount Rushmore when we were having that conversation.
See, and that's the biggest thing. So he's 21 years old, still has a ton of room to grow. 2 years from now, I probably think that's going to be my answer because there is a ton of potential with that kid. Right now, though, this second, I have trouble putting him over a guy like Trae Young, who I know Trae Young isn't having the best season.
I just hate Trae Young's game. I just hate his game. This
you may hate his game,
personal bias.
And you may hate that he knocked out the Sixers 2 years ago, but Trae Young's still a really good player in this league. He's having issues with Atlanta and the head coach, even though they bring in DeJounte Murray, so you would think he would want to stay there. But Trae Young, you could hate his game. The dude still puts up absolute crazy stats and has playoff success as well, knocking out the Knicks basically single-handedly, and then, of course, the Sixers. So a couple of years from now, wouldn't shock me if Edwards is up there. Right now, I think I have trouble putting him over a guy like Trae Young, personally.
And I think that's a little bit of lack of knowledge of what Anthony Edwards brings in his game. And I can't fault you with that because the only reason that I know is because my brother sends me damn reaction videos to Anthony Edwards, what he did, highlights and everything like that, day in and day out because he loves the guy because my brother and my mom are both huge Minnesota fans. It's just he has – and this is also – I'm a big gut feeling guy. And I'm a big things that don't matter to me guy, in that, this guy has, it's the Moneyball scene where it's like, well, his girlfriend isn't hot. He lacks confidence. Like, that's stupid. That shouldn't factor in. But I'd be one of those guys. Like, I'd be looking for Fabio if I was in the Oakland Athletics front office.
Okay.
And when I see Anthony Edwards on the silver screen in Hustle, I guess maybe silver screen doesn't count because it was a Netflix release. You know what I mean. When I see him acting and when I hear the quotes from Anthony Edwards and when I see the charisma, to me, that factors in. To me, that's a determinant of who's going to be good at the elite level, because you have to be able to have the personality to become a star. That's where Ben Simmons capped out. Ben Simmons had all the talent in the world. He never had the mental aspect. He never had the personality for it. He was always the, don't talk to me, don't be around me. I don't want any of this. I want to just go do my own thing. I don't want to try that or all that. Not to get too deep in the Ben Simmons conversation. Anthony Edwards is just like, when I see him interact with people, when I see him do certain things off the court, and especially when I see him do things on the court, he's one of those guys that is just different to me. He's going to be a superstar in this league for a long, long time. It may not be in Minnesota, because who knows where that franchise is going, even though they've taken steps forward, but that's why I feel comfortable putting him on that Mount Rushmore.
So neither of us, and there's some great names out there. There really are. Tyrese Halliburton, Darius Garland, Zion Williamson, as you mentioned. No Tyrese Maxey, who we love here in Philadelphia. And that's what the YouTube, Josh Flacco and Mercy Street Maulers. That's a cool name.
Right.
They point out Tyrese Maxey and ask that. He can't be Mount Rushmore right now. He has all the potential in the world.
Yeah.
But he's like you. Jason Tatum, Luka Doncic, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, even Anthony Edwards to an extent. I know Karl Anthony Towns is there. That is their team.
They're the guy. This is not Tyrese Maxey.
Exactly. This isn't Tyrese Maxey's team yet. Potential a couple years down the road that it could be. Potentially.
I mean, yeah, I'd hope it's never truly Tyrese Maxey's team. Not because he's not talented enough for it to be, but I want there to be. You win with big threes. You win with big twos, big duos.
And you want Embiid to be in his prime as long as possible.
Well, it doesn't even have to be Embiid. I feel that when you look at a team and you say, this is that guy's team, you rarely see those teams succeed on a championship level.
Well, and that's part of the reason why it's a guy like Luka Doncic. I know he made it to the Western Conference Finals last year, but we all know that team probably doesn't have enough to be a real true contender. But the team like the Boston Celtics, who have Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, a lot more realistic for them to get to the NBA Finals continuously year in and year out. So you're absolutely right. It does take more than just one great star player. Look at the Oklahoma City Thunder with Gilgeous-Alexander.
Yes, and they're a team to have interest in going forward. That a little fun hoops talk there, Tommy, as we look at some of the young players. That's why it can be fun to do a Mount Rushmore every once in a while. I like Mount Rushmores. They can be fun in the right circumstance. Yeah. I don't like doing one every week because you have to, because it's like a sponsored segment or something like that, but I do like being able to throw it in every once in a while. So maybe when John Kincaid and the crew comes back, I can play this segment back.
Is he going to yell at you?
No, I don't think he will. No, I don't think. Jokingly, maybe. But if I tried to do it when he was here, maybe he would be a little bit more upset.
Quickly.
But I'll play him the segment. I'll say, hey, listen how much fun we had talking about some of the young stars in the NBA in the Mount Rushmore frame.
Let me know how that goes.
I will. I imagine the fact that his name is on the board behind me probably means I'm going to get overruled by Mr. Kincaid. But, hey, we could still have the conversation. 610-632-0975 is how you jump in. By the way, the final stretch of the John Kincaid Show is presented by Stretch Zone. Your body deserves a good stretch. At Stretch Zone, you'll get a great one. Book your free 30-minute stretch session today at StretchZone.com. John Kincaid, by the way, when he texted us, he was heading into Stretch Zone for his regular Wednesday stretch that he always gets. That's how I know it's Wednesday for sure. It's as good as
you don't check the calendar. You just wait for the text.
Well, I do check the calendar, but I don't normally get the text because we're normally here. But he normally mentions it on air, and that's like, oh, true, Wednesday. But yes, it is Wednesday. We got the rest of this show and then 2 more days filling in for the John Kincaid Show as they enjoy their holiday break, spending some time around the city with their family, doing their things. It's a nice week to have off to kind of recharge before we head into the new year. And what a fun new year it's shaping up to be, right, Tom? We're looking at a situation where we're going to have multiple championship contenders in this city. The Sixers are a championship contender. The Eagles, absolutely a championship contender. The Phillies, a championship contender. The Union, a championship contender. Really, every team in the city is a championship contender besides your Philadelphia Flyers, and maybe they should just tank and go get Connor Bedard at all
championship
costs.
contender is the number one pick in the draft.
Yes, that would be as good of a championship. Well, not as good as a championship because you haven't had one in like 60 years for the Flyers, but it would be a step in the right direction if they were able to do that. The point being, 2023 is shaping up to be a great year. Coming up, though, Tom, we have a couple more days before you're out of here for the year, and only 3 more days till I do my last show of the John Kincaid Show for the year, filling in. So we're going to do something special in the 9 o'clock hours going forward, and I know it's already going to be the 9:30 segment, but we're going to start doing year in review. We're going to do a couple awards, just short, quick stuff. Little quick hitters. We're going to have more tomorrow. We're going to have more Friday when I'm in with Ray Dunn. We're just going to go through and give out some end-of-year superlatives. And we're also going to talk a little bit more about the Eagles. We haven't talked about the cornerback situation really yet today. Avonte Maddox. There's an interesting campaign going on in social media. I'm not sure if you saw this, but a couple tweets. And in fact, the player being tweeted about has quote tweeted one of them and responded. Not anything specific, but basically saying they're ready if called upon. There may be a former Eagle that has some interest in joining the organization again, and maybe the organization has some interest in bringing him in to replace the injured Avonte Maddox, depending on what the true severity of that injury is. Still plenty to go and only one more segment to get to it. Man, you better stay tuned in because it's going to be absolutely packed. Connor Thomas, Tom Alvord, 610-632-0975. You can jump in on the plethora of topics that we have available for you today here in Fill In for the John Kincaid Show. And we'll be back after this to take those phone calls and do so much more as we wrap up today's show. Connor Thomas, Tom Alvord with you after this. You're on 97.5 The Fanatic.
The John Kincaid Show.
For someone who's super, super hot, you're really cranky.
On 97.5 The Fanatic. Philadelphia.
Prices plus tax tags and $3.89 dock fee. For Barbera's Big Finish event, 0 down or $199 a month on approved credit. Call or click 1-800-Barbera.com for details.
Don't stand around. The curtain's coming down. A real 0 down, a real $199 a month. It's Gary Barbera's annual dynamic December discounts. You heard right. 0 money down, $199 a month. I am not kidding. When I say 0, I mean 0 down. Not a penny out of pocket. Then $199 a month. That's all you pay. The Gary Barbera dynamic December discount way. Gary Barbera's Jeep Cherokees or America's favorite best built minivan. Your choice. 0 down, $199 a month. Hello, 0 down, $199 a month. Langhorne, are you listening? South Jersey, I'm talking to you at Gary Barbera's #1 Chrysler Land. At Gary Barbera's #1 Jeep Cheap Land. Real 0 down, real $199 a month. Is Barbera the money-saving best? Boy, I guess.
If you run a small business, you need the most from every investment. That's why Comcast Business gives you more. Like more innovation with our new gig speed Wi-Fi, plus unlimited data. More speed from the largest, fastest, reliable network for small businesses. And more savings, up to 60% a year with Comcast Business Mobile. All from the company that powers more businesses than any other provider. When you need more, you need Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Get started with fast, reliable internet for just $49 a month for 12 months with no annual contract. Or ask how to get up to an $800 prepaid card with a qualifying bundle. Call or go online today. Limited time offer. Restrictions apply. EcoBill and autopay required. New 50 megabits per second internet customers only. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra. Mobile savings compares pricing of top 3 carriers. Comcast Business Internet required.
Hey, it's Jen Scordo. Now is the perfect time to download FanDuel in partnership with Valley Forge, America's #1 sportsbook. New customers get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. That's free bets back if your first bet doesn't win. Just sign up using my promo code SCORDO. You know that I love player props. I also love money lines and spreads. You can combine all your bets for a chance at a bigger payday with that same game parlay. They also have live betting. You can get updated odds on games that have already started. And most importantly, when you win, win, you get paid fast. It's all on an app that's safe, secure, and super easy to use. Sign up using my promo code SCORDO for your no-sweat first bet. That's promo code SCORDO, and make every moment more this season with FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NFL.
21 plus and present in PA. First online real money wager only. Refund issued as non-withdrawable free bets that expires in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
At Charmin, we heard you shouldn't talk about going to the bathroom in public, so we decided to sing about it.
Get ultra strong for your South Pole. Charmin keeps your undies whiter than the North Pole. A shiny hiney, a brand new year. Call it a Charmin. Happy New Year. May your holidays be Charmin, clean, merry, and bright. May all your undies be Charmin, clean white.
Charmin Ultra Strong just cleans better. Enjoy the go with Charmin.
For everything your business needs to make this year your year, Staples has you covered.
I need to organize all my papers and files from last year and the year before that.
Staples has you covered.
I need a new desk calendar so that I don't miss a meeting with my boss or a soccer game with my daughter.
Staples has you covered with everything you need to get organized this year. Right now, a 2023 lined desk calendar is $3.99 and an unlined calendar is just $4.99. Make this year your year at Staples. Offer ends 12/31. In-store only.
Are you drowning in IRS tax debt?
I owe the IRS $37,000.
Civic Tax Relief can help protect you from the IRS.
Civic Tax Relief basically represented me against the IRS, and by the time everything was completed, I didn't owe the IRS anything.
Civic Tax Relief's special tax hotline can help you discover all the relief programs available for free.
I would recommend anyone who has a tax problem to contact Civic Tax Relief.
Just call 800-841-0908. 800-841-0908.
At Lowe's, every pro is an MVP to us. That's why MVP's Pro Rewards members can earn bonus points on select products and brands like Power Pro, Weehaw, and Valspar. Then redeem your bonus points for exciting rewards like tools, sports memorabilia, Lowe's e-gift cards, and more. Join Lowe's MVP's Pro Rewards today to start earning. Bonus points calculated before taxes and fees after applicable discounts, if any. Subject to program terms. While supplies last. Points expire at end of calendar year. Visit Lowe's.com/L/Pro Loyalty terms for details. Now through 1/8/23.
It can happen easily. A few drinks become a few too many. It's time to go, and you think of calling for a ride home. Now, what's the worst that can happen? You get pulled over, you lose your license, you total your car, you kill someone, drive sober, or get pulled over. Paid for by NHTSA.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. If you've been injured in an accident and would like to know the value of your case, go to forthepeople.com to see cases just like yours. You see, all lawyers are not the same. Morgan & Morgan. Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Hello? Whether you're at home or on the go, listen to 97.5 The Fanatic on Odyssey on your smartphone, Roku, LG Smart TV, Waze, and more. That's Odyssey, AUDACY. Check it out now. Now, back to the John Kincaid Show on 97.5 The Fanatic, Philadelphia.
.928 here, 97.5 The Fanatic. Connor Thomas and Tom Alvord filling in for the John Kincaid Show. Brought to you by the Bet Parks Casino and Sportsbook app, where odds, slots, bets, and games all come together in perfect harmony right in your pocket. You can download now at betparks.com. 610-632-0975 is how you jump into the conversation. We still have some spirited conversation to YouTube going on about the top young players in the NBA, and the conversation about how Tyrese Maxey fits into that is interesting. Jeff McPeak says, give Maxey 21 shot attempts on a bad team as the first, second, and third option, and watch the numbers he puts up. Do you think Tyrese Maxey with opportunity like that, I feel like he still gets a good amount of opportunity on the Sixers team, despite having Embiid, despite having Harden. Like, I don't know how much better the numbers could be, because you're going to sacrifice the efficiency he played with last year for the gaudy numbers that he puts up, right?
Potentially, but if you're sacrificing a little bit of efficiency for the numbers to, take another step further, I'm completely content with that. This year, he's shooting 42. That's insane. The kid was shooting 30% from three in his rookie year. 42% from three last year and 42% from three this year. Obviously, this year hasn't been the largest sample size, but the improvement he's made is just absolutely ridiculous. But say you sacrifice that, it goes down to 40, which is still above league average. Say the field goal percentage goes from 46 to like 44 or something like that, but he's putting up 27 instead of 23. I'm completely content with that. We'll see how realistic it is with this team, if it's even possible, with James Harden, with Tobias Harris, and a bunch of guys putting up shots. But yeah, I'm content with sacrificing a little bit of efficiency if he's going to be taking the next step as a NBA player.
Right. And I don't think you have the luxury of doing that here in Philadelphia because Joel Embiid and James Harden are, frankly, they're better options than Tyrese Maxey. As good as Maxey is, Joel Embiid and James Harden are lock Hall of Fame players. Lock Hall of Fame players.
Yeah.
Tyrese Maxey is a really good third-year guy who could develop into an all-star caliber. Maybe
should Tyrese Maxey be your number two overall number two option over a guy like 33-year-old James Harden, where he is an MVP and candidate in his past MVP winner as a Hall of Famer, but I think there's an argument there to be made.
I don't see it that way. I don't think, and it's not a knock on Maxey. Harden's a top 75 NBA player of all time.
I'm not talking about all time. I'm talking about right
now.
Joel
Embiid is a top 75 player all time in NBA history.
I'm not talking about all time. I'm talking about right this second.
But it's a grown man's league, Tom. We talked about it when Embiid and Simmons were first starting. You don't win anything until you're 25, 26, 27. Sure. Like you don't play at that level until that age. It's not a knock on Maxey. It's in the playoffs. You have to have your top options be proven veteran players if you want to.
Well, I mean, Tatum and Brown just did it.
Tatum and Brown went to the finals.
Okay, but unless you have Steph Curry or you have Kevin Durant, those are the
you got
anomalies.
James Harden and you got Joel Embiid.
Sure,
those are pretty damn good options.
Like the Phoenix Suns, they have Chris Paul, but their best player is Devin Booker. Devin Booker's like 25 years old. So I mean, ideally, I think
they haven't won anything.
But it's hard to win NBA championships. Getting to the NBA finals is completely fine. Obviously, you want to win them, but that is a successful season. Yes, it's hard to win championships, but just getting to it doesn't mean that they're not winning. Like they won every game except the last two that they needed to.
That's not winning. Did the Philadelphia Phillies win the World Series this year?
No.
That's not winning.
Okay, but it was a tremendous season, and I'm looking forward to next season, and you can have strides because of last season.
I agree.
And take
it
steps.
was a good run. I'd rather be where the Houston Astros are right now than where the Philadelphia Phillies are, and that's
all
not
I need
a knock
is one more bullpen piece. That's all.
Stop. We're not getting into that again. 610-632-0975 is how you jump in. 9 o'clock hour is brought to you by the Bagster Dumpster in a Bag. Get yours today at Home Depot and Lowe's. For details, go to Bagster.com. Now, we're going to parse in a little bit of year in review awards as we go through this final segment. We'll do it again for the 9 o'clock hour tomorrow. I'll do it for the 9 o'clock hour when it's myself and Ray Dunn coming up on Friday. Not going to do a whole segment for it because I feel like when you just focus and do the whole segment, it just turns into a list of things that happened. But we'll just pop in every once in a while. But before we get into that, as we start piecing those together and fitting those in, I want to have a bit of a conversation about the Eagles' cornerback position. I'm not sure if you saw this, Tom, but there are a couple tweets over the past day or so. Once we found out about the severity or the general severity, because we don't have a full time frame, but again, the general severity of Avonte Maddox's toe injury, sounds like you're going to need a replacement option at cornerback. I think the most prudent option would be Chauncey Gardner-Johnson in the slot when he's healthy, Reed Blankenship at safety, which is not ideal, but you can survive with that. Agreed. That doesn't require an addition. It doesn't require paying anybody else. It doesn't require finding a guy that's been on the street. That's just the simple in-house solution. I think we're on the same page there.
Definitely.
Have you seen the tweets about Crayvon LeBlanc?
I've seen them.
Strap.
Yes.
People want Strap back. The people want Strap. And who are we to deny the people Strap if they want Strap? And he's gone and he's quote tweeted a tweet with basically a Bible verse that I guess translates to, I'm ready if you need me.
Is that what it translates to?
That's what I'm reading it as.
Okay,
I went to Christian
enough.
school for like 8 years.
Nice.
I know the good book.
Good job by you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. But I don't know, man. Does Crayvon LeBlanc move the needle for you? I know he was good when he was here. I think he was undervalued during his time here in Philadelphia, but he hasn't done anything. Like, he hasn't been playing. It's not like he's with a team and he wants the Eagles to trade for him. Like, he's available. There's a reason he's available. Would you rather have the switch up of Chauncey Gardner-Johnson going to play the cornerback position, which we know he's capable of doing, but then having to start Reed Blankenship, or would you rather it have it be Chauncey Gardner-Johnson at safety, bring in Crayvon LeBlanc, or maybe somebody else who's available on the street, and bring in an outside hire to go ahead and fill that position that Avonte Maddox has left empty?
I like Crayvon LeBlanc. I, too, think he was underutilized a little bit here and probably deserved a second chance in the NFL. He hasn't played since 2020. He hasn't recorded an interception since 2016. There's a reason for that. It's not just the Eagles. It's a little bit like the Jordan Howard conversation. However, bring Jordan Howard back. Bring Jordan Howard back. How is he not getting more touches? Jordan Howard's not on a football team right now. Like, it's obvious the NFL views these guys differently than fans. So if it's early in the season, I see them making this kind of move. You're one win away from resting all your starters and going to the playoffs. So this is too late in the year. If they want to bring him in as a practice squad guy maybe and just see what happens, emergency kind of scenario, sure. But I can't, with a player that hasn't played since 2020, or have to rely on him when I'm looking to win a Super Bowl here.
Here's what you could do. You could bring him in anyway. Putting Avonte Maddox on IR opens up the roster spot. Like, you can bring in Crayvon LeBlanc as a depth piece so that Josiah Scott isn't your only option.
Is he, and you say only option, do we know if Crayvon LeBlanc is better than Josiah Scott?
We don't.
Because he hasn't played since 2020, as I
Here's
mentioned.
what I'll say. When he played in 2020, he was a better option. Like, he looked better then than what Josiah Scott looks like now.
2 years later, but sure.
I don't think it's crazy to take a flyer on that guy to be on the team, but I don't feel comfortable just jumping him right in and starting him. This would be a situation where you'd have to bring him in relatively soon, so he'd be ready to play against the Giants in the final week of the regular season with the backups, and then you could see if he has anything left. And then you can go into the playoffs knowing what your contingency options are. But I'm still very much leaning towards Chauncey Gardner-Johnson in the slot, Reed Blankenship at safety, when both those guys are healthy and ready to go, replacing Avonte Maddox and what he did.
It's not crazy for NFL teams to bring guys from off the streets onto their teams this late in the season. The Panthers, I believe, just signed Josh Norman, like former Panther great for like a year and a half, Josh Norman. Rob Gronkowski, if he said, hey, I want to come back right now, the Buccaneers would bring him in a second right now. So it's not crazy, but Crayvon LeBlanc was never that high quality of a player. So emergency scenario, practice squad, just in case, sure, I'm okay with that. But if you're expecting him to get any kind of run at all, then the Eagles, I think, are in a bad situation.
Okay, top team now. We're going to jump into top team, switching gears. We're doing our 2022 year-in reviews. This is just Philadelphia sports, so it's not like top team is whoever was, I don't know, the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Astros or whatever.
The Astros. Yeah, no, just Philadelphia sports. Tom, top team in 2022 in Philadelphia, and I think we're going to disagree.
The 2022-2023 Philadelphia Flyers.
Stop.
The Phillies, and it's not even a question, it's the Phillies.
I disagree.
For 2022.
I'm going to disagree, and I love
Why?
the Phillies.
Because they didn't win the World Series, and that's all that matters?
No, that's not it at all. And I think they're a minutely close second. But I'm giving it to the team whose sweatshirt I am currently wearing.
Look at that.
To me, the Philadelphia Union are the top team. Because over the course of their regular season, they were incredible. They put together one of the best defensive soccer seasons in MLS history, and they were objectively closer to winning a championship than any other team in Philadelphia this year. Just a minute away. And it hurts that Gareth Bale scored that late goal to equalize and send it to PKs, which the Union eventually lost. But while the Phillies were close, I think the Phillies lost to a clearly better team. I think the Philadelphia Union were the best team in the MLS, and I think they collapsed in the biggest moment. But to me, they were the best overall team over the course of their entire season in 2022. So that's who I give my award.
Yeah, I guess when it comes down to that, you look at the regular season, you look at the playoffs and the success that they have. Phillies won, 87 games last year?
Yeah.
Snuck into the playoffs the very last week of the season thanks to the Miami Marlins.
I mean, they fired their damn head coach.
They did. They absolutely did. So I guess
manager, I should say.
I guess it's a little bit of that was one of the greatest runs we've ever seen in Philadelphia, regardless of if they won or not, and we hadn't seen it in 10 years. And they were so close. But yeah, I mean, the Union, it's a great answer as well, but I'll probably still stick with the Phillies.
Yeah, and they're incredibly, it was a minute difference. And part of me is just saying the Union just to say the Union, but they deserve it.
Yeah, they
in
do.
my mind.
They absolutely do.
Best coach This one I don't think is. I don't even. Well, no, you know what? There is a debate. I keep forgetting about it because the Eagles are so good. But I think it's down to two guys for this one.
Okay.
Take your pick.
I can't. It has to be Rob Thompson.
See, it'd be hard to go against Nick Sirianni.
Yeah, I know. It really is because of.
He's going to win Coach of the Year.
Yeah, and he should. They're 13-2, and probably they should have the MVP on the team and everything like that, especially with the jump they made from last season. Yes, they were a playoff team last season. Last year's team is not in the same stratosphere as this year's Philadelphia Eagles team. So, yeah, you're right. It's pretty damn close with those two, but Rob Thompson completely turned that team around. There was a ton of talent on both teams, obviously the Eagles and the Phillies, but the complete turnaround where it looked like an absolute dumpster fire with Joe Girardi and Rob Thompson just being cool, calm, collected at all times. For him to turn it around the way they did, I got to go Thompson.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. He did stuff that no coach, no manager, rather, I keep saying coach, but no manager has done in baseball history as far as taking a team from where they were to where they ended up as an interim and then later as the signed manager of the team. Just for the sake of debate, I'm going to give it to Nick Sirianni because he deserves every bit of being in that conversation. And when everything's all said and done, he could end up being the clear favorite over Rob Thompson because he could walk home with a Lombardi.
Absolutely.
I believe they'd fly from Arizona, but if he chose to walk, he would do so with a Lombardi if they go down there and they win that game in Glendale and make it and everything. He could go home with a Coach of the Year trophy or award or whatever. I imagine there's a trophy associated with that.
Yes.
So, yeah, Nick Sirianni's story is not done. Rob Thompson's is. And Rob Thompson is a great pick. For me, I'm going to lean Sirianni because I think he has the potential for it to be even better if they finish the job. The last one we're going to do, best individual performance. You're going to have to rack your brain a little bit on this one, but best individual performance in Philadelphia sports in the year 2022.
So is it individual game?
Yes. So just best individual performance, like the single best, hey, this guy took over this and like just dominance.
I mean, Joel Embiid had a game a couple weeks ago. Was it against the Hornets?
The 58 piece?
53, it says here. I mean, he scores, he goes crazy every other night, it seems like. But where it ranked like top 5 in like greatest games ever when it came to like efficiency or something like that, or I forget what the exact stat was I saw. But for me, it's heavy baseball. Bryce Harper hit the biggest home run in Philadelphia Phillies history in the NLCS. It has to be that individual performance because, yes, Joel Embiid has had some tremendous moments. Jalen Hurts has had some tremendous moments and tremendous games. They're not on the same level of doing it in a Final Four type scenario, in a conference championship type scenario like Bryce Harper did. So individual performance, it's the biggest home run in Phillies history. One of the biggest home runs in MLB history. That's my answer.
Maybe for the playoff run, I'd agree with you, but it's one swing of the bat.
But it's the biggest swing of a bat. It's like, like in the NBA, it's one shot from Michael Jordan, but it's a game-winning shot from Michael Jordan to win the NBA Finals.
No, I get what you're saying. And we're going to have another award later in the week that is biggest moment. And I believe the Bryce Harper swing is going to have a bit of a claim to the title for that one. But for me, the performance, the best individual performance is what you brought up with the Joel Embiid game. Listen to the stat line against the Utah Jazz back on November 13th of this year. 59 points, 11 rebounds, 8 assists, 7 blocks. He was 2 rebounds and 3 blocks away from a near 60-point quadruple double. That's unbelievable. We talked about Luka Doncic's stat line with the 60-point triple-double. Joel Embiid nearly did it at the center position while also having 7 blocks in a win over the Utah Jazz. That is one of the great basketball performances I have ever seen. And that was dominance over the course of a game. Not to take away from what Bryce Harper did in that game against the San Diego Padres to help the Phillies go to the World Series, but it was a low-scoring game. It's not like he hit 4 home runs and the last one sent him there. It was a great moment to me, but as far as individual total performance, Joel Embiid was as dominant as any player I've ever seen take the hardwood in Philadelphia in that game.
Yeah, I'm not going to argue with that when it comes to that kind of answer because it is a great answer. Jalen Hurts has had some tremendous games.
He has.
The Titans game, 380 in the air, 3 touchdowns in the air and then 1 touchdown on the ground. Goes crazy against the Green Bay Packers just the week before. Breaks, I believe, the franchise record when it came to rushing yards for a running back when he had 157 rush yards that game and then 153 pass yards with 2 touchdowns. So I guess I'm just looking at like magnitude of the moment, and maybe that's not necessarily answering the question correctly, but I can't go wrong with either answer.
Our friend Austin Krell's in the YouTube, who checks in sometimes, does a great job covering the Sixers. He checks in and says he had 26 points and 5 blocks in the fourth quarter against the Jazz.
5 blocks in 1 quarter is ridiculous.
And all impactful ones. It was monster. That was the abuse.
That's absurd.
Monstrous. Okay, well, that's a little bit of check-in. We'll have some more tomorrow for our year-end superlatives, our year-end awards, and everything going on there with the 2022 Philadelphia Sports Year in Review that we're going to be doing, Tom. So we got some fun stuff still to come on that front. Best moment. We might have some worsts. We'll have to go ahead and check that out.
I'm sure we're going to have a bunch of those to choose from as well.
Yeah, and walking into the studio right now, we have Ray Dunn.
Taking his grand old time.
So Ray, who's going to be hosting 97.5 Middays in place of Cuz and Chunas.
What days?
Again today. Middays.
Oh, okay.
What do you think I said?
Middays?
Did I say middays?
Yeah, kind of.
I don't know.
Regardless.
I told you. I have 21 minutes worth of a segment
and
in.
We're getting there.
Once we get down near the end, I forget how to talk. It's my fatal flaw. Everybody has a hole in their game. For Carlos Correa, he has like a wooden ankle. For me, my issue, if you do the physical, is they're going to say his brain has capacity for 21 minutes worth of talking. And outside of that, there's not much else I could do. Young Ray Dunn is in here. Now, Ray, I know you've got a lot of interesting stuff with the Eagles planned today. I know you're going to talk about that Sixers game last night. You've got your Phillies hoodie on, though.
Yes.
And Tom and I got into a little bit of a heated conversation.
We were separated during the break.
I heard.
We had to be pulled apart.
You should see management standing out there right now, ready to discuss the incident.
Security's out there.
Yeah, it's holidays. There's no bosses in the building. How do you think we got on the airwaves today?
Great
They
point.
wouldn't let us on here if management was here. But I want your thoughts on the most heated part of our fill-in for the John Kincaid Show this morning. So let's basically lay it out real quick for you. We were discussing an additional signing by the Philadelphia Phillies. You can add one thing to this Philadelphia Phillies team the rest of the way. Only one thing. The roster is exactly the same besides one more addition this offseason. I went with an outfield depth piece, like a Tyler Naquin or a Jackie Bradley Jr., a guy that you could play in the corners when Kyle Schwarber DHs that isn't Matt Fearling. Tom went with an additional bullpen arm. And that turned into the debate of, first off, they're not going to pay another bullpen guy. The guys that are available now, you're going to have to overpay for what they would be on your team. You already have the innings locked up that you need to have locked up by big-name guys and Kimbrel and Alvarado and Dominguez. And we got into it big about how much the bullpen is going to matter. Your thoughts?
Oh, man. So the way this was presented to me previously, off the air, I was like, oh, well, obviously I need another bullpen arm. But for me right now, when I look at this roster, I want that extra depth in the outfield. I want a right-handed bat out there. I want something that when
more
they need,
so than a bullpen arm.
Yes.
Yeah, the bullpen's fine right now.
It's okay.
Yeah, it leaves a little bit desired, but
what does it leave to be desired? What are you guys seeing that they need to add to this bullpen? Like when you look at the bullpen and you say that there's deficiencies, point them out.
The fact that we are going to be just blindly trusting Craig Kimbrel to be something close to what he was, that he wasn't already on the regression track last year. It doesn't look like it's going to get better.
How is it blind trust? It's not blind trust when a guy has that track record.
Dude,
He's done it
track
before.
record doesn't matter.
Yes, track record doesn't matter. Why do we keep statistics?
Been good 3 of the last 4 years, and he is in his mid-30s. He had one good season in 3 of the last 4 years, and he's been declining other than that ever since then. That is the track record. I don't care what he did in 2017. It's 2022,
you
2023.
Should care. He's done it before.
No, I'm not caring what it is in 2017.
You should care.
No, stop.
All right, who was the leading rusher in the NFL in 2017? Let me go check.
It's
we
different.
should bring him in.
Todd Gurley.
Running backs don't have shelf life. The longest shelf life in sports, 2 places. Quarterback of the NFL and relief pitcher in baseball. You can play them till they're 45.
You can play them. They're not going to be the same pitchers they are. Not all of them.
He has the same
Especially
brain.
as you're
he has the same
lose
brain.
a little
He has the
velocity.
same brain. He has been in these spots before. Why do you think Syndergaard
That's
was
great.
so
Mariano Rivera has the same brain he had when he was in the league, and he's 50 years old. I'm not trusting Mariano Rivera.
The better stuff right now between Noah Syndergaard and Bailey Falter is Bailey Falter.
Yeah.
Bailey Falter has the better stuff. The better pitcher in the World Series was Noah Syndergaard because he has been there before. Baseball experience is huge. Craig Kimbrell has more than anybody else in your bullpen combined.
He was
Give
out
me
of the
Craig
Dodgers closer role because they didn't trust him. They don't care about his track record.
Don't care.
Okay.
Don't care.
The Dodgers.
You're
care.
not ruling him out as a closer, right?
I don't think that's where they're going to put him, but I'm not ruling it out.
Oh, no.
I'm not saying he absolutely won't be the closer. I'm saying I wouldn't put him there, but I'm not sure yet.
I'm okay if he's not my first high leverage guy out of the bullpen. I'm okay with having. I mean, he does make your bullpen better. Again, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like he doesn't make your bullpen better, but I'm not putting blind faith in the fact that he's going to find something better than what he was last year, because everything to me, chase rate down, teams are barreling him up, exit velo's gone up like crazy against him, and he's losing velocity. It's a part of aging. I'm genuinely concerned about what he's going to be this year, but I do think it's better than, hey, let's just grab a random arm off the street, because of what you're saying.
Yes.
It is still...
The upside is huge. Huge.
Yeah, exactly. It's still Kimbrell.
So let's do this, because this was also part of the conversation. Because if you bring in another bullpen arm, where do they slot in? Right now, let me tell you how I would handle the bullpen. Kimbrell is your 7th inning guy. Jose Alvarado is your 8th inning guy. Sir Anthony Dominguez gets the 9th. Your additional bullpen pieces are Matt Strahm. At some point, it'll be Bailey Falter, but not yet, so we'll take him out of the conversation. Connor Brogdon, Andrew Bellotti. You'll have to fill those in with other names like spring training invites, whatever. Assume the other roster spots are filled with guys that are lower on the totem pole than that. If you go and sign another bullpen arm right now, who are you slotting them in over? And why do you feel the need to bring in somebody besides that person?
I would slot him in over Strahm and Kimbrell.
So
both the guys brought.
So who's available that you're signing?
I'm still after Chafin. I'm still after Chafin, man. I'm still after.
What is he
Andrew
going
Chafin.
to cost you? You're going to throw another $14 million at a bullpen arm that you don't need?
If they're already going to go beyond the tax and they're cool with spending that money, why are we saving money here? I'm not here to save someone else's money. If he said, yeah, let's raise $14 million, whoa, I'm not giving you $14 million. But if we're going to go over the tax already and we're going to go spend, no, I don't. That would be the big problem there. I barely have $14. If we're going to go over the tax and spend this money already to compete and try and go all in, no one cares how many bullpen pieces you have. Like, look at the Astros. When we talked about being outgunned in terms of what they had in the bullpen, yeah, they were able to find guys in development, turn them into some pieces, and they were able to add some pieces, so it's not totally throwing money at a bullpen. But hey, if this team's going to throw money at holes, let's just keep doing it.
I don't disagree with that.
You got to fill those holes, boy.
All right.
We're getting
listen,
it's
just saying what you just said. No?
It's time for middays. This is a fun debate. We'll be having it all year long. It'll be awesome, but it's going to be heavy Eagles, heavy Sixers, and a little bit of fun side topics, I'm sure, from Ray, who will be hosting middays in place of Cousin Chunas. That's our time on the morning show. So for the John Kincaid Show, Connor Thomas and Tom Alvord, we are signing off. Of course, I always want to remind you, remember, to support life-saving cancer research, join me and our generous partners, H&H Heating and Air Conditioning, and making a donation to the American Association for Cancer Research today at 97.5thefanatic.com/AACR, because cancer research saves lives. Man, it was a fun show. Tom, what do you say? We do it one more time tomorrow, you and I.
That sounds good.
And then Friday, it'll be myself and that man you just heard in the other chair, Ray Dunn. Still some fun stuff coming this week, but that's our time for today. So signing off in place of the John Kincaid Show, Connor Thomas, Tom Alvord. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Haley. Thank you, everyone who tweeted, called, texted, all that good stuff. And we'll talk to you again tomorrow, 6 a.m. here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
The John Kincaid Show.
He's a very strange young man.
He's an idiot. Comes from upbringing.
On 97.5 The Fanatic. Philadelphia.
Ad paid for by Anthem Tax Services. $80 billion approved for the IRS to be